He'll give you 50 million, leave my daughter. The icy voice echoed and a scene from his memories replayed vividly before his eyes. Wang Shikong sat on the bed, gazing at the familiar faces before him. He drew in a deep breath, then let his eyes drift toward the window. The sky after the rain was as pure as a freshly polished mirror free of the slightest blemish. Gentle sunlight fine as strands of gold threaded through the thin clouds cascading in countless rays that seemed to illuminate the entire world. White light pierced the glass and broke into colors across his pale, handsome face. He smiled. He had returned to 5 years ago. Although this was not before his own personal catastrophe, it did not matter. Calculating the time, until the endless continent connected with Earth, there were still 3 days remaining. Has your brain broken too? My dad is talking to you. 50 million, leave my sister. A crisp, pretty voice rang out in the white hospital ward. Wang Shikong looked at her. Her long, glossy black hair was loosely tied into 2 ponytails, and the soft lines of her standard oval face framed pure black eyes, where a spark of mischief flickered from time to time. Her voice was as clear as silver bells. Ning Qingru. Then he shifted his gaze to the middle-aged couple before him, their brows tightly furrowed. As scenes from his memories surfaced, Wang Shikong adjusted his silver-framed glasses and said softly, I cannot leave. Kid, 50 million is enough to grant you a lifetime of wealth and glory. I'll add another 10 million. The middle-aged man in the center also wore glasses radiating a cultivated mild air, yet his eyes fixed on him with a cold gaze. 60 million. I advise you not to fail to recognize what is good for you. Hearing the figure, Wang Shikong glanced down at his lower body. I can't walk. How am I supposed to leave? You? Ning Tianxiong was rendered momentarily speechless by his reply. Several days earlier on her drive home in the rain, his daughter had struck this young man due to a fleeting lapse in attention, leaving his legs permanently paralyzed. Afterward, she learned that he was utterly alone in this world. Her guilt deepened, and she decided she would marry him and care for him for the rest of his life. As her father, when he heard this, he nearly fainted. To think his daughter was so outstanding that wealthy heirs would line up to fawn over her, yet now, just because she had hit some kid with her car, she wanted to marry him. Though the accident was entirely his daughter's fault, the Ning family had money. How could they sacrifice his daughter's lifelong happiness for something that could be settled with money? He did not harbor excessive prejudice about status, yet he could not possibly let his daughter marry a young man whose legs would be paralyzed for life. 60 million. We will find a caretaker to attend to you around the clock, and take you away from the magic capital. Ning's mother spoke up, and then forever, bang. Dad, Mom, what are you doing? The ward door was suddenly shoved open, cutting off Ning's mother's words. A graceful figure entered, her makeup exquisite, brows like distant inked hills, eyes deep and bright, thin lips pressed lightly beneath a high-nose bridge. She wore a tailored weiner dress. The velvet fabric perfectly revealed her long, straight legs. At that moment, she glared at her parents, displeasure written across her face. Hey Qingyayu, weren't you at the company? Ning's mother asked, face full of embarrassment. Did you really think you could deceive me, eh? Ning Qingyao walked in, her elegant brows drawn together, anger filling her face as she looked at them. She took out 2 red marriage certificates. I've already decided everything between Shikong and me. If you have nothing else to do, go home and make dinner and wait for your son-in-law this evening. Damn marriage certificates, these. Marriage certificates, girl. Ning Tianxiong took them, and as he looked, his vision darkened. You, how could you? Sis, you really want to marry this cripple? Ning Qingru cried out in disbelief. Mind your manners. From now on, call him brother-in-law. Ning Qingyao tapped her head firmly. If you're fine, all this. Ning's mother sighed, twice, brows creased. Seeing that the matter was already settled, she said weakly, forget it. We'll go home first, go home. Humph. Ning Qingru pouted, her cute lips humming twice. She shot Wang Shikong a glare, then flicked her twin ponytails high as she turned and walked out. The 3 members of the Ning family left one after another helplessly. As the deeply imprinted scene in his mind replayed before him, Wang Shikong looked at Ning Qingya, standing ahead, drew in a deep breath, suppressed the excitement in his heart, and memory after memory surfaced in his mind. After she shattered his legs, Ning Qingya offered herself in marriage and brought him into the Ning household. One moved by guilt, the other fueled by anger. They began their life as husband and wife. From initial unfamiliarity to growing familiarity to budding affection and finally to life and death parting. As he recalled each scene, warmth rose within Wang Shikong's heart. Yet, I want to go to the restroom, he said. Off. Ning Qingya froze, her forceful demeanor vanishing at once. A blush spread across her cheeks as she fumbled. Then I'll help you. Wang Shikong nodded. Ning Qingya glanced at the wheelchair beside the bed and pushed it over. Then with a faint blush staining her neck, she stepped forward and opened her arms toward him. Seeing her expression, Wang Shikong's heart trembled. In his previous life, having just lost his legs, he had been filled with anger and resentment toward Ning Qingya. He had not believed that trading his legs for a beautiful, wealthy CEO wife was worth it. In truth, most people would not be willing to make such an exchange. Wang Shikong extended his arms, her fragrance washing over him, as under her clumsy movements, he transferred into the wheelchair. Phew! Ning Qingya let out a small breath of relief and pushed him toward the ward's restroom. In the high-end ward, there were support rails in front of the toilet. Using his arms to brace his body, Wang Shikong rose and turned his head to look at her. Meeting his gaze, Ning Qingya suddenly realized what he needed, and her eyes flitted away. Huff huff. She took 2 hurried breaths. I'll help you. Don't worry, I will take care of you from now on. With clumsy determination, she closed her eyes and reached toward his pants. Watching how adorably flustered she was, Wang Shikong did not deliberately make things difficult for her, as he had in his previous life. Hold my body and support me, he said. Oh, all right. Ning Qingya nodded, hesitated for a moment, then wrapped her arms around his body from behind. She stood a little over 1.70 m, still shorter compared to the more than 1.80 m of Wang Shikong. Wang Shikong's legs were paralyzed, not amputated. He weighed about 150 kg. When he let go with his hands, and his body weight bore down, Ning Qingya, straining under the load, pressed fully against him as she held on. Wang Shikong felt the sensation from his back and pressed his lips together. No, I can't hold you. Ning Qingya spoke with difficulty. You support yourself with your hands. Wang Shikong felt his wavering body and said, but my pants are already off. He quickly braced himself, then looked back at her and said helplessly, then you help me. Ning Qingya's delicate face was flushed crimson, whether from exhaustion or other reasons. She stiffly nodded. Don't mind what my parents and my younger sister said. I will make sure they accept you soon. Feeling awkward as she stepped out of the bathroom, Ning Qingya pushed the wheelchair over to the bedside. Her muddled head gradually cleared as she kneaded her delicate features, with some force parted her lips, and spoke deliberately, steering the conversation away. Wang Shikong nodded. Push me to the balcony. I want to feel the sunlight. All right. Ning Qingya replied, and pushed him out onto the balcony under the sun. Warm sunlight spilled across his face, making Wang Shikong close his eyes slightly. Beside him, Ning Qingya gazed at his handsome profile, and the distant, entranced look in his eyes, guilt once again welled up in her heart. A young man who had just graduated at the prime of his youth had been turned through her negligence into someone paralyzed for life. Would you like some fruit? She asked softly after a few minutes. No. Wang Shikong answered calmly. I'll handle your discharge procedures later and take you home, Ning Qingya continued. Ning Qingya went on, all right. I'll buy you an electric wheelchair. Fine, he instructed. Good, she nodded. I'll go handle the paperwork now and be back soon. If anything urgent comes up, call me. Listening to her footsteps recede and the sound of the door closing, Wang Shikong glanced at the doorway, then slowly raised his right hand. With a stir of his mind, sand-like grains of time slipped between his fingers. Between his fingers, time took on form and trickled down in a soft, rustling fall. Time is formless, quietly shifting stars and overturning heaven and earth. Years are like a blade carving the changes of mountains and seas, he murmured. In an instant, radiance blooms. He whispered, and an ethereal hourglass slowly manifested in his palm, accompanied by faint phantom-like lines of text. Hourglass of time origin. Ability 1, restart one's own state. With the host's current strength limited to 10 minutes. Cooldown 1 day. Ability 2, time stop freeze, everything within the range of 1 meter times the host's spiritual power, excluding the host. With the host's current strength, time can be paused for 1 second. Cooldown 1 day. Ability 3, perception, temporal perception, allowing one to discern the tiniest flow of time with precision, including the sequence of events within brief instants, and to predict the future development trends of things. With the host's current strength, the future can be foreseen for 1 second. Other abilities are locked due to insufficient spiritual power. A treasure obtained after being trapped in a secret realm for a year, surviving countless brushes with death, he thought. Staring at the hourglass of time, Wang Shikong was inwardly filled with amazement. No wonder this is called the most mysterious, untouchable, and imperceptible power. Compared to the spatial power I once mastered, it is even more defiant of heaven, he marveled. Especially the third ability, precognition. It was entirely passive with no cooldown. Its role in battle would be inconceivable. Thinking of the impending descent of the endless continent, Wang Shikong's gaze flickered. He closed his eyes, attempting to sense the surrounding elements and circulate the elemental refining spirit art. When he discovered that he could not sense anything, he raised his brows slightly, then quickly let it go. Elemental perception had not yet awakened. It seems only after the endless continent connects with Earth will cultivation methods be usable, he mused. He silently unlocked his sealed memories, recalling them bit by bit. Shikong, let's go. I'll take you home. Before long, Ning Qingya returned, interrupting his thoughts. All right. At her voice, Wang Shikong opened his eyes. 2 caretakers came over, pushed him to a nanny van outside the hospital, and carefully lifted him into the vehicle. Uncle Lu, drive us home, Ning Qingya instructed, and the vehicle pulled away. Sitting inside the luxurious car, Wang Shikong found Ning Qingya's graceful figure seated beside him, every gesture of hers was pleasing to the eye. In less than 20 minutes the vehicle drove up to Villa No. 018 of Tandian Palace, one of the top luxury residences in the Magic City. "Miss, I'll push him," a middle-aged butler offered as soon as the car stopped, he and the driver lifting Wang Shikong back into a wheelchair. "No need, I'll do it myself." Ning Qingya refused, then instructed him, from now on address him as son-in-law. "Yes, yes," the middle-aged butler replied, a trace of astonishment flashing across his features as he nodded. Entering the lavish living room, Wang Shikong surveyed the familiar home. His gaze landed on his father-in-law, sitting there smoking a cigar, his mother-in-law, frowning in distress, and his little sister-in-law Ning Qingrose staring at him with wide round eyes. "Mom, Dad, is the room ready?" Ning Qingya asked. "It's ready, oh, everything has been prepared," her mother replied as she rose. "From now on let Butler Chen stay in the same room with him. It will be easier to take care of him," Ning's mother added. "All right, Mom," Ning Qingya nodded. She pushed Wang Shikong forward. "I'll take you to the room to have a look. If you have any other requests you can tell me." "Fine. I'm not used to having the smell of smoke in a room," Wang Shikong said. The words made Ning Tianxiong, who was smoking a cigar, freeze both in expression and in arm. "Dad, how many times have I told you not to smoke at home?" Ning Qingya said to her father. Ning Tianxiong was instantly infuriated. Pointing at Wang Shikong with a trembling finger, he stammered, "Turning the world upside down, you. Old Ning, our daughter is telling you not to smoke for your own good." Ning's mother tried to soothe him. I've been smoking for decades. If I don't smoke, what am I supposed to do?" Ning Tianxiong burst out in frustration. "Dad, from now on you can smoke the gas cylinder." Boom. Ning Qingru chimed in mischievously, watching the drama unfold with glee. "My dad is actually quite a good person. He usually doesn't smoke at home," Ning Qingya said as she pushed Wang Shikong along. "Come and see the room. If you need anything, I'll have someone buy it." Wang Shikong nodded. Under Ning Tianxiong's teeth-grinding stare, he took the elevator up to the second floor. The 70-plus square meter room on the second floor contained 2 beds and was equipped with every conceivable daily necessity. "I'm used to living alone. Let Uncle Chen stay in the room next door," Wang Shikong told her when they arrived. "That's fine. I'll have a bell installed by your bedside. If you need anything, just press it," Ning Qingya agreed readily. She then took him one by one to the study, the tea room, and the home theater. "I need to go to the company during the day and can't stay with you. From now on, Butler Chen will be on call for you 24 hours a day. If you need anything, you can also ask the maids. For now, let's go eat," she explained. Pushing him to the dining room, Ning Qingya continued. "If there's any food you like, just tell the aunties in the kitchen, and the chef will prepare it for you. How do today's dishes look?" "I'm not picky," Wang Shikong said as he looked at the lavish spread of dishes on the table. "Well then, Shikong, eat," Ning's mother said, forcing a smile as she tried to accept this son-in-law. Wang Shikong nodded. The family of 5 was formally having their first meal together, though the atmosphere was somewhat heavy and subdued. At the table, Ning Tianxiong downed one glass of wine after another, occasionally shooting him a disgruntled glance. Wang Shikong ignored him. His father-in-law was currently going through a rebellious phase. After dinner, he had Ning Qingya push him out to the balcony. Gazing at the night sky, he quietly revisited all the information in his mind. Having been reborn, he needed to craft a thorough plan to mend past regrets, seize every opportunity, protect everyone he wished to protect, and never again allow his wife's tragedy to repeat itself. Over the next 2 days, he rested at night. During the day, he basked in the sun on the balcony and in the courtyard. In the evenings, when Ning Qingya returned, she would push him around the neighborhood for a stroll. Thus, Wang Shikong and the Ning family achieved a simple initial acquaintance. On the 3rd morning after breakfast, he watched Ning Qingya and his father-in-law leave for the company, and Ning Qingru head to school. Sitting in his wheelchair, he went to the study. He picked up a fan nearby and gently waved it. Adjusting his glasses, he felt golden grains of sand flow across his pupils as he slowly closed his eyes. "It's here," he murmured. At that very moment, a voice surfaced in the minds of everyone across the globe. Connecting to the Endless Continent. The Endless Continent welcomes cultivators from other worlds to slay demons and monsters and ascend to immortality. You have 10 minutes to prepare. In 10 minutes, you will descend upon the Endless Continent. What the hell? What's going on? Is this the Infinite Continent? I've actually arrived in this alien world. Did I really arrive completely naked? Ah, pervert. I thought I was hallucinating. Wow, how do I get back? How do I get back? She's vanished, so it seems we can withdraw. What exactly is happening? The Infinite Continent. Slaying demons, cultivating virtue, ascending to immortality. Is this a mass transmigration? Ha ha ha, excellent. Everyone starts from the same baseline. I shall ascend to godhood, become an ancestral sovereign. Rise above all mortals. Tianqing Town, Shuala Empire, Infinite Continent. Ancient garden-style residences harmonize flawlessly with solemn neoclassical white architecture. The cobblestone pavement exudes profound gravitas. Luminous elemental arrays bathe the exquisite town in soft radiance. Within a vast plaza, citizens from launching erupt into stunned exclamations. Wang Shikong materializes within the plaza, seated in an electric wheelchair, his left hand holding a folding fan as he gently fans himself against the stifling heat. He surveys his surroundings. The plaza's center hosts 9 colossal ash-white structures, shaped like arcane glyphs, each inscribed with characters below. Cultivators from foreign realms proceed to the sacred altar to awaken your elemental perception and select your destined cultivation path, mastering elemental arts. The heavenly Tao's announcement echoes once more. Wang Shikong steers his electric wheelchair directly toward the 9 structures. Damn, it seems even in this world I remain crippled. How pitiful. Someone notices Wang Shikong in his wheelchair and murmurs sympathetically. Wang Defa, brother, is that an AK-47 you're holding? An AK-47. You brought it here. Then you're invincible against monsters. Another voice cries out in astonishment, drawing stares toward a heavily armed youth gripping an AK-47. Hurry up. Activate that perception. Wang Shikong remains utterly calm. He has lived through this before. This is no game world. It is real. Whatever weapon one holds in launching, be it an AK-47 or a Barrett sniper rifle, transcends with them fully functional in this realm. There is no true equal starting line here. Even the disabled remain disabled upon arrival. The sole equalizers are cultivation techniques and 10 lives. The infinite continent hosts 2 primary cultivation paths: body cultivation and spirit cultivation. Body cultivators absorb elemental energy to fortify their physical forms, open the lower dantian, and store elements within their flesh, specializing in close combat prowess. Spirit cultivators absorb elemental energy to strengthen the soul, open the upper dantian, the divine palace, and house elements within consciousness, mastering long-range arcane arts. Wang Shikong halts before the sacred altar, gazing at the 9 glyph-like structures. Each represents one of the 9 primordial elements. Beneath each 4 character mantras are inscribed. Praising life, singing paeans to light, commanding scorching flame, stirring ripple waves, enslaving darkness, dominating thunder, harnessing gung metal, controlling tempests, governing Fanyu. These 9 mantras correspond respectively to metal, wood, water, fire, earth, wind, thunder, light, and darkness. Wang Shikong knows 2 further elements exist beyond these 9, revering space and gazing upon time, the legendary powers of space and time. Even after exhausting immense spiritual energy healing his paralyzed legs, Wang Shikong rose again, eventually ranking among the top 10 sovereigns of Daxia, precisely because he later mastered a sliver of spatial power. He forged 2 spatial divine abilities and cultivated a spatial domain. In the infinite continent, an ancient adage endures: when time does not manifest, space reigns supreme. At the center of the 9 elemental glyphs stands a stone stele, recording the defining traits and cultivation methods of both body and spirit cultivation. These are the elemental body refinement method and the elemental spirit refinement method, as well as the foundational skill shared by both paths, elemental application. For body cultivators, elemental application manifests as elemental adhesion, sensing ambient elemental energies and binding them to one's body or weapons, enhancing offensive power, defensive resilience, or granting unique capabilities. For spirit cultivators, elemental application manifests as elemental mastery, commanding gung metal, li fire, gue water, it would woo earth, xian wind, lightning, light, and darkness, manipulating their intrinsic properties to unleash devastating attacks. Ding. You are bathed in the sacred radiance of the infinite continent, elemental perception awakened. Your innate talent now reveals your attribute panel. Choose your cultivation path swiftly. Study and master elemental application. Those who first achieve mastery shall receive the blessing of the element. The announcement rings out again, sparking chaos. Some gasp in awe, others immediately transcribe cultivation methods and study the corresponding elemental application techniques. Open attributes. Wang Shikong hears the command. His mind flickers and his consciousness responds in Transmigrator Wang Shikong. Profession, unselected. Cultivation realm 0. Level 0. Vitality 140,200. Physique 7. Skills none. Equipment 1. Hourglass of time primordial. Secondary profession, not activated. A starkly simple panel appears. His paralysis reduces vitality to 140 and physique to 7. A healthy adult possesses 200 vitality and 10 physique. All transmigrators begin with a maximum elemental affinity of 100. Individual talents vary. Each element's affinity differs per person. Higher affinity accelerates spellcasting speed, deepens mastery, and diminishes mental strain. Wang Shikong observes his attributes. They mirror those of his previous life. Yet last time his panel omitted time affinity entirely. His affinities for all 9 elements rank exceptionally high, whereas some bear mere 20s or 30s. Elemental affinity is vital, but in this authentic world strength arises from myriad sources. Even rare celestial herbs may elevate one's affinity. And that elemental blessing. In his past life, Yin Kuang, The Lord of Li Fire ranked among Daxia's 10 supreme sovereigns. Once revealed, he was the world's first to master Li Fire application, earning the fire element's blessing, boosting his fire affinity by 100. His unparalleled affinity empowered terrifying mastery over flame, cementing his title as Lord of Li Fire. Wang Shikong recalls the infinite continent's very first opportunity. His gaze sharpens. He senses the gung metal energy within a 10-meter radius fixating upon the gung metal glyph before him. Ding! Congratulations! You have acquired the gung metal elemental template. Wang Shikong channels his spiritual sense, drawing nearby metal essence to construct the gung metal template. A low hum resonates. Then a faint golden luminescence gathers slowly above his palm. This nascent glow embodies raw metal energy, capable only of rudimentary damage akin to hurling a stone. Yet reshaping it into arrows or needles would multiply its destructive force exponentially. With a thought, the golden light coalesces into a 1-inch long needle. Ding! Congratulations, cultivator. You have mastered the foundational application of gung metal. As the first to achieve this, you receive the blessing of metal. Blessing of metal 100 metal affinity. Ding! You have grasped the transformative mysteries of gung metal. Your skill proficiency ascends to the peerless realm of transcendent mastery. One notification after another chimes. Warmth floods his being. Wang Shikong feels dense currents of metal energy surging toward him from every direction. Luster ignites in his eyes. The Lord of Li Fire spoke no falsehood. With a thought, the needle dissolves, and instantly he begins mastering Li Fire Gui water. It would woo earth wind, summoning lightning, Xian wind light, and darkness. In his prior life, having reached the 4th tier transcendent realm, Wang Shikong had already refined the foundational applications of all 9 elements to transcendent mastery. Now, though his spiritual energy remains modest, he requires no incantations. Casting completes in under a second. Ding! Congratulations, cultivator. You have mastered the foundational application of Li Fire. As the first to achieve this, you receive the blessing of fire. Ding! Congratulations, cultivator. You have mastered the foundational application of Wood. As the first to achieve this, you receive the blessing of wood. Notification after notification cascades. Ding! You have received all 9 elemental blessings. Through mutual generation, suppression, repulsion, and fusion, they evolve into the elemental heart. Elemental heart, 500 elemental affinity, 50 reduction in elemental damage. The heart of elements. When Wang Shikong heard the final hint, a look of shock crossed his face. An affinity for elements 500, what does this mean? In his previous life, Wang Shikong had reached the 4th level of Transcendent Realm, and at that time the highest affinity for spatial elements was only 577. Now, with all elemental affinities 500, even the lowest affinity for dark elements was 572. Such a high affinity for elements would dramatically enhance his strength. Currently, under such terrifying elemental affinity, he could almost instantaneously unleash elemental skills. Instantly casting basic skills is something only achievable at the 2nd transition, when one opens the Divine Palace, and only when the proficiency of such skills reaches perfection. Now he could do it. With such high affinity, when others released a fireball, they would typically consume 0.5 of their mental energy. Now when Wang Shikong cast the fire departure technique, the mental energy consumed was less than 0.1. What does this imply? It is self-evident. What a delightful surprise. Wang Shikong pursed his lips, but he also understood the difficulty of obtaining the Heart of Elements. With over 10 billion people on Blue Star surpassing everyone in understanding the 9 great elemental skills, and doing so 9 times, is remarkable. To take the lead in any one element is already defying the heavens. This is the advantage of being reborn. The first important opportunity is at hand, but to restore his legs he would need to consume the energy experience required for level 10. Looking at his paralyzed legs, Wang Shikong thought to himself, I am equivalent to being 10 levels behind others at birth. I must level up quickly. He recalled the information about Tianqing Town. There were several tasks to complete and rare treasures to contend for. For now he needed to level up. Damn, constructing spells is so difficult, it's even harder than the calculus I learned in college. I became a body cultivator, and now you're telling me I need to use my brain too. Moreover, does basic elemental application really have proficiency levels? Intra-level, small success, great success, perfection, and mastery. Isn't it supposed to be mastered once learned? This isn't a game world. I must work hard. Oh, although it's tough, at least it's about rote memorization rather than just mimicking. Look at that guy in the wheelchair. His legs are paralyzed and he can't fight. He can only stroll around. We shouldn't complain. Oh, wanting to become strong isn't easy. As the wheelchair moved, the sounds around him made him smile faintly. With a flick of his fan, he stirred the hot air and gazed into the distant sky. In the azure sky, there were thick, dark, or reddish cracks, as if a glass surface had been invaded by an indescribable entity. The temperature in Tianqing Town was no less than 30 degrees. A high-end electric wheelchair could reach speeds of 45 km/h. In this fantastical world, it was akin to cyberpunk. Some locals looked on with curiosity. Arriving at the eastern gate of Tianqing town, under the inquisitive gazes of the guard soldiers, Wang Shikong rode toward the grassland ahead. Before long, a demonized wild chicken appeared in his line of sight. Demonized wild chicken, common level 0, health 150, constitution 10, magic 5, skill fierce peck. The demonized wild chicken noticed him too. Its blood-red eyes revealed bloodlust and ferocity as it charged directly at him. Its speed was comparable to that of his electric wheelchair. Wang Shikong adjusted his glasses, his eyes shimmering with a golden hue as he condensed a fire departure technique before him. In the next moment, it shot out instantaneously, accurately striking the demonized wild chicken on the head. 40. Fire departure inflicts 4 times its own mental energy as damage to the target. The fire departure element is favored by all spell cultivators in the early stages because the initial state of elements is a mass. A ball of flame doesn't need to change form to possess strong attack power. Unlike water, wood, or metal elements, if they don't change form, they're no different from throwing stones. Of course, looking at the enraged, demonized wild chicken ahead, Wang Shikong moved his hand, condensing a mass of wind elements that transformed into a wind blade and flew forward. 60. A damage far exceeding that of fire departure was displayed, directly killing the demonized wild chicken. Wang Shikong remained calm. This is the application of elements, which allows for significant manipulation and change. Simultaneously, battles require strategy. The fire departure attack broke through the wild chicken's outer defense, allowing the wind blade to deal even more damage. It's like in reality, where attacking after removing the opponent's clothing would deal more damage. On the corpse of the demonized wild chicken, a mass of energy appeared. Wang Shikong used his mental energy to draw it in. Seeing no items had dropped, he fanned himself and continued moving forward. A level 0 demonized wild chicken is still quite troublesome for the untrained citizens of Blue Star. Many cultivators have perished at the hands of a single chicken. Level 0 monsters are still too easy for me. There's no need for any tactics. I need to test my true strength. Wang Shikong murmured, maneuvering his wheelchair deeper. After slaying several oblivious wild chickens, 20 minutes later, he spotted a demonized wolf ahead. Demonized wolf, common level 4, health 600600, constitution 30, magic 11, skill bite. Level 4 wolf. Wang Shikong observed as the wolf over 20 meters away had already noticed him and rushed toward him with blood-red eyes. I can test the power of combined skills and see how many combinations I can perform now. He fixed his gaze softly, murmuring Wu Earth. A mass of yellow earth appeared, and he continued Gung Metal. A golden radiance emerged as the Wu Earth fused into the golden light, doubling its size. Gui Water. A mass of water appeared, merging the two. A larger glowing blue water mass emerged. Wang Shikong continued. The E-wood appeared, and after merging formed a gigantic piece of wood. He sensed the E-wood above him was about to go out of control and focused, saying fire departure. Boom. In an instant, the E-wood was ignited by the fire departure, forming a fireball with a diameter of 2 meters that he hurled out. The rushing wolf, now only 5 meters away, was stunned, its pupils reflecting human-like fear as it turned to flee. Mystic wind. Wang Shikong smiled faintly, the wind fueling the flames. The fireball swelled once more, changing direction and speed, instantly enveloping the wolf. Owl. 600. With a scream, the wolf was instantly killed. Wang Shikong, seeing this, pursed his lips, revealing a look of astonishment. Earth produces metal, metal produces water, water produces wood, and finally, ignited by fire departure, aided by wind. He murmured, this directly led to a one-hit kill. This is the power of combined skills. At level 0, a fireball's damage was only 40 points, and he had released 6 skills in total. Normally 6 skills would deal only about 240 damage. Even accounting for defense penetration and critical hits, it would be at most 400. However, now at level 0, he killed a level 4 wolf in one blow, with even damage overflow. The entire process took less than 2 seconds. This was not only due to the perfection of each skill, but also because of his exceptionally high elemental affinity of over 500. Otherwise, with his current mental energy, he could not stabilize so many elements. According to the element combination stability law, when elements form spells and combine with other elemental skills, phenomena of compatibility and conflict occur, leading to elemental instability, which requires strong mental energy or reasonable elemental combinations to suppress and alleviate. Once at the limit, the skill must be released or cancelled. In his past life, there was a consensus that to perform elemental combinations, the prerequisite condition was at least perfection-level skill proficiency. The more skills combined, the higher the requirements. To fuse more than 2 skills, one must achieve mastery-level proficiency. Otherwise, the longer it takes, the more likely it is to go out of control. The first spell cultivator of the Great Xia, known for his signature move, fused only 4 elemental skills. At that time the skill Thunder Wind Dragon Fire was called the strongest skill. Even though Wang Shikong had used spatial power to cleverly fuse 3 elemental skills and prevented instability with spatial seals, it still could not match the power of Thunder Wind Dragon Fire. What I did can be considered as fusing 6 elements. Achieving this relies partly on my proficiency with basic skills and partly on the heart of elements. He thought to himself thirdly, it's because this is the most fundamental use of elements, and of course him still at level. The former top spell cultivator of the Great Xia could take on thousands. He was up against the elite of a guild. In the future I believe I will be even stronger than him, taking on 10,000, or even more. His gaze flickered as he looked at the charred wolf carcass, raising an eyebrow. Did it drop anything? He approached immediately. He would. With a thought the E-wood technique formed branches to wrap around it. A thin energy coin appeared inscribed with the number 10, the currency of the endless continent worth 10 energy coins. Wang Shikong stored it away, absorbing the energy beside him as he glanced at another wolf several dozen meters away. As his wheelchair moved closer, he was spotted when he was 15 meters away. Gur. The wolf let out a low growl and quickly pounced at him. Time for a different strategy. Wang Shikong smirked, slightly focusing his mind. On the left, 3 light spheres appeared. On the right, 3 dark spheres emerged. He simultaneously boom boom boom. A violent explosion erupted. The wolf was knocked 5 meters away by the series of explosions. 230, 250, 20. Not as strong as the previous move. After all, the attribute-repelling explosions have instability, but they do have a knockback effect. Wang Shikong observed and evaluated. It's not that repelling explosions are entirely inferior to fused ones. It depends on how the elemental skills are combined. Wang Shikong's skill combination attack was the most basic type. What truly powerful is a potent skill combined with another powerful skill. This requires 4 processes: obtaining skills, meeting proficiency standards, assessing whether the skills are suitable for combination, and finally completing the combination. Elemental skills cannot simply be combined based on relations of mutual generation and repulsion. For instance, mastering the water element Water Arrow and Thorn Strike is not suitable for the water-producing Wood Elemental Law. However, Water Healing can merge with Wood Element Thorn Wrapping, making the thorns even stronger. The operability of the 9 great elements in the Endless Continent is very high. As I said, the real world is not a game. A person's strength depends not only on power, but also on intellect. The most basic skill combination still feels a bit weak. The means are somewhat sparse. I need to acquire more skills. After casually unleashing light and darkness to obliterate the wolf, Wang Shikong approached the corpse, absorbing the elemental energy while pondering. Ding. Your level has increased by 1 mental power 5, physique 2. After effortlessly slaying 8 level 4 wolves, Wang Shikong's level finally reached level 1. The level increase and boosted mental power significantly enhanced his damage. The drop rate for level 4 creatures is still too low. Having killed so many wolves only yielded 20 elemental coins. I need to venture to some fortuitous locations. Wang Shikong gazed at his harvest, murmuring to himself. The drop rates in the Endless Continent are appallingly low. Many people don't have a proper weapon even after reaching level 10. However, there are some unique places that are considered great fortunes. In the Endless Continent, if you are lucky enough to jump off a cliff, there is indeed a chance to obtain an unparalleled technique. Luck is truly unreasonable. Of course, more opportunities coexist with crises. Finding a lost mine can allow me to rapidly accumulate early-stage capital. Wang Shikong had a deep impression of this place. For ordinary people, it is a tremendous opportunity. He turned direction and followed his memory toward the lost mine. Ignoring the monsters along the way, an hour later, Wang Shikong arrived at a vast mine pit ruined 30 kilometers away. Sitting in a wheelchair is even faster than running. With a hint of self-deprecation, Wang Shikong entered the mine pit ruins, searching for a certain mine. Chirp chirp. After searching for 10 minutes, he still hadn't found the lost mine, but 2 mining mice caught his attention. Mining mice. Wang Shikong looked in the direction of the mice, his bright eyes shimmering. 2 mining mice, each the size of a wild cat, stared at him ferociously not far away. Mining mouse, ordinary level 3. Health, 350,350. Physique, 22. Magic, 10. Skill speed. Whoosh. Wang Shikong unfurled his fan and moved in closer, unleashing a large fireball composed of wood and fire towards one of the mining mice. The mining mouse jumped to evade, but a gust of wind appeared, altering the fireball's trajectory and amplifying its power. Boom. Flames engulfed one mining mouse, while the other shimmered with a blue light, accelerating by 50%. Wang Shikong remained calm as 2 beams of light, one bright and one dark, descended upon the mining mouse, instantly killing it. The injured mining mouse, seeing its companion killed in an instant, instinctively turned to flee in terror. Wang Shikong did not pursue. Instead, he followed the direction of the fleeing mining mouse, and after trailing it for over 30 meters, saw it disappear into a crack in the rocks, his eyes lighting up. Light and darkness. Bang. Wang Shikong focused his mind, launching a fusion of light and dark elements toward the front. An explosion resounded, revealing a dark and deep cave entrance. This is the place. I didn't expect it to be so hidden, and no wonder it took half a month for someone to discover it. Wang Shikong happily approached. The cave floor was rugged, strewn with stones, but fortunately his wheelchair was quite high, and so aside from a bit of jostling, it was not much of an issue. A fireball landed on the media lamp on the wall ahead, illuminating the dark cave. The entrance of the cave was small, yet it was incredibly spacious inside, measuring 3 meters wide. After walking for just a few meters, Wang Shikong saw a figure standing within. Zombie Miner level 5. Health 10001000. Physique 35. Magic 15. Skills 1. Blood-sucking attack includes 20 lifesteal 2. Jump. Weapon Guardian's Longsword Black Iron damage 50. Durability 100,100. This is the kind of monster. Wang Shikong smiled as he focused on the zombie miner, holding a long sword ahead. His gaze fell upon the black iron long sword it wielded. For early-stage cultivators, this is an extremely valuable weapon. The damage increase from leveling up is generally around 20, so this 50 damage is equivalent to leveling up twice. In his previous life, it took more than half a month after the endless continent linked with Blue Star for a lucky person to discover this place. They ended up slaying all the zombie miners and obtained a large number of black iron weapons. One weapon sold for nearly 10,000 elemental coins instantly, making them rich. At that time, the tycoons from Blue Star, in order to obtain elemental coins, were even buying at a rate of 100 to 1. In other words, a black iron weapon was worth 1 million. In this world, any weapon or equipment held by monsters can be stripped after defeating them. For instance, a demonized wild chicken, you could even chop off its claws, dry them, and use them as decorations. The only caveat is that demonized creatures cannot be consumed, otherwise the prices on Blue Star would collapse instantly. Naturally, once such monsters are slain, and their weapons stripped away, if they are later infected by demonic energy and revived, they will have no weapons left. Only through a first kill can one obtain better rewards. The zombie miner wielding the black iron long sword is quite strong. It can kill me in one blow. I must not let it attack. Wang Shikong thought to himself as he surveyed the narrow space. The attack range of magical spells is related to mental power. To ensure the accuracy of the attack, it is best to be within a range of mental power 1 meter. Of course, if one is skilled enough and has strong control over spells, they can predict attacks from a distance. Wang Shikong stopped 20 meters away from the zombie miner, noticing that he hadn't awakened it, and gently fanned the hot air around him. Buzz, buzz, buzz. In an instant, his spells gathered before him: earth, metal, water, wood, fire. The 5 elements fusion technique. The wind aided the fire, creating a fireball with a diameter of 2.5 meters, nearly covering the entire passage, hurtling toward the zombie miner. The awakened zombie miner appeared slightly dazed and could not evade. Boom. 800. A terrifying damage value surged. 800. Not bad. Wang Shikong observed, displaying a satisfied expression. He was only level 1, and this damage was absolutely extraordinary. Roar. A low growl echoed. The injured zombie leaped, instantly charging toward him. Wang Shikong calmly unleashed 2 spheres of light, one bright and one dark, that collided and exploded before carrying it away. Effortless and graceful, the fan stirred the mystical winds, shielding him from the incoming dust as he slowly approached the corpse of the zombie miner. A spell skill book. Spotting a black book, his eyes brightened. The wooden element transformed into branches, grasping the book and the long sword from the zombie miner's hand. Book. Summon skeleton. Summon skeleton consumes mental power to summon a skeleton soldier, which shares the same level as the summoner. Seeing this skill book, Wang Shikong felt quite pleased. He had learned this book in his previous life. However, he hadn't used it many times, only practicing it to great success. Learning the Summon Skeleton skill template. The omnipresent dark elements eye. Wang Shikong chanted the incantation, drawing the surrounding dark elements to coalesce, construct, and form the skill. In 4 seconds, a skeleton appeared, standing at 1 meter 60, wielding a rusty long sword. Your proficiency in summoning skeleton has improved, reaching perfection. Perfection. Upon seeing the heavenly Tao prompt, Wang Shikong was surprised. Could it be due to his strong elemental affinity? Skeleton, level 1. Health 250,250. Physique 12. Magic 1. Observing the summoned creature's attributes, it seemed quite weak, and the mental power consumed was 0. However, this skill is extremely useful in the early stages. The Summon Skeleton skill is also relatively rare and expensive. Summon Skeleton. He continued to summon a second skeleton. Under his control, the 2 skeletons appeared at his sides. He lifted his wheelchair and moved forward. Wang Shikong nodded slightly. It was indeed much steadier, and his line of sight was also significantly. Ning Qingya, from now on I will take care of you. In the desolate mine, 2 skeletons carried him deeper inside. After walking for about 20 meters, they encountered another zombie miner. Wang Shikong proceeded in the same manner using the 5 elements fusion technique combined with a light and dark element, and soon another zombie miner fell. He smiled as this was no different from picking up money. Wang Shikong pressed on, and before long the third zombies with high defense, thick skin, and black iron weapons were definitely troublesome opponents for cultivators of the same level, yet they posed no resistance against the level 1 Wang Shikong. Oh, something else dropped. As the 2 skeletons carried him along, Wang Shikong noticed another item had exploded, feeling quite lucky. He picked it up and looked at it. It was a blood red potion. Dark Eye Potion common grants night vision when consumed. Bloodline Potion. Wang Shikong was taken aback and sighed slightly. This place is indeed a treasure trove. In the Endless Continent, being an alchemist is a very promising profession. Powerful alchemists can concoct various powerful potions given the right recipes and ingredients. Some potions can enhance mental strength, elemental affinity, temporary bursts of power, and more. Thinking of potions, Wang Shikong recalled the Ning family. In the previous life, the Ning family rose to prominence and established a powerful guild thanks to the dedication of loyal alchemists from Ning Company. The initial price of the Dark Eye Potion was around 5,000 currency units, stabilizing at 2,000 currency units later on. You have consumed the Dark Eye Potion, your eyes can now see in the dark. After consumption, everything around him became significantly brighter, even curing his nearsightedness. Wang Shikong had grown accustomed to wearing glasses, simply removing the lenses. He continued. After delving in for another 200 meters, he stopped when the 13th zombie miner fell. On either side, the skeletons carried a multitude of black iron long swords. Wang Shikong's mental strength was only a little over 2 points. Once mental strength is exhausted, one cannot cast spells and can feel fatigued. Those who have been in the Endless Continent for long will not let their mental strength drop too low. They will always keep some mental strength as a precaution. Mental strength can be restored through practicing elemental refinement techniques, with varying recovery speeds depending on the level. He could recover about 5 points in an hour now. I should head back first, though I need to store the weapons on the Blue Star side. Wang Shikong placed 13 long swords on the wheelchair and silently recited the exit command. If no attack occurs within 10 seconds, you can exit. 10, 9, 8. 1. On Blue Star in Villa 18 of the Tan Palace, Wang Shikong's ethereal form began to solidify. In his hands there were now 13 long swords. He casually transformed wood into ropes to place the long swords on the ground, then walked into the villa's courtyard, closing his eyes to silently absorb the elemental energy around him. The elemental energy on Blue Star was no different from that of the Endless Continent. Absorbing elemental energy not only restores mental strength, but can also enhance levels. Indeed, cultivation can also enhance levels, though it is much slower compared to absorbing fallen essence from monsters. However, Wang Shikong found that he was cultivating 5 times faster than in his previous life. Even if he did not kill monsters, and simply cultivated with his eyes closed, he would not be much slower than Shikong. After more than an hour, Ning Qingjia's voice startled him awake. You entered the Endless Continent, didn't you? Ning Qingya approached him, her face displaying shock. Wang Shikong nodded, glancing at Ning Qingjia's father Ning Tianxiong and mother, as well as Ning Qingru beside her. Let's talk inside, Ning Tianxiong said. Ning Qingya nodded, pushing Wang Shikong towards the house. The emergence of the Endless Continent would undoubtedly change the world structure, and great changes had also occurred in the Ning family. Old Chun and the others just called me saying they want to resign. Upon entering the living room, Ning Tianxiong took out a cigar which was snatched away by Ning Qingya before he could light it. He continued with annoyance. Now only Aunt Song hasn't resigned. She will be responsible for our meals, and many people have also left from the company. For the medical company and the factory, I have temporarily given all employees paid leave. Ning Qingya calmly stated. The sudden appearance of the Endless Continent will undoubtedly change the world structure, which also represents a redistribution of wealth and the birth of extraordinary powers. In the future, it seems that the strong will rule. Extraordinary powers, we might have eternal youth. Ning Qingru was very excited, dancing with joy. Dad, Mom, sister, look. I can now cast fireballs. As she spoke, she began to demonstrate, extending her right hand, her round eyes fixed, chanting the incantation. 1 second, 2 seconds. After 10 seconds, flames began to appear, and after 20 seconds, a fireball formed. Impressive, right? Ning Qingru lifted her chin, showing off happily. Wang Shikong. Ning Tianxiong smiled and said, this little girl is indeed impressive. It takes me about 25 seconds to condense a firearm now. The most important task for our family now is to enhance our strength. Strength will be everything in the future. Information is crucial. We need to gather more information about the Endless Continent. The items from reality can be brought into the Endless Continent, which also means that items from the Endless Continent can be brought into reality. Ning Qingya showed a thoughtful expression. Let's see if we can gather the company executives and employees. Many hands make light work. All right, I will organize the contact. Ning Tianxiong nodded. Sister, why did you choose body cultivation? Body cultivation requires close combat. Won't it hurt if you get hit by monsters? You could have chosen spell cultivation, which is much cooler. Ning Qingru interrupted the conversation asking. Body cultivation can also attack from a distance. I plan to use a bow and arrow, Ning Qingya replied. Bow and arrow? Oh, I forgot that you were the president of the school's shooting club before, sister. Ning Qingru raised her beautiful brows, then glanced at Wang Shikong. Hey you. Mind your manners when speaking. Ning Qingya tapped her little head, interrupting her words, and turned her gaze to Wang Shikong with deeper apologies. I inquired in the endless continent. Shikong, your leg injury can be healed. Rest assured, I will help you find healing medicine. Wang Shikong listened quietly and nodded calmly. I won't be going to the company for now. Let's set a time to enter the endless continent. I will come to take care of you tonight. Ning Qingya said, pursing her lips, her face flushing slightly, as she seemed to think of something. Should we let your dad come? Ning's mother hesitated and spoke. Ning Tianxiang's eyes widened at once. Do I have to take care of him? No need. Shikong is my husband. It's only right for me to take care of him. Ning Qingya shook her head, her gaze gradually firming. At this time of great upheaval in the world, even the family's maid and butler had directly resigned, preparing to enter the endless continent to change their fate. But Wang Shikong had missed so much due to his negligence. She felt extremely guilty and aimed to make amends as best as she could. Wang Shikong looked at Ning Qingya, feeling a warm sensation in his heart. Ning's mother looked as if she wanted to say something, but shook her head, sighing at the misfortune. Aunt Song has gone to pack some things. I will cook lunch today, and we can enter the endless continent after eating. Ning's mother said. Mom, I will help you, Ning Qingya replied. Ning Qingru sat there, glanced at Wang Shikong, suddenly approached him, showing her tiger teeth, and saying fiercely, once your leg is healed, don't cling to my sister, and don't drag her down. Stay as far away as you can. Do you understand? Otherwise, see my fist. After a round of threats, Ning Qingru flipped her ponytail and turned to leave. Wang Shikong looked at his sister-in-law and suddenly smiled. At this moment, she was very mischievous and cute, unlike the future, when after the incident with her sister her smiles became few and far between, and she matured, shouldering the burden of the guild. What we owe you, the Ning family will repay. Ning Tianxiong, witnessing this scene, did not stop it, coldly saying, after repaying, I hope you are self-aware. Wang Shikong was not angry at his words. Thinking back to the last life after Qingya left, he had tried to match. It's time to eat. Try my cooking. It's been years since I've cooked. In the afternoon in the dining room, Ning's mother brought over the dishes, smiling as she said, taste, and see if my skills have declined. This shrimp is steamed by me, Shikong, try it. Ning Qingya, cooking for the first time, picked up a shrimp and handed it to Wang Shikong. Steamed is fine. Thank you. Wang Shikong expressed his gratitude, peeling and eating it. No need to be polite. Although I haven't cooked before, I feel quite talented. Ning Qingya said confidently with a smile. Wang Shikong twitched his lips. Women, where do you get your confidence? The meal was warm, and everyone finished eating quickly. Ning Qingru ran back to her room, shouting that she wanted to conquer the endless continent. Ning Qingya pushed him into the room, suddenly hesitating, and saying, how about I take you to the bathroom first? I'm going to enter the endless continent soon. Okay. Wang Shikong hesitated, but did not refuse. Blushing, he was pushed out of the bathroom, quickly. Wang Shikong smiled, reminiscing about some matters. With a different mindset, it felt quite interesting. Looking at his restored mental energy, he focused, and the surrounding scenery changed as he returned to the lost mine. After surveying the surroundings, he quickly summoned 2 skeletons to carry him deeper inside. Soon he noticed 2 zombie miners standing about 20 meters ahead. No problem. Wang Shikong threw a 5 elements fusion technique, and the zombie miners standing together were hit simultaneously. Following that, 2 blasts of contrasting light and darkness exploded, sending the rushing zombie miners flying and killing them. The speed of monster extermination has actually increased, and efficiency has greatly improved. The 2 skeletons carried him over to absorb the spiritual energy. He harvested 2 black iron long swords. As he delved another 20 meters, his gaze slightly focused on a figure standing ahead. Different from the zombie miners wielding long swords earlier, the figure ahead was smaller, but surrounded by a black aura. Whooshed! As he observed, a stream of black flame flew toward him. The black flames carried the effects of erosion, pollution, and decay. Imu Lihuo Wutu. Wang Shikong's gaze sharpened as he combined a defensive spell, and a mound of earth appeared. He immediately changed the Wutu elemental state, forming a 1-meter-high earthen wall for defense. Bang! The black flame collided with the earthen wall, blocking the attack. Under the basic elemental form, Wang Shikong could combine 6 elements, but changing elemental forms required time. 4 was his limit. However, the benefits of changing elemental forms were also evident. Zombie Miner Captain Black Iron Level 6. Health 1, 2001, 200. Physique 25. Mental Energy 55. Skills 1. Black Flame 2. Black Shadow Assault 3. Black Armor Protection Weapon Guardian Staff Black Iron Damage 55, where 100100. Wang Shikang's gaze sharpened as he saw the attributes of the zombie miner captain. With 1200 health, 55 mental energy, and 3 skills, he was quite strong for his level, and that was it. Squeak squeak squeak. Wang Shikang was just about to condense the 5 elements fusion technique, when suddenly he heard the sound of numerous mice. He looked over to see 2 to 3 dozen mining mice charging toward him. More mining mice. A serious expression appeared on his face. Without hesitation, he launched the 5 elements fusion technique directly at the mining mice. Boom. 350. 350. 350. Instantly dozens of mining mice were killed, but the remaining mice continued to charge. With Wang Shikang's physique, a single mining mouse could kill him. He looked serious as golden sand flowed through his eyes, time seemingly materializing within his pupils. Foreknowledge activate. Xianfeng. Xianfeng. 2 whirlwinds formed as he took out a tissue and blew it toward the front. The second wind blew his scent backward. Ahead, the zombie miner captain raised his staff, condensing dark. When Wang Shikang used Xuanfeng, the captain noticeably paused, casting a black flame, but this time the attack was aimed at the flying tissue. Wang Shikang revealed a hint of mockery on his face, seizing the opportunity to launch another 5 elements fusion technique, combined with wind, to aid the fire toward the remaining mining mice. Boom. Boom. 2 loud explosions sounded as the tissue was blasted apart, and all the remaining dozen or so mining mice were also slain. Wang Shikang suddenly raised his head, his eyes glimmering with flowing sand. The zombie miner captain again waved his staff, and this time a 2-meter shadow rushed toward him. The speed was incredibly fast, arriving in the blink of an eye. Time stop. He had no choice but to use this move. Retreat. Everything around him froze as he commanded the 2 skeletons to retreat, while rapidly condensing the 5 elements fusion technique. Boom. In just 1 second, the skeletons pulled him back 4 meters, leaving a deep pit where he had just stood, kicking up a cloud of dust. Wang Shikang threw the fireball in his hand, without any hesitation, continuing to condense. 700. The 5 elements fusion technique landed on him, dealing 700 damage directly. The second 5 elements fusion technique followed closely. Boom. However, this strike did not harm the zombie miner captain at all. The black armor wrapped around his body absorbed the attack. Wang Shikang did not hesitate, biting his finger to squeeze out a drop of blood. Xianfeng. He used the Xianfeng technique to blow his blood toward the front. At the same time, he cast Xianfeng again, blowing his scent backward. Zombie-type wild monsters did not rely on sight to lock onto targets, but rather on scent. Wang Shikang's series of actions were intended to confuse the zombie miner captain's attack target. The first time he used a scented tissue to deceive, but the second time, he needed something more convincing. Sure enough, the zombie miner captain released another black flame, attacking the blood. At this moment, Wang Shikang condensed the 5 elements fusion technique again. The wind aided the fire. Boom. The zombie miner captain, whose black armor had just dissipated, was hit and fell directly. Some trouble. Oh, I had to use my time stop ability. Wang Shikang looked on. In less than a minute, he had consumed 1/3 of his mental energy and activated both foreknowledge and time stop. If it weren't for the swarm of mining mice, it would have been fine, but dealing with 20 or 30 mice wasted 2 attacks. However, considering this was a level 5 battle, and that the zombie miner captain was a black iron level monster, he felt relieved. Looking at the dense clusters of spiritual energy in front of him, Xianfeng circulated around the fan, blowing away the surrounding dust, and began to absorb the spiritual energy as he approached. Ding, your level 1, mental energy 5, physique 2. Just by absorbing the spiritual energy of 30 mining mice, his level increased, and after absorbing the miner captain's energy, the progress bar increased significantly. Seeing several items dropped beside a zombie miner captain, he immediately had the skeleton bring them over. Black Shadow Assault Skill Book. Dark Eye Potion Recipe. 500 currency. Wang Shikang looked at these drops, especially the Dark Eye Potion recipe, with astonishment on his face. A recipe, a highly valuable recipe. Wang Shikang was delighted. As long as he became an alchemist and learned this recipe, he could make the Dark Eye Potion and gain a large amount of currency. The value of the recipe was far greater than that of black iron weapons. The Black Shadow Assault Skill Book also dropped. Black Shadow Assault. Release a shadow that deals 7 mental energy damage. Congratulations, you have learned the Black Shadow Assault skill template. Wang Shikang learned the spell skill and released the Black Shadow Assault. You have comprehended the essence of Black Shadow Assault skill. Proficiency has reached mastery. Wang Shikang had learned this skill in his previous life. Black Shadow Assault combined with the light element healing skill Shadow Body could unleash extremely high damage. In the early stages, for a long time, the top team's mage cultivators mastered one of these 2 skills. When paired together, their damage was exceedingly high. As for having one person with both skills to perform combined attacks, sorry, no one could do that in the early stage. Descendant Wang Shikang. Profession Mage. Realm Elemental Refining Realm. Level 2, 11,100. Vitality 196,280. Physique 11. Mental power 2020. Elemental affinity metal 578. Wood 589. Water 588. Fire 592. Earth 580. Wind 588. Thunder 580. Light 577. Darkness 572. Space 595. Time max. Possesses the heart of elements. Skills 1. Basic elemental manipulation, Gung metal transcendent, Li fire transcendent, Gui water transcendent, Iwood transcendent, Wu earth transcendent, Xian wind transcendent, thunder transcendent, light transcendent, darkness transcendent. 2. Summon skeleton completed. 3. Shadow strike transcendent. Equipment 1. Time hourglass origin. 2. Guardian staff. Secondary profession, not yet unlocked. With the increase in level, he gained another guardian staff and the shadow strike skill. Even with the time stop and cooldown, he could still defeat the black iron level minor captain. Having returned the previously obtained long sword and staff to the blue star, Wang Shikong once again entered the endless continent, continuing his exploration. He delved deeper inside, and suddenly there was a turn ahead with white light emanating from within. Wang Shikong's eyes widened in surprise, prompting the two skeletons to quicken their pace. Buzz! As he reached the corner, a beam of holy light enveloped him. Ahead, an old man with white hair stood quietly before a cross. Upon seeing him, the old man smiled. Lucky one, welcome to the Holy Temple of Light. As he spoke, everything around him changed. The dark mine vanished, replaced by a sacred hall. White battle angels and statues of light priests adorned the dome and the sides. A 2-meter-tall statue of a holy light warrior, one hand holding a sword and the other holding a shield, stood with majesty and solemnity. The sudden transformation caused Wang Shikong's expression to change as he gazed at the priest with a staff and a kind smile. His face darkened, showing no sign of joy. The Holy Temple of Light, the sovereign of the third era of the endless continent, the inheritance examination of the God of Light. In his past life, many encountered the examiner of the God of Light, and Wang Shikong had experienced it too. His second death occurred here. The male prostitute God of Light, the evil God of Light, a fond greeting from countless victims towards the God of Light. Wang Shikong never expected to encounter the inheritance examination of the God of Light once again. He had never heard of any inheritance examination of the God of Light in Tianqing town. Indeed, fortune and risk often coexist. He was not the child of destiny. With so many black iron weapons in this land, it turned out there was such a big pit. Coming to terms with it, he took a deep God loves the world. The priest ahead smiled at him and began, Lucky one, congratulations on gaining the favor of the great God of Light. Will you praise, sing, and worship the God? To become a god. No one could refuse the priest's words. If anyone dared, this old man would deem them heretics, and heretics meet death. I am willing, Wang Shikong replied, preparing for the trial. A correct choice. The great God of Light has left 4 trials. If you can complete them, you will receive the inheritance of the God. As the priest spoke, he slowly approached him. The first trial is of heart and wisdom. Answer my question. As a devout believer in front of you, your relative needs your rescue and a city needs your help, but you can only choose one. Which will you choose? Save my relative, Wang Shikong answered without hesitation. The God of Light likes honest children. Congratulations, you have passed the first trial. The priest was slightly surprised by his swift response and gestured, please follow me. Wang Shikong nodded. The first trial was quite deceptive. God loves the world, and as a devout believer, these 2 phrases would lead many trial takers to choose to save a city. God does not favor liars. Thus those who make such choices perish. On the road to God, one must carry a pill. The priest stopped at the edge of the hall, gazing thousands of meters away at the holy light-shrouded figure seated on the divine throne, bowing his head devoutly. Devout believers bow every 9 steps, but as the heir of the God, you must bow every step. Wang Shikong fell silent upon hearing the priest's words. Seeing him remain still, the priest also looked at him. If the great God of Light can heal my legs, I will crawl before him, kiss the edges of his shoes, and offer my most devout heart. Wang Shikong spoke. The priest. God loves the world and treats every believer kindly. The God permits you to approach in a wheelchair. Wang Shikong pouted and pressed the forward button. An invisible resistance arose and the dense light elements nearly took on substance. His gaze flickered slightly. The further he went, the stronger the resistance became. Wang Shikong's mind stirred, and his mental power urged the light elements ahead to clear a path. Indeed, in my past life, someone said the second trial's examination is elemental affinity. Only those with high affinity for light elements can pass this stage. Thus, the second trial had nothing to do with so-called devotion. It was merely the God of Light toying with people, making them bow step by step. With his overwhelmingly powerful elemental affinity, Wang Shikong advanced quickly. Had he not been concerned about the God of Light's remaining power, he could have even wheeled himself through. Under the shocked gaze of the priest, Wang Shikong arrived 2,000 meters away beneath the divine throne. He looked up at the 99 steps ahead. Congratulations on passing the god's trial and the second stage. The priest appeared beside him, gazing up at the steps ahead, saying, "The god cares for the world. Each step forward brings you closer to the god. Praise the god, let the god hear your voice, sing to the god, let the god know your determination." Wang Shikong looked at the steps ahead, which were the most treacherous. 99 steps with a dividing line in the center of each step, meaning each step is divided into two sides, one representing life and the other death. Each step represented a 50% mortality rate. As for stepping in the center, 100% death. There were no signs of anomaly. Reaching the 99 steps was purely a matter of luck. The result was that those who entered here praised the god of light, while falling into the pit the god had dug for them. This trial was also a significant reason why no one had ever passed the inheritance examination of the god of light in the previous life, and it was also the reason the god of light gained a good reputation. However, at this moment Wang Shikong stared at the steps, his gaze flickering, his pupils shimmering with golden sand. Crack, crack. The two skeletons appeared beside him, lifting him up the right side of the first step. "Do not let the tainted things defile the temple, making the god displeased." The priest frowned slightly upon seeing the two skeletons. Wang Shikong ignored him, recalling the historical texts of the third era of the endless continent. The evil god of light is an old pervert, and anyone who defies him is deemed a heretic. The evil god is more merciful than him, and demons are kinder than him. Even succubi are more trustworthy than him. He is the greatest villain of the third era. When he first saw this historical content, he thought it was altered by someone writing unofficial histories. The ability to foresee allowed him to see whether he would survive the next moment, enabling him to make the correct choice. First step, second step, third step. One by one he steadily stepped up each stair, growing closer to the divine, thrown above, closer to the ethereal figure shrouded in holy light. A look of disbelief appeared on the priest's face, unable to help but exclaim, "Praise my god of light, have you truly shown great mercy." With a loud clap, as the two skeletons placed Wang Shikong on the 99th step, a smile appeared on his face. He never expected that on the very first day of entering the endless continent, he would pass the third trial of the light god. He gazed at the ethereal figure seated on the divine throne. It was an elder clad in white robes with white hair, the only brilliance emanating from the divine crown atop his head, which radiated a dazzling spectrum of colors. Even as just a phantom, he still exuded an inexplicable pressure that stirred an impulse of worship within those who beheld him. "I never imagined that a living being could actually come to my side. How many years has it been now?" The ethereal light elemental god suddenly opened his eyes, looking down upon Wang Shikong. His voice was deafening, echoing throughout the holy temple. Suddenly, for reasons unknown, he burst into laughter. Wang Shikong listened to this laughter. The light elemental god abruptly ceased his laughter, a playful smile fixed on him. "You are quite similar to the young me destined by fate. However, to receive my inheritance you still need its recognition." As his words fell, his phantom dissipated, condensing into an extraordinarily sacred book that floated quietly before Wang Shikong. He reached out to take a look. The book was titled The Word of God. Below the title there was a line of small text: "Ruler of the Third Era, the Great Light, Elemental God Oakland." The upper section of the God's Light Inheritance. Complete the mastery of the first 3 pages within a fortnight. Failure will result in expulsion from the Holy Light Hall. A prompt echoed in his mind as Wang Shikong placed the book on his legs and opened the first page. The Word of God states, "All who defy me are my enemies. All who disrespect me are heretics. God loves the world and blesses his believers." 3 lines of text stood at the center with a skill recorded below them, accompanied by 2 strange symbols. The Word of God says, "Let there be light," and thus darkness is dispelled. Divine Light Technique. Ding. Congratulations, you have learned the template for Divine Light Technique. Divine Light Technique dispels negative effects on oneself or allies. Under the illumination of divine light, it can resist damage equal to 11 times one's spiritual power, lasting 30 seconds. Divine Light Technique. Wang Shikong looked slightly stunned. Is this really the Divine Light Technique? In his previous life he had learned this skill, but he clearly remembered that the original Divine Light Technique had only one effect: to dispel negative effects on oneself or allies. It did not have the subsequent damage resistance effect. And there was more. Divine Light Technique against evil heretics. Under the illumination of divine light, it deals 11 times one's spiritual power as damage. A spell with 2 effects, freely selectable for offense or defense. He turned to the second page, finding the same skill with 2 strange symbols. The Word of God says, "I love the world, spreading light to heal all souls." Ding. Congratulations, you have learned the template for Light Healing Technique. Light Healing Technique releases healing light equal to 11 times one's spiritual power to heal lost health. Surplus healing can restore stamina and spiritual power. Another version. Light Healing Technique releases healing light equal to 11 times one's spiritual power to heal the mind, cleanse the roots, and purify the flesh. He turned to the third page. The word of God says to my believers, I shall grant courage charging into God's inspiration bestows divine light upon allies within a 10-meter radius, enhancing their attack defense and speed by 40, consuming one's zero elemental affinity spiritual power per second, effective only for beings below the first transition. Another version. God's inspiration bestows divine light upon heretics within a 10-meter radius, reducing their attack defense and speed by 40, consuming one's zero elemental affinity spiritual power per second, effective only for beings below the first transition. As he continued to flip through, a prompt displayed insufficient spiritual power to open. Wang Shikong looked at the absurd skills one by one, pursing his lips. Truly the one who laughs like a villain, I truly praise you, old man. A skill capable of performing 2 effects. Wang Shikong studied it carefully and discovered that the reason for such effects was that this was not a purely light element skill. It incorporated dark elements. Yes, that great light elemental god infused darkness into his light and dark elements traditionally oppose each other. In his previous life, Wang Shikong had never encountered a skill that could fuse light and darkness so cleverly. Truly, he was the overlord of the third era of the endless continent, the strongest villain. The light element has a very rare skill called light inspiration, which merely enhances by 20 and consumes high amounts of power. Even so, it was considered a supportive divine skill at the early stages. This one is even more perverse. For ordinary people, this skill consumes extremely high amounts of power, but for me it consumes less than 0.2 spiritual power per second. With my current 20 spiritual power, I can sustain it for over a minute. Wang Shikong marveled, slightly focusing on these 3 skills, attempting to master them swiftly and reach. The word of God says, let there be light, and thus darkness is dispelled. Wang Shikong began to chant rapidly, constructing the combination. After 30 seconds, he shouted, Divine Light Technique. Ding. Your proficiency in Divine Light Technique has increased, reaching the entry level. A ray of brilliance appeared, and Wang Shikong's expression turned serious. It was difficult, very difficult. It was far beyond the capabilities of ordinary skills. During the elemental construction, integrating the dark elements into the light elements caused elemental chaos, requiring extremely precise control. This was even harder than typical elemental fusion skills. The main issue was that Wang Shikong had not encountered such skills in his previous life, so he needed to relearn and understand how to master them. Even those top supportive spell cultivators from my last life would not be able to reach perfection in these 3 skills in half a month. They couldn't even master one to perfection. Wang Shikong murmured to himself. However, due to his powerful elemental affinity and rich experience, he should not face much trouble. The inheritance of the Word of God, authored by the light elemental god, although it only contained the upper half, he must obtain it. Such inheritance-type books are extremely rare. As long as one acquires it with sufficient spiritual power, they can gain a multitude of spell skills. Moreover, it is systematic, representing the highest opportunity in the entire endless continent. Wang Shikong dared not waste time, and immediately focused on practicing. Huff. 3 hours passed. He checked the time, and exited the endless continent. I can already release a fireball within 10 seconds. I'm simply a genius. This afternoon I killed 5 wild chickens. I should be able to level up tomorrow. Isn't that impressive? As Wang Shikong exited the elevator, he heard Ning Qingya's crisp voice chattering away. Impressive, impressive. One day you'll be able to fly to the heavens and stand shoulder to shoulder with the sun. What sun? I want to become a goddess. Ha ha. She lay on the sofa laughing, without care, dressed lightly. Upon seeing Wang Shikong arrive, her laughter abruptly ceased. Tilting her head and glancing at Wang Shikong, she showed a hint of disdain. Why are you so dirty? Wang Shikong looked at himself and indeed found he was somewhat dirty. Despite his best efforts, dust from the mine had settled on him. He'll take you to clean up. Ning Qingya stood up and walked over, pushing him toward the bathing area. Wang Shikong nodded. Arriving at the bathing area, took a towel and carefully wiped his clothes. Looking at his delicate face in the mirror, he revealed a smile. You're a bit dirty. How about I help you wash up tonight? Ning Qingya wiped the dust off her back and paused while looking at the dust on the back of his. Wang Shikong was momentarily stunned and turned to glance at her. Their eyes met. Ning Qingya seemed flustered, quickly smoothing her hair and raising her voice slightly. It's only right for me to take care of you, especially since we are already registered. Ahem. Wang Shikong lightly cleared his throat and nodded. Okay. My sister has never treated me this well. After dinner, Ning Qingru tapped her bowl with her chopsticks, watching her sister push Wang Shikong away, pouting in jealousy. Let me tell you, your sister is just too kind. Ning Tianxiong looked on with jealousy, saying, once we heal this kid's leg injury, he should roll as far away as possible. Damn it, my own daughter hasn't been filial and taken care of me, yet she's now taking care of this kid every day. What about the marriage certificate? Ning Mu furrowed her brow and said, Shikong is quite good looking. Should we consider? There's no should we about it. What does it matter if they've registered for marriage? There are so many divorces nowadays, what does a marriage certificate mean? Ning Tianxiong pulled out a cigarette, immediately interrupting his wife's words. Xingya feels sympathy for him now, but she doesn't love this kid. Moreover, this kid is simply not worthy of my daughter. Oh, just looking at him is annoying. Lighting his cigarette, he took a deep puff. Damn it, is it forbidden to smoke in my own house? Crash. The atmosphere during the bath was somewhat suggestive, but fortunately Wang Shikong could clean himself in key areas, and Ning Xingya only needed to help him with his back and legs. Even so, after helping him to bed, she left with a flushed face. Although Ning Xingya had decided to care for him for life, and they had already registered she had never been in a relationship and had not experienced these feelings. Every time she helped him, her head would spin and her heart would race. Wang Shikong found her flustered figure amusing while secretly making up his mind. Closing his eyes, he entered the endless continent. Once again appearing in the holy temple of light, Wang Shikong continued practicing the divine light technique. He had no complaints about being trapped in the holy temple on the first day. In the endless continent, leveling up was the least important thing. Not to mention anything else, just the 3 skills he currently possessed were enough to make him a powerful warrior and a top-tier priest. Even if he didn't learn other skills for a year, he would still be ahead. This was truly a case of mastering one skill to dominate all. Practicing until midnight, feeling fatigued, he directly logged out to rest. Although he had acquired the method of cultivation, he still needed to take breaks. Work hard. It's possible, but mental fatigue would hinder his combat ability and spell proficiency. Wang Shikong maintained a routine of 8 hours of rest every day. Ding, congratulations, your proficiency in the divine light technique has increased and reached proficiency level. 3 days later, Wang Shikong finally achieved mastery of the divine light technique. He then turned to practice the light healing technique, which was slightly more difficult than the divine light technique. However, in less than 4 days, he also mastered it. Finally, he tackled the even more difficult skill of divine inspiration. Ding, congratulations, your proficiency in divine inspiration has increased and reached proficiency level. On the 14th day, a notification sounded. Wang Shikong breathed a sigh of relief upon hearing it. After practicing continuously for over 10 days, he had finally succeeded. Buzz. The book of divine sayings in his hand emitted a glow enveloping him within. You have passed the assessment of the God of Light element and received part of the inheritance from the God of Light element. Your mental power 40. You have gained recognition of the book of divine sayings bound to your soul. When the book of divine sayings is opened, your casting speed of light element spells increases by 50. Congratulations, Son of God, for receiving the great inheritance of the God of Light. As the notifications rang out, the old priest appeared before him, kneeling on one knee and holding a staff, saying, Please, Son of God, spread the light of the God of Light across the endless continent. Ding, main quest activated the radiance of the God of Light. As the Son of the God of Light, it's your duty to restore its glory. Spread the divine light, purify heresy, and ensure that your personal or your created team's or guild's reputation reaches 10 million. Upon completion, you can unlock the second inheritance of the Holy Temple of Light. Wang Shikong listened to this string of information, his eyes flashing as he looked at the priest kneeling before him, nodding. I will let the world see the divine light again. The old minister believes in the Son of God. If the Son of God completes the assessment, this temple will also belong to the Son of God, and the old minister's remaining soul will serve the great God of Light. The priest stood up and bowed to him, transforming into light and dissipating. You have acquired the spatial treasure, the Holy Temple of Light. Holy Temple of Light Epic. A spatial treasure increases the power of light element spells by 50, can transform into rings or jewelry to store items, can store living beings bound to your soul. The notification sounded again, causing Wang Shikong to reveal a look of delight. He focused his mind, and everything before him disappeared, reappearing in the abandoned mine. Epic level storage treasure increases the power of light element spell skills by 50, can store living beings. Wang Shikong's expression brightened with excitement. These effects, these attributes are simply terrifying. In the endless continent, equipment levels range from ordinary black, iron, bronze, silver, gold, dark gold, epic, legend to myth. He had not obtained an epic item even 5 years after his last life. The best he got was a dark gold level artifact. And that reward of 40 mental power is truly absurd, equivalent to an 8-level increase in mental power. Wang Shikong's eyes flickered. He knew very well how precious this extra mental power boost was. When one opens the Divine Palace during the first transition, those with more mental power will have a larger Divine Palace, making them stronger after the transition. It's similar to the Foundation establishment in cultivation novels, which is divided into ordinary Earth level and Heaven level Foundation establishments, and so on. The deeper the foundation laid in the early stages, the stronger the later abilities. When the time comes, fighting at levels 8 or 9 will be very possible. Although Wang Shikong is currently only at level 2 in actual combat, he once again looked at the Book of Divine Sayings. Divine Sayings Inheritance Book of the God of Light Element bound to your soul. Possessing this book grants you the ability to use Truth Spell, and the God does not like those who lie. Truth Spell. You can judge the truthfulness of the other party's words. The Truth Spell is still passive, but this is an active spell skill that can only be learned in the fourth transition of Transcendence. Wang Shikong was very satisfied with this skill. Understanding people's hearts can often be more terrifying than the divine spells of the God of Lies. Having the Truth Spell always activated would allow him to discern truth from falsehood. This harvest is incredibly rich. Half a month has already passed, and those wealthy people have gathered enough elemental coins, and the black iron weapons in hand are just about ready to be sold. Wang Shikong returned to Blue Star and placed the black iron weapons into the Holy Temple of Light. At this moment, the Holy Temple of Light felt just like an ordinary ring on his hand, completely indistinguishable as an epic-level treasure. Summoning 2 skeletons, he had them carry him toward the cave entrance. Once outside, he stirred the hot air and headed straight for Tianqing Town. In his plans, there were many things he needed to do. As the wheelchair moved, the surroundings were no longer as desolate as when he arrived. Along the way, he encountered various people riding bicycles, shared electric vehicles, and even those racing on motorcycles. It brought a touch of sci-fi to this fantasy world. This made sitting in a wheelchair not feel so out of place. However, the technology of the Endless Continent was even more advanced than Blue Star. The continent's history could be traced back 100,000 years, experiencing 5 brilliant epochs. Communications, teleportation, arrays, elemental airships, space storage rings, projection formations. Various technological elements were splendid beyond imagination. After selling the equipment, he'll first buy a communicator and then establish a small team. He hadn't forgotten the follow-up task of the God of Light's inheritance to raise his reputation. Increasing reputation was very difficult. 1,000,000 reputation was something he thought could only be achieved in the Endless Continent after 3 years. Moreover, this reputation was not personal, it was the guild's reputation. He did not have much time to establish a guild, especially since his wife would build a powerful guild. Thus, he needed to form a small team, firstly for reputation, and secondly for some dungeons and tasks. Many dungeons and tasks required a team. While he pondered, he returned to Tianqing Town after over an hour. Compared to before, the current Tianqing Town was filled with fellow villagers. They were holding all sorts of weapons: kitchen knives, sickles, baseball bats, or even a steel bar. Very few had proper weapons. The weapon shop in Tianqing Town sold ordinary and black iron weapons, but ordinary weapons started at 500 elemental coins, and black iron weapons were even more expensive at 10,000 elemental coins. With the low drop rate on the Endless Continent, a person could only obtain 20 elemental coins a day at best, which required quite a bit of luck. Wang Shikong traveled down the road, arriving at a busy intersection, pulling out 4 guardian long swords to place in front of him. He took out the wooden board he had prepared on the way back, inscribed with text, and placed it beside him. Black iron level long sword, discounted to 95 off at the weapon shop. Only accepting elemental coins. Setting up a stall is quite casual in the various towns across the Endless Continent, as long as it doesn't obstruct the road. Even selling weapons at a low price right in front of a weapon shop won't get you chased away. In fact, during the early stages of the game, the weapon stores run by the locals are always in high demand. The drop rate in the Endless Continent is quite low, but that doesn't stop wealthy individuals from buying a yuan coin for 100 yuan in reality. Take the rich folks of the Great Xia, for instance. They can buy several luxury cars worth millions each. A piece of clothing can cost tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands. The bags for their girlfriends can range from several 100,000 to 1,000,000. Supporting a mistress can cost over 1,000,000 a year. Hiring a female escort for a night can set you back several thousand. So now is buying yuan coins at a high price for weapons that allow them to progress faster on the extraordinary path really expensive? Not at all. Hey, what's going on? Selling black iron weapons. A 5 discount at the weapon shop. 4 black iron long swords, really? I don't even have a single ordinary weapon yet, and you are selling 4 black iron weapons directly. Hey, where did you get these weapons from? Can you tell me, and I'll reward you for it? Before Wang Shikong had his stall set up for even a minute, he had already attracted gasps from the crowd around him. A heavily made-up woman squatted down to inquire with him. Wang Shikong glanced around, completely ignoring them, and focused on the divine book in his hand. He could channel his spirit into the book to practice his skill proficiency. Not only a cripple, but also a mute. The woman couldn't help but shout loudly when she saw Wang Shikong ignoring her completely. Bro, can I use real currency? I can offer 1,000,000 and transfer it directly. A genuine buyer also spoke up, but Wang Shikong still ignored him. What use does real currency have for him? His wife's family has plenty of money. Over a year later, the real currency system would collapse, and everything would be traded in yuan coins. Seeing that Wang Shikong was not responding, some onlookers could only leave reluctantly after casting envious glances. As for robbing him, in town the cost of murder, theft, and assault is extremely high. At best you'd be killed, or at worst you'd be thrown in prison. If you serve a few years you would be ruined. Bro, I want 2 black iron long swords. Within a few minutes, several young men dressed in fine clothing approached, each holding proper weapons, and 2 of them carried exquisite shields and staves. Clearly not of Blue Star origin. Wang Shikong looked up at them and said, "Sure. If we buy 2, can you give us a 10 discount as a gesture of friendship?" The young man in the center smiled at him and said, "I am Zhang Zihao, the heir of the Qingyun Group, and also the founder of the Qingyun Guild." "No way." Wang Shikong directly refused, saying that not even a beast would be allowed to do so. Zhang Zihao's expression stiffened a moment as he took out yuan coins from his spatial ring and handed them to him. 9,500 yuan coins, right? Here is 19,000. All right. Wang Shikong checked the coins and handed him the 2 black iron long swords. "Where did you get these black iron weapons from? Are you from some guild?" One young man on Zhang Zihao's right took the long sword and asked him with a glint in his eyes. "I got them from killing monsters." "Killing monsters? You?" They examined him, who was sitting in a wheelchair with disbelief etched on their faces. "This brother, would you like to join our Qingyun Guild?" Zhang Zihao invited him. Wang Shikong shook his head and took out 2 more black iron long swords, placing them aside. He then focused on the divine book and ignored them. Zhang Zihao frowned as he watched Wang Shikong completely disregard him, and he produced 2 more black iron long swords, revealing a look of shock. More black iron weapons. The news of someone selling black iron weapons at a low price spread quickly in Tianjin town, and soon many wealthy individuals came. A 5 discount, although only a savings of 500 yuan coins, translates to quite a bit when considering the price difference they pay for yuan coins. Soon weapon after weapon was bought. "Bro, do you still have black iron long swords?" When Wang Shikong was packing up, a middle-aged man rushed over to ask him. "They're sold out." "Oh, I came too late." The middle-aged man expressed regret on his face and said to him, "Bro, are you interested in selling yuan coins?" "Sorry, I don't have any." Wang Shikong replied shortly. "Well, let's exchange contact information. If you ever sell yuan coins or weapons in the future, you can contact me." The middle-aged man took out a communicator and said to him, "I haven't bought one yet." Wang Shikong replied, "A communicator needs to be purchased for 500 yuan coins. I have an unopened one here, just take it as a gesture of friendship." The middle-aged man paused for a moment, then generously handed him a communicator. Wang Shikong was slightly surprised and accepted it, saying, "I'll pay you for it." "No need, it's only 500 yuan coins, so let's just be friends." The middle-aged man shook his head and extended his hand with a smile, saying, "From now on you can call me Lao Hu." Wang Shikong raised an eyebrow and shook hands with him, saying, "Then let's exchange contact information." After turning on the communicator, Wang Shikong changed the contact name to Shikong. "You have added Hu Xianfeng as a friend." The 2 exchanged contacts, and when he saw the name, his gaze sharpened. Lao Hu Xianfeng, the president of the Tianhu Guild, one of the top 10 super guilds in the future Great Xia. He adjusted his glasses, his eyes filled with suspicion, unable to believe that he was in the same small town. Given his style of doing things and ambition, it's no wonder he could establish the massive Tianhu Guild. "See you next time. Goodbye, remember to contact me if you have weapons or equipment." After nodding goodbye to Hu Xianfeng, Wang Shikong glanced at the over 140,000 yuan coins he had and headed straight for the Cultivator Service Hall in Tianjin town. The Cultivator Service Hall can handle many things, including forming teams and guilds. Wang Shikong paid 1,000 yuan coins to apply to establish a team. He thought of a name for the team and simply called it Divine Talk. Congratulations on founding the Divine Talk team. Current team level ordinary. Upgrading the team's level can grant additional aura bonuses. The team levels are ordinary, elite, silver, gold, king, legendary. "Sir, please take your team member badges." The staff handed him 10 badges. A team can have a maximum of 10 members. After creating the team, Wang Shikong thought about the second opportunity in Tianjin town. "I should upgrade first." He decided to increase his strength first. Those at a higher level should be around level 4 or 5 now, so he needed to boost his level. Do you know that a decayed mansion dungeon has appeared in the land of the dead? A trial dungeon. What is a trial? The Heavenly Dao trial dungeon. Oh, I've heard that you can kill monsters inside and won't die completely. It's simply a blessing for us levelers. However, I also heard that each person can only enter 3 times a day and there are rewards for clearing it, but currently no teams have cleared it. What? Not dying? Then we should hurry. As they walked down the road, a surprised voice suddenly rang out from the side. The decayed mansion dungeon. Wang Shikong heard this and his eyes gleamed. It's opening at this time. The Heavenly Dao dungeon is considered a benefit for them, allowing them to kill monsters to improve their combat skills while also gaining Yuan Force experience. Most importantly, Wang Shikong remembered that for the first clear of the dungeon, additional rewards of mental and physical strength would be granted. Let's go capture the first clear of this decayed mansion dungeon. Wang Shikong made his decision immediately. In his previous life, being paralyzed from the waist down, such opportunities were far from him, which is why he couldn't recall when the decayed mansion dungeon appeared. Now that he knew about this chance to enhance his foundation, he would naturally not let it slip by. Moreover, the first clear of the dungeon would also increase the team's prestige. He took out his communicator and immediately sent a message to Hu Xianfeng. Lao Hu for the Decayed Mansion dungeon, bring 3 more people, and he'll lead you in for the first clear. Brother Shirkong, do you have confidence? Hu Xianfeng quickly replied with a message. Yes. He replied confidently. Good, I'm right here at the Decayed Mansion dungeon, just come over. He'll arrive in about 40 minutes. Wang Shirkong saw the message, replied, and immediately headed toward the outskirts of the town. Moi. Just as he left the town, he had a sudden feeling. Money can move hearts. Wang Shirkong remained calm and deliberately slowed down, leisurely heading forward. 5 minutes later, a strong wind came from behind, and a long sword was pressed against his neck. Haha, just a trash, we've been careful for 5 minutes thinking you might have some skill. Immediately after, disdainful laughter reached his ears. The 4 who had been following Wang Shirkong from a few hundred meters behind quickly surrounded him, their faces filled with excitement and malice. The 5 young men were the same ones who had approached Wang Shirkong earlier to buy the Guardian Long Sword, claiming they wanted to be friends and asked for a discount. You want to force us to be friends this way, huh? Zhang Zihao approached with a mocking smile, saying, a disabled waste with paralyzed legs, I'm very curious how you obtained so many black iron weapons. If you don't want to die painfully, tell us obediently. Brother Hao, first take his spatial ring, he has over 100,000 yuan coins in there, which is worth over 10 million. A young man walked toward Wang Shirkong with excitement and greed. With the black iron long sword already pressed against his neck, they regarded him as a piece of meat on the chopping board. A wicked heart needs purification. Seeing them arrive, Wang Shirkong calmly opened the divine book and began to speak slowly. In front of him, a beam of light instantly condensed into the shape of an arrow, and without the young man behind him having any forewarning, pierced into his neck. The young man widened his eyes completely in a daze, with adrenaline surging, feeling no pain for a moment as he fearfully covered his neck with his hand. However, in front of him, Zhang Zihao and the others watched as he was instantly killed by the arrow piercing through his neck, their faces slowly revealing shock. What is happening? But the next moment, within their sight, beams of light, swords began to gather in front of that waist with paralyzed legs. The speed was simply beyond comprehension. With Wang Shirkong's proficiency, there was no need for incantation for basic elemental manipulation. Even changing forms combined with the light elements, 50 casting speed boost from the divine book, it took just over a second to conjure 4 light swords. Whoosh, 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 whoosh. The sharp swords flew out. Damn, run! Zhang Zihao shouted in horror and disbelief. But Wang Shirkong had already predicted their positions. For corpses fell one after another. The power of the Holy Light Temple's light element spells was increased by 50, combined with Wang Shirkong's attributes comparable to level 10. Naturally, it was an effortless kill. How is this possible? How could this happen? In a villa in Su Province Daxiao, the ethereal figure solidified as Zhang Zihao cursed loudly, his face filled with shock and anger. His pupils widened in disbelief. Although he was not a spellcaster, he had learned online that even the fastest spellcasters took at least 4 seconds to cast spells. That guy, instant cast. Damn it, all my equipment and weapons are gone, which I bought at a high price. Zhang Zihao's heart bled. The haul is not bad. 5 black iron weapons, 3 pieces of black iron armor, 1 pair of black iron shoes, and 5 spatial rings. Outside Tianqing town, Wang Shirkong smiled as he looked at the weapons and equipment stripped from the skeleton. Water of the Gui cleanses. Fire of Li disinfects. With a touch of obsession for cleanliness, Wang Shirkong collected all the equipment, opening each spatial ring, discovering there were even 20,000 coins and 5 communicators inside. A great profit, just enough to sell to Hu Xianfeng. Wang Shirkong felt extremely pleased and quickened his pace toward the dungeon of the corrupt mountain villa. It's too difficult, this dungeon is simply too challenging. There are even lonely souls and wild ghosts, and they're almost scaring me to death. And that fire rabbit is disgusting. 20 level 4 fire rabbits rushed at me together, and I couldn't fight back. I'm only level 4. Lonely souls and wild ghosts are annoying. Fire rabbits are detestable. Looking for a physical cultivator with ordinary weapons, a 5-person team, all level 4. I'm a student from a 985 university, casting spells swiftly, looking for a strong team to enter the dungeon. The location of the dungeon was very conspicuous, with at least tens of thousands of people gathered there. As he approached, various sounds came to his ears. Wang Shirkong, sitting in a wheelchair, followed the positioning on his communicator towards Lao Hu's location. Soon he spotted Lao Hu's figure. Beside Lao Hu stood several people, including a tall girl with short hair, at least 175 meters tall, wielding a long sword, exuding a heroic demeanor. She was clad in basic black iron equipment from the shop. The others also held black iron equipment. This configuration was undoubtedly a top-tier team at the current level. Lao Hu. Wang Shirkong approached and called out to him. He glanced at the tall girl, and if he wasn't mistaken, she should be the daughter of Hu Xianfeng. In later generations, she became known as the Queen of Thunder, ranked among the top 3 females on the entire Blue Star, with strength, prestige, and fame far surpassing the Snow Queen Ning Qingya. Young brother Shirkong has arrived. Lao Hu looked at him and smiled, saying, I purchased some dungeon information from several strong teams. Young brother Shirkong, you are a spellcaster, right? The people beside Lao Hu also looked at him, and when they saw Wang Shirkong in a wheelchair, they were all taken aback. Wait, are you disabled? Before Wang Shirkong could respond, a young man suddenly asked him. Wang Shirkong calmly nodded at his question. Lao Hu, you let a position for me, and it turns out to be for this disabled person in a wheelchair. The young man widened his eyes and questioned Lao Hu. Yes, Uncle Hu. Another young man also spoke up. This dungeon is already very difficult with only 3 attempts per day. What can a spellcaster like him do? The most important thing for a spellcaster is positioning and kiting. Can someone in a wheelchair even play as a spellcaster? Haha. Is there any level of difficulty in the dungeon for the old, weak, sick, and disabled? If so, maybe a wheelchair can get in too. A group of young men and women nearby who were looking for a team couldn't help but look over and mock them. Wang Shirkong frowned slightly upon hearing this. Lao Hu's expression also became difficult as he looked at the young man. Along, I already told you before, what are you making a scene about? It's not like if it was a normal person taking my spot, I wouldn't say anything. Along also with a difficult expression pointed at Wang Shirkong, but he's a trash who is paralyzed from the waist down. Shut up. Lao Hu lost his composure, scolding him sharply, then looked at Wang Shirkong with an apologetic face. Brother, I'm sorry. Wang Shirkong opened his mouth and gently shook his head. It's all right. God says I love the world. If the world mocks me, I shall heal their hearts, cleanse their roots, and purify their flesh and blood. Listening to his words, Lao Hu initially felt a slight relief in his heart. However, soon he started to feel something was off as he saw the light element gathering in front of Wang Shirkong. What the hell, a spell incantation? Along was also stunned for a second, feeling a strange sense of unease as he saw the gathering light element. He tightened his grip on the staff. What the hell are you doing? Wang Shirkong calmly looked at him. Light healing spell. The light healing spell instantly fell upon him, and Along had no reaction whatsoever. As the light landed on him, white smoke began to rise from his body, and he let out a painful scream that sent chills down the spines of everyone around. Bang! The scream lasted only a second before he collapsed. What the hell, you dared to sneak attack Along? Along's companion's face changed drastically upon seeing this, and immediately drew out his long knife. Wang Shirkong looked at him. God says. Forget it, God doesn't want to waste words. A bright arrow of light condensed and flew toward the young man. The young man was shocked and wanted to dodge. However, even without Wang Shirkong using his foresight, he could predict the movements of a novice. The sword struck him, causing his body to tremble, and his eyes widened in shock. Bang! He didn't even have time to scream before he fell to the ground. Wang Shirkong calmly nodded and looked at Lao Hu, who was sweating and filled with vigilance and shock, apologizing. Sorry, Lao Hu, your friend needed punishment. I lost control. Do you want to take revenge for him? Punishment. Lost control. Take revenge for them. How could he not understand such words? He knew very well the strength of the 2 teammates he had made friends with. They were well equipped and strong, definitely among the top tier among their peers in spellcasters and physical cultivators. Yet now they were killed by 2 spells. The terrifying damage and casting speed shattered his understanding. Young brother Shirkong is joking. How can you be this powerful? Lao Hu, slightly bitter, quickly shook his head. This was originally my fault. Insulting the strong is the lesson they deserve. Once again, I apologize to you. Wang Shirkong nodded. In the endless continent, the weak dare to insult the strong. It is a path to death. Sensing he wasn't lying, Wang Shirkong continued to invite, is anyone else interested in entering the dungeon together? Of course. Lao Hu's eyes lit up. I still have a few brothers here who can enter the dungeon at any time. Wang Shirkong nodded and scanned his companions. The young man and woman not far away stared blankly at the sudden turn of events, and upon noticing his gaze, their expressions changed drastically. Big brother, I'm sorry, we repent, we atone. God loves the world, and Wang Shirkong loves the world too. He is not a bloodthirsty person. He spared the young couple and took out 4 badges of the Divine Squad, handing them to Old, who temporarily joined my squad. No problem. Old, who nodded after taking the badges. Let me introduce you to my daughter. You can call her Yao Yi. These 2 are my brothers I met in Tianqing Town, Tianqing and Jingshan. Hello. Wang Shirkong greeted them with a nod. Hello, big boss. The 2 young men responded quickly. Yao Yi looked at him curiously, her mind filled with questions, but she did not ask them directly. We are ready to enter, Wang Shirkong said to them as he approached the instance entrance. Welcome, Divine Squad, to the trial instance of the Corrupted Manor. Please choose a difficulty: normal, hard, nightmare. Nightmare. Wang Shirkong immediately confirmed. Damn, how can that big boss sitting in a wheelchair be so strong? How did he manage to cast spells instantly? It's ridiculous. For my skills to reach proficiency, I need a full 6 seconds to release them. What was his first skill? So terrifying. Could sitting down speed up spellcasting? As the teleportation array activated, whispers of astonishment faintly reached Wang Shirkong's ears. In the next moment, they found themselves in front of a dilapidated and decaying courtyard. The dim sky hung a bright moon, and before them the broken entrance of the courtyard revealed a burning fire exuding a chilling and eerie atmosphere. Nightmare level. Upon hearing the prompt, everyone held their breath. Old Huss' expression changed slightly as he looked at Wang Shikong, hesitatingly asking, "Shikong, are you confident?" "It should be fine." This was Wang Shikong's first time entering the Corrupted Manor instance, and he did not have absolute confidence. However, he had seen strategies for the Corrupted Manor in his past life. Moreover, Old Hu and the others were not weak either, so it should not be a big problem. According to the information we received, the hard level of the Corrupted Manor has black iron level bosses, so this nightmare level should be even more difficult. Yao Yi looked at him curious and said, "Although our strength is not weak, we couldn't even pass the normal difficulty, so if we are to succeed it might require the big boss to step in." "You don't need to call me big boss." Wang Shikong disliked that title, his gaze fixed ahead. "Prepare for battle, and follow my commands from now on." "All right then, we'll call you captain." Yao Yi nodded. "Yao Yi, you push the captain forward first." Old Hu also referred to him as captain, instructing his daughter. Hearing their titles, Wang Shikong paused. It felt quite satisfying to be called captain by a future super guild founder and top powerhouse. "No need." He shook his head as summoning formations for skeletons appeared on both sides. 2 skeletons crawled out, lifting the wheelchair. Under the bright moonlight, the skeletons, the wheelchair, the young man, and the pristine book looked somewhat eerie. Tank in front. Wang Shikong held the divine book, commanding Old Hu and the others. "Yes." Old Hu glanced curiously at the 2 skeletons and couldn't help but say, "So cool." "Captain, may I ask you a question?" Yao Yi couldn't help but ask, "Why can you cast spells without chanting?" Wang Shikong replied, as there was nothing to hide about this. "Proficiency. If you elevate your proficiency to mastery, you won't need to chant either." "Proficiency. I practiced the use of the lightning element for 4 hours every day in the skill training room at Tianqing Town, and I have just barely reached perfection." "Captain, you have already mastered it." Yao Yi was somewhat shocked. "Is there a shortcut?" The Endless Continent had been linked to Blue Star for half a month. Much information had already been disclosed, such as practicing elements with higher affinity being easier to improve proficiency. For example, those with strong learning abilities can improve their skill proficiency more quickly. For example, practicing skills in the training room yields better effects, but of course practicing 1 hour in the skill room costs 100 currency, which is extremely expensive. Yao Yi believed that her affinity with the lightning element was extremely high, and coupled with spending so much money every day, she had only just reached perfection. The skill training room is indeed a shortcut. Wang Shikong replied, "Everyone has different talents, and their learning speeds also vary." The group responded with silence. "Stay alert, Ayu. As soon as we enter the manor, we will encounter demonized servants." Old Hu said in a low voice, signaling Jingshan to keep an eye on the sides. Wang Shikong also focused his gaze ahead, ensuring caution with his eyes like quicksand. Whoosh! In the next moment, he focused his gaze. As they stepped inside the door, a bright arrow shot towards Old Huss' right side. Bang! For 100, a shadow materialized. Demonized Doorkeeper, Black Iron level 3. Health 500,500. Constitution 35. Mental power 14. Skills 1. Shadow Stealth 2. Claw attack. Damn, it even has invisibility. Is this what nightmare level is like? Old Hu, unable to see it, changed his expression slightly. He drew his black iron long knife, flames engulfing it, and slashed towards it. Bang! 100. The demonized doorkeeper died instantly. Wang Shikong nodded slightly at Old Huss' reaction. He truly was a future top powerhouse. Old Hu, now at level 5, had considerable damage output. A doorkeeper is already at the black iron level, meaning its strength is not much lower than ours. This is much stronger than the normal difficulty. Jingshan, on the other side, changed his expression slightly and said, "The base monsters and nightmare instances are all at black iron level. The invisibility skill of the dark element is invisible to the naked eye, but you can feel the fluctuations of the surrounding wind and dark elements with your heart," Wang Shikong explained. As he spoke, he approached the demonized doorkeeper's corpse. "Next, all items dropped will belong to me. The rewards for clearing the instance will be substantial for you all." "No problem." Old Hu and the others had no objections. As long as Wang Shikong could lead them to clear the instance, they wouldn't mind him taking all the dropped items and energy. Given their strength, even the normal instance was a challenge. "Continue forward." Wang Shikong signaled, and everyone kept moving. "Next, there should be 3 demonized gardeners." Old Hu reminded. Sure enough, after advancing a few meters, 3 demonized gardeners charged over, also level 3 black iron monsters. 3 bright arrows swiftly flew past. Old Hu, Yao Yi, and Jingshan immediately wielded their swords to strike. The mage named Tiansheng didn't even get a chance to act before the 3 gardeners were slain. "Let's check the drops." Wang Shikong said upon seeing some items drop. Yao Yi stepped forward with her long legs, picked them up, and handed them to him. 50 currency and a torch. Torch, when ignited, increases fire element spell attacks by 5. Burns for 10 minutes. Wang Shikong looked at the torch, nodded, and took it. This just dropped 50 currency. The drops are really high, Jingshan exclaimed in delight. With the captain here, this nightmare-level instance seems a bit easy. The speed at which the captain casts spells and deals damage is enough to match more than 10 of me. Tianqing couldn't help but marvel. He believed he was not weak, possessing a black iron staff and black iron robe. He thought he could deal over 100 points of damage to a level 3 black iron monster with a fire spell. But the captain, one arrow's damage was nearly 3 times his. The most important thing was that it took him 4 seconds to cast a fire spell, during which the captain could have released 5 or 6 bright arrows. It was no joke that one person could match him tenfold. It was simply absurd. Let's press forward. Things may grow more complicated from here onward. Wang Shikong's expression remained calm. The corrupted manor dungeon housed over 300 monsters. This was merely the beginning. Woof, woof, woof. A sharp bark echoed as he advanced. 4 demonically corrupted hounds charged fiercely toward him, teeth bared and eyes burning with malice. This time he'll strike first. Fashiu Tianqing immediately began chanting incantations. Meanwhile, the 3 body cultivators, Lao Hu, Yao Yi, and Yi Zhong, rushed forward to intercept. Jingshan stood at the center, wielding a handblade in one hand and a heavy shield in the other. Earth elemental energy coalesced upon the shield's surface, clearly indicating his chosen path: unwavering defense. Lao Hu infused his long sword with searing flame, while Yao Yi channeled crackling thunder. All 3 displayed exceptional combat discipline, evidently honed through rigorous professional training. Beside Wang Shikong, shafts of radiant light soared forth like arrows of pure luminescence. 350. Though 4th-tier corrupted hounds possessed heightened defensive resilience, Wang Shikong's strikes still pierced their armor, albeit with diminished impact. Yet each shot still drained over half their health. For luminous arrows flew in just over 2 seconds. He did not pause. Wave after wave of radiant projectiles lanced forward, precise and relentless as laser fire. Wang Shikong employed no other techniques, only light elemental attacks. First, his possession of both the Temple of Radiance and the sacred text, the Word of the Divine, granted him a 50 boost to light-based damage and casting speed. Second, he never revealed his full capabilities before others, especially not composite arts like the 5-element fusion technique. Never expose all your trump cards at once. This principle would later become gospel among cultivators. When every secret weapon is laid bare, death draws perilously near. 4 elemental affinities obey the laws of generation and suppression. Once all your hidden strengths are known, your opponent's odds of slaying you surge by 50%. Whoosh! Standing beside Wang Shikong, Fashiu Tianqing launched a leaping flame, only for it to land awkwardly, striking the very hound already felled by Wang Shikong's second arrow. The attack dealt 0 damage, prompting an embarrassed scratch of his head. Another dropped 60 yuan coins and 2 corrupted dog fangs. After dispatching all 4 hounds, Yao Yi handed over the loot, eyes gleaming with awe as he glanced at Wang Shikong. Captain, your attack frequency is absurdly fast. I wish I'd chosen the path of arcane cultivation instead. Wang Shikong shook his head. Both body and arcane cultivation offer distinct advantages. Master combat technique to its zenith, and even at equal cultivation levels, monster slaying becomes effortless. He had witnessed elite body cultivators who, without relying on elaborate skills, slaughtered monsters unscathed, purely through flawless martial artistry. Some assassin-type body cultivators were even more terrifying, delivering fatal blows in a single strike before vanishing into the distance. Technique. Yao Yi nodded thoughtfully. Over these past 10 days, she too had begun grasping its irreplaceable value. They pressed onward. Soon 5 more hounds appeared, and fell swiftly beneath Wang Shikong's overwhelming assault. Even when encountering mixed patrols of 4th-tier corrupted hounds and manservants, they advanced without hesitation. After slaying dozens, they reached the end of the front courtyard. The central courtyard lay ahead. Captain, the central courtyard grows treacherous. Wandering specters and packs of fire hares dwell there. The hares alone will attack the moment you enter their 20-meter radius. Lao Hu explained, specters are 6th-tier arcane foes, fire hares 4th-tier, but 20 appear at once. Engaging the specter inevitably draws the hares who charge ahead, while the specter rains destruction from behind. It's nearly invincible. So far, no team has ever cleared the central courtyard. Wang Shikong gave a slight nod. He knew this place well. Last lifetime, Ning Qingru had ranted about this trial for 5 or 6 days straight. 24th-tier fire hares plus a 6th-tier specter. Unless a 5-member team reached 7th or 8th tier with mastery of skills and top-tier equipment, victory was impossible. Even now, facing them alone would force Wang Shikong to unleash his full might. And even with Lao Hu and the others holding the front line, he would need to deploy some of his deepest reserves. Yet later, others discovered a shortcut. Enter. With a gesture, Wang Shikong signaled the 3 body cultivators to advance first. As they stepped into the manor's central courtyard, a lone specter drifted into view nearby. Flames flickered within surrounding buildings, clear signs of fire-hair dens. With your firepower, the specter poses little threat, but add the hairs. Jing Shan stared at the drifting specter, then swept his gaze toward the flaming structures, his brow furrowing. Lure it closer, Wang Shikong commanded. Lure it. Lao Hu hesitated, yet voiced no objection, signaling Jing Shan instead. A sixth-tier black iron specter, an arcane monster. It could kill me in 3 hits. Jing Shan pursed his lips, then crept forward cautiously. The moment he crossed the threshold of proximity, the specter locked onto him, its form surging forward with a bolt of abyssal light. Jing Shan instantly raised his earth-reinforced shield. Clang. The impact reverberated, a perfect block. Come on then, he taunted, emboldened. Grara. The specter shrieked, a guttural, bone-chilling cry. Shit. Captain, save me. In the next instant, Jing Shan recoiled in terror, stumbling backward and collapsing hard onto the ground. Adrenaline flooded his veins as he scrambled wildly toward the group, rolling and crawling in sheer panic. 230. Deep bone-gnawing gashes tore across his calves. Death claws. From the earth itself, black talons erupted, shattering his legs in an instant. Only by enduring agony may one ascend to true strength. Wang Shikong observed, exasperated. Then with solemn cadence he intoned, the divine declares, I love all mortals. Let light flow forth to heal the world. Light healing divine art. Just as Jing Shan tumbled into range, he heard only the phrase, light healing divine art, and saw the radiant spell hurtling toward him. His body stiffened in fresh dread. Captain, if I messed up, you don't have to kill me. He flailed desperately, trying to evade. Wang Shikong sighed silently. The spell struck, and his leg wounds vanished, sealed as if they had never been. Huh. Shit. It's gone. Jing Shan leapt upright, warmth flooding his limbs. He examined himself, then flushed with profound embarrassment. Hold the specter off, Wang Shikong ordered. Lao Hu and the others snapped into action, rushing to intercept. Wang Shikong drew out a torch dropped by the gardener, and lit it. A sphere of guishui dark water coalesced above the flame, vaporizing instantly into mist. Repeated infusions thickened the fog until it billowed like a living veil. Mystic wind. With a subtle motion of his arm, Wang Shikong directed the mist to seal the entrance of the nearest fire-hair den. Take the torch and stand before the mist. Continuously channel guishui to sustain it. He instructed Tianqing, who replied instantly, Yes, Captain. Finally feeling useful, he asked no questions, only obeyed. Wang Shikong turned his gaze to the 3 struggling against the specter, and loosed another volley of luminous arrows. 150-200. Each shaft of light relieved their pressure instantly, and with no fire hairs shielding at the 6th-tier black iron specter, its health pool, merely 1,000, fell effortlessly. Lure another one, Wang Shikong instructed. Wait, why haven't the hairs emerged? Jing Shan murmured in astonishment, then spotted Tianqing and gasped, This actually works. No idle talk, move quickly. Lao Hu's eyes lit with sudden excitement as he urged them onward. Another specter was drawn, and dispatched just as easily. Wang Shikong absorbed the residual spiritual energy and gathered the dropped items, then turned to Fashu. Tianqing, seize the mist. Release the hairs. Understood, Captain. You're incredible. The mist truly blocks them. Tianqing now regarded Wang Shikong with open admiration. Water quenches fire. Elemental opposition is absolute, Wang Shikong remarked coolly. 20 black iron fire hairs remain. The rest falls to you, Captain. Lao Hu watched the furious charge of the hairs, and said, Leave it to us. Wang Shikong remained seated, unmoving. The divine declares, To my faithful I grant courage, to charge, to break ranks, to conquer. Divine encouragement. The blessing enveloped all allies within 10 meters, boosting attack speed, defense, and resilience by 40%. Combined with the light element's innate 50 amplification, their overall combat prowess surged by 60% in an instant. At 5th-tier cultivation, their attributes spiked to 9th-tier equivalents. Holy shit, I've surged 60% in raw power. Jing Shan cried out, stunned. Lao Hu and father-daughter duo Yao Yi and Yi Zhong stood agape. What kind of skill is that? Lao Hu breathed. Hurry, the cost is steep, Wang Shikong urged. Right. They lunged forward. 4th-tier fire hairs, even black iron grade, fell to 2 swift strikes apiece. 2 strikes, under 1 second. In 10 seconds flat, all 20 hairs lay dead. Coins littered the ground, and among them a black iron dagger gleamed. Wang Shikong ceased the spell, noting his spirit energy had dipped by less than 2 points, and smiled faintly. An initial affinity of nearly 600 for elemental resonance was simply monstrous. Holy hell, that was epic. I felt like a celestial warrior descending to earth. Jing Shan roared. Let's continue. We must clear the central courtyard as soon as possible. Wang Shikong spoke calmly. We're almost through the central courtyard. First clearance is within reach. Having Captain lead us is incredible. Tianqing and the others cheered. Yao Yi herself beamed with delight, her gaze repeatedly glancing toward that serene figure seated upon the wheelchair. Ding. Your level increased by 1, mental strength by 5, and physical constitution by 2. Upon breaking through into the central courtyard, Wang Shikong's level ascended to Tier 3. The spiritual energy dropped by the black iron golems was exceptionally abundant, and Wang Shikong's base level was exceedingly low. We're entering the rear courtyard now. That must be the final trial of this dungeon. The rear courtyard will undoubtedly be far more perilous, but with our captain leading us, we should prevail. Energized and resolute, the group advanced to the courtyard's threshold. Wang Shikong gazed into its dim recesses, his eyes flickering with quiet calculation. Indeed, the rear courtyard marked the dungeon's ultimate trial, infamously dubbed the Wretched Family Trial. Countless cultivators had suffered torment within its walls. The 5 entered the manor's rear courtyard unimpeded. No ambush awaited them. Yet both flanks of the courtyard blazed fiercely, flames consuming the adjacent buildings. At the far end, inside a ruined structure whose door and windows had been devoured by fire, 5 figures stood motionless, facing them heated. At the center sat the manor lord himself, rotting flesh clinging to his frame, gripping a long spear. Beside him stood the lady of the manor, a specter clutching a ritual staff. To their left and right stood 2 young men, one bearing a sword and shield, the other a gleaming longsword, while a spectral woman held another staff aloft. Clearly this was the decaying manor's lord and his kin. These 5 must be the dungeon's final bosses, Yao Yi observed, staring toward the far end. That middle-aged figure in the center is a bronze-tier enemy. By the heavens, he appears to lead a fully coordinated squad. Fa Xiao Tianqing stared intently, tension tightening his features. Our survival rests entirely upon the captain. Corrupt Manor Lord, bronze, level 6 in health, 20002000 in constitution, 70 in mental strength, 25 in skills, 1000 army sweep 2. Phantom Shadow Spear, thrust 3. Piercing lunge of 4. Earth armor. Equipment: Shadow Long Spear, bronze, black scale armor, black iron. The others are merely black iron tier, manageable. But this lord possesses 2000 health, constitution of 74, formidable skills, and bronze-grade armaments. Lao Hu moistened his lips and turned to Wang Shikong. Captain, do you have confidence in overcoming him? As a physique cultivator, even at level 5, his constitution barely reached 35. Even with the captain's recent skill enhancement, he could not surpass 75, let alone contend with those devastating techniques and elite equipment. One precise strike from that spear would end him instantly. There are more than 5, Wang Shikong said calmly, his gaze unwavering. What? More than these 5 enemies? Lao Hu gasped, immediately scanning their surroundings. Are there hidden foes lurking in the shadows? Yao Yi tensed, instinctively probing the darkness, and asked aloud, did you notice the ancestral portrait behind the manor family? Wang Shikong gestured toward it. The ancestral portrait. The others followed his gaze. There, painted in solemn stillness, stood the same family, posed identically to their living counterparts. Yet, their eyes narrowed sharply, locking onto the lady's arms. Cradled gently in her embrace lay an infant wearing a jade pendant. Yet no infant stood among them now. Where was it? No, surely not. There's another one. Jing Shan exclaimed in disbelief. Is this dungeon truly so vile? If that infant strikes mid-battle, unseen and sudden, we're doomed. Tianqing's face darkened. Wang Shikong closed his eyes, attempting to sense the infant's presence, but distance blurred the resonance. He could not locate the wretched family's youngest son. Yet he knew, intuitively, that the infant was a support-type cultivator. It would remain concealed, weaving healing and empowerment spells for its kin, imposing bindings, sowing dread. Utterly insidious. Most insidious of all, the infant matched its father's tier. Every adventurer assumed this final trial was a 5-ever suspect confrontation. Such was the natural expectation. Yet the enemy possessed a hidden support, lying in wait beyond sight. We must account for the 6th boss. Wang Shikong opened his eyes and addressed them. Begin the battle. I will grant you enhancements, but while channeling, I cannot fight. You must hold the line against the 5 bosses. Even with enhancements, victory may yet elude us, Jing Shan murmured. Captain, do you possess further trump cards? Wang Shikong met his gaze. Those 5 bosses, you must defeat them yourselves. This. Lao Hu hesitated, then nodded decisively. Understood. Leave them to us. Good. Wang Shikong inclined his head. Lao Hu and the others surged forward, only to halt when they reached 30 meters from the manor family. Instantly, all 5 figures snapped their eyes open. Thus spoke the divine. Wang Shikong intoned softly behind them divine encouragement. Golden light rained down upon Lao Hu's party, igniting their combat prowess. Tianqing immediately began chanting. Intruders, perish. The manor lord rose abruptly, spear in hand, and charged forward, flanked by his 2 sons. Hold nothing back, annihilate them. Lao Hu suddenly produced 2 scrolls. Without hesitation, he tore open the first, The torrent of water surged forth, enveloping their bodies in a shimmering aqueous armor. Scroll of Flowing Armor upon activation grants flowing armor to all allies within 5 meters, absorbing 500 points of damage for 60 seconds. He wasted no time on the second scroll. Scroll of Verdant Armor upon activation bestows verdant armor upon all allies within 5 meters, absorbing 500 points of damage for 60 seconds. Goe Sui Water Nourishes Wood. Your armor now absorbs 1500 points of damage for 90 seconds. A cascade of notifications appeared. Lao Hu stared, momentarily stunned by the amplified effect. By the heavens. Uncle Hu, your scrolls are extraordinary. Jing Shan cried, elation lighting his face. Even I did not foresee this potency. Forward now. Lao Hu roared. Scrolls. No wonder you bear the title Tiger Vanguard. You've secured rare artifacts indeed. Even Wang Shikong's expression flickered with genuine surprise. Elemental scrolls were priceless treasures. Even the most basic commanded thousands of yuan. Premium variants easily exceeded 10,000, their value perpetually soaring. Yet their efficacy was undeniable. A single well-chosen elemental scroll in early stages could decisively tip the scales of battle. Even in later stages, pre-imbued elemental scrolls, capable of instantaneous deployment, remained cherished trump cards for countless cultivators. One could cultivate the secondary profession of elemental scribe, but attaining mastery proved extraordinary. Unlike alchemy or forging, professions accessible through coin, elemental scribing was a hidden vocation demanding innate aptitude and rigorous thresholds. In his past life, only a handful of renowned scribes existed, none particularly eminent, yet each was retained exclusively by supreme sects. Ning Qingya had recruited a scribe early on, investing considerable resources in his cultivation, only for him to breach his contract and defect to a supreme sect, leaving her seething with indignation for months. The extreme rarity of scribes elevated their status far above that of alchemists or smiths. With that thought, Wang Shikong lifted his gaze once more toward the battlefield ahead. Bolstered by the twin scrolls, Lao Hu and his comrades surged forward, blades flashing as they descended upon the Manor family. With layered enhancements, their attributes rivaled, or even surpassed, those of the Manor family, especially the lady and her daughter. Yet in technique, they remained distinctly outmatched. 150 in, 200 in, 140 in damage numbers bloomed across the battlefield, some inflicted by allies, others by the Manor family. Yet the verdant armor absorbed the blows. You are shielded, trade injuries freely. Target the heart and head. Their vital points yield bonus damage. Wang Shikong observed the fray and issued the command. Kill. Yao Yi cried, her long blade carving a whirlwind of force as it cleaved straight into the eldest son's skull. Lightning dealt additional damage to undead entities. 240, a staggering blow. 330, yet his verdant armor instantly diminished the impact by 1/5. 1,000 army sweep. In the next breath, the Manor Lord unleashed a sweeping area effect technique, hitting all three. 500 apiece. Their verdant armor visibly thinned. Damn, it's overwhelming. We can't land a hit. The trio staggered backward, Jing Shan's voice raw with terror. Before they could recover, the Manor family struck again. From the rear, the lady and her daughter unleashed their own techniques. Yao Yi, drop low. Jing Shan, raise your shield. Lao Hu, take cover behind Jing Shan. Kansheng, disrupt the lady and her daughter. Wang Shikong rested his hands upon his wheelchair and issued the orders. Hearing him, they obeyed without hesitation. Whoosh. An arrow sliced perilously close above Yao Yi's head. A jet of black flame slammed into Jing Shan's shield, followed instantly by a sword strike. Yao Yi, roll right. Raise your blade 45 degrees. Execute an upward slash. Lao Hu, leap atop Jing Shan's shoulders, then cleave downward with both hands. Jing Shan, charge leftward at a 65-degree angle, shield first. Without pause for astonishment, they executed every command. Yao Yi rolled right and slashed upward, her blade biting deep into the eldest son's ribs, triggering a burst of damage. Lao Hu vaulted high and brought his blade crashing down, splitting the Manor Lord's skull, dealing 300 damage. Jing Shan charged leftward, colliding squarely with the second son, halting his assault on Lao Hu. Triumphant, they whirled around, staring awestruck and incredulous at the calm, paralyzed figure seated in his wheelchair. Yao Yi, block your face with your sword. Use the recoil to roll and sever his forearm. Jing Shan, ram the Manor Lord now. Interrupt his incantation. Hurry. Wang Shikong's eyes held the stillness of shifting sand as he issued commands with icy precision. Lao Hu and Yao Yi possessed exceptional talent. Jing Shan lagged slightly, but proved sufficient. After over a dozen exchanges, orchestrated flawlessly under Wang Shikong's guidance, the Manor Lord and his two sons lost 4/5 of their health. Meanwhile, the verdant armor shielding Lao Hu's party remained intact. Triumph flared across their faces. We'll slay them any moment now, they roared, only for Wang Shikong's gaze to sharpen. So, you finally emerged. Behind the Manor Lord, a grotesque infant hovered midair, its crimson pupils blazing with malevolent light as it cast a sinister aura over its kin. Corrupt Manor Lord's youngest son, bronze, level 6 in health, 10001000 in constitution, 18 in mental strength, 80 in skills, 1. Black Blood Baptism 2. Terror Whale, 3. Constricting Water Serpent 4. Koishue Ward. And equipment Blood-Eyed Jade Pendant bronze. Bloody hell, it's real. Another boss, and bronze tier at that. Hiss. Their health is regenerating rapidly. We're finished. Lao Hu's face paled. Tianqing, stand before me. Use your body to absorb frontal attacks. Wang Shikong watched the infant appear, his expression unchanging. Yes. Tianqing blinked, then instantly stepped forward as ordered. But in the next instant a serpentine stream of water shot straight toward him, causing his pupils to contract and his head to jerk downward instinctively. Wang Shikong glanced sideways, frowning faintly, as he sensed 2 more incoming attacks targeting him from the right. He ceased channeling divine encouragement. Earth, water, wood, and fire converged. Earth shield. The barrage struck the barrier and shattered harmlessly. But Lao Hu's party was left exposed and vulnerable. Ah, damn it. The captain has been attacked. Tianqing, why couldn't you block it? Without the divine encouragement, Lao Hu and the others were momentarily stunned. However, the owner and his companions would not give them time, charging towards them immediately. In an instant, losing the divine encouragement, and without Wang Shikong's command, Lao Hu, Yao, and Jingshan realized the vast gap between them and the owner's family. In just 1 second, their emu armor completely shattered. 2 seconds later, their health was halved. 3 seconds, and they were dead. Yes, it was that swift. Fortunately, as a trial instance of the heavenly Tao, one would not die, but would be teleported outside the instance. Tianqing was somewhat bewildered by the sudden change in the situation, but there was no time for him to think more as the attacks from the owner's wife, daughter, and youngest son fell upon him. At this point, among the entire team, only Wang Shikong remained. Looking at the current situation, he gently shook his head and said, "All right, the battle officially begins. Kill him." The owner's family locked their blood-red gazes onto him. Wang Shikong leaned back in his wheelchair, smiling slightly as the 5 elements fusion technique rapidly formed in front of him. Summon the winds. A terrifying fireball surged directly towards the youngest son. Son, get away. As the horrendous fireball hurtled towards the youngest son, the owner's face changed drastically, shouting in anger. With a mental power of 10, Wang Shikong could instantly eliminate a level 4 wolf with the 5 elements fusion technique. Now that his mental power was at 65, how high would the damage of this strike be? Of course, one must also consider the levels and defenses of different wild monsters. However, the owner's youngest son evidently belonged to the category of low blood, but high magic, meaning this strike would definitely be a one-hit kill. Seeing this terrifying attack, the owner's youngest son attempted to dodge. Unfortunately, under Wang Shikong's foresight, the fireball was akin to a lock-on skill. Even if he deployed defensive skills, he was still doomed. 1000. The owner's youngest son died instantly, and an item dropped. Son, I will kill you to avenge my son. The owner roared, charging towards him swiftly, while the rest of his son's daughters and wife also emitted beast-like howls. Time stop. Wang Shikong did not hesitate. As soon as the owner's family entered his mental power coverage, everything came to a halt. A second later, a fireball surged towards them. The owner, with less than half of his health remaining along with his 2 sons, watched helplessly as the flames approached. Boom. Instant death. Wang Shikong glanced at the owner's wife and daughter in the distance. Light and darkness coalesced, beginning to wrap up. Damn it, just when we were about to clear the instance, another boss emerges. At this moment, outside the corrupted manor instance, Lao Hu and the others appeared, their faces extremely grim. Tianqing, the captain told you to block damage, why couldn't you do it? Jingshan looked at the mage, Tianqing, unable to help but question him. Aye. Tianqing stammered, his face equally embarrassed. We were just a little short. I didn't expect the captain to guess correctly that there was another boss, and one of the same level as. Yao glanced at Tianqing. Consider this an experience accumulation. At least if the captain takes us to tackle a hard level instance, we could easily clear it. The captain is too strong. Thinking about the previous battle and the instance experience, she felt a storm of emotions within her. The incredible techniques, sharp insights, and extraordinary wisdom. And the godlike command left her in awe. Such a person exists in this world. Lao Hu couldn't help but, although they did not achieve the first clear this time, although he wasted 2 extremely precious elemental scrolls, although they did not gain anything. Yet he had no complaints whatsoever. It was only their fault for being a burden. Ding, congratulations on your team achieving the first clear of the Nightmare level Corrupted Manor instance. As the first team to clear the Corrupted Manor instance, you will receive cumulative rewards for the first clears of Normal, Hard, and Nightmare levels, Stamina 8, and Mental Power 2. Ding, congratulations to the Godsaid team for achieving the first clear of the Nightmare level Corrupted Manor instance, Reward Reputation 800. However, the next moment, the Heavenly Tao's prompt echoed, causing Lao Hu's pupils to constrict in shock. Damn it, the captain. Jingshan also cried out excitedly. He too received the information. The group exchanged incredulous glances. After their deaths, the captain single-handedly wiped out the owner's family. What kind of strength is this? Our rewards are equivalent to leveling up more than one level, and since we didn't level up, this means. Yao, filled with delight, soon realized what this instant's reward meant. In crude terms, it signifies that while they are all human, there exists a gap representing the disparity between ordinary people and geniuses. This is foundation. Damn it, what's going on? My god, the corrupted manor instance was first cleared, and it's a nightmare level. The god said team. What kind of team is this? So overpowered. It's simply unbelievable. We haven't even cleared the normal instance's courtyard, and yet a team cleared the nightmare level. At this moment, gasps and exclamations filled the air. Everyone was incredulous. Damn it, someone must have stormed the instance with sniper rifles, assault rifles, and grenades. It could have been a foreigner who broke the instance record. It's unfair, way too unfair. Soon some began to shout about the injustice. Meanwhile, this wasn't limited to Tianqing Town. The corrupted manor instance as a trial instance of the heavenly Tao would appear in every newbie town. Inside a corrupted manor instance, a team equipped with Gatling guns, Barrett's, AKs, and adorned with high explosive grenades was also left dumbfounded upon hearing the announcement. The God said team actually cleared the instance first, and it was a nightmare level this. Although we have reached level 7, our upgrade strategy was wrong. Ghost-type monsters can ignore firearm attacks, only elements can inflict damage on them, and our skill proficiency is only at the entry level, making it impossible to fight against ghosts. A captain-level fully armed middle-aged man pondered. At this moment, they realized the importance of utilizing elemental skills. In the past half-month, they indeed leveled up quickly by relying on firearms to kill monsters, but each of their elemental utilizations was merely at the entry level. Casting a fireball took 20 seconds. Against ghost-type monsters immune to firearms, they were utterly powerless. Relying on weapons might lead ahead in the early stages, but for the future, it was a bad thing, a very bad thing. Inside the corrupted manor instance, Wang Shikong smiled upon hearing the heavenly Tao rewards. Mental power, 8, stamina 2. The rewards may seem small, but they are crucial. Such rewards that can enhance one's foundation are extremely important and abundant. A battle between two equally skilled individuals at the same level can be directly decided by even a slight difference in mental power. Because here there is no such thing as skill cooldown. With more mental power, one can cast more spells. Compared to the heavenly Tao rewards, the items dropped by the owner's family are equally rich. Wang Shikong looked at the items before him. Bronze equipment, Shadow Spear, Blood Eye Jade Pendant, Iron equipment, Black Scale Armor, Emu Staff, Zircon Shield. Special items, Sunflower Water Guardian, Drawing, Tianjiao Pavilion. Trial qualification, 5 skill book. Black Flame. Note: not all monster weapons can drop in the heavenly Tao trial instances. Shadow Spear, Bronze, damage 140, attack speed 10, durability 100. Skill Shadow Thrust, performs 2 consecutive thrusts on the target, dealing 5 times one's physical strength and damage. Blood Eye Pendant, Bronze, damage 150, a dark element affinity 10, durability 100. Skill Blood Garb Guardian, concentrates a defense based on 5 times one's spiritual power to absorb damage. Wang Shikong glanced at the attributes of the 2 bronze equipment. The bronze weapons before the first transition were definitely minor artifacts before level 10, adding significant damage, and even after level 10, they remained exceptional. He could use the Blood Eye Pendant, which would also increase his damage significantly. Ignoring the black iron equipment, his gaze flickered towards the drawing of the Sun Water Guardian scroll. The value of this item far exceeds that of bronze weapons. Additionally, there's the qualification for the Tianjiao Pavilion Test 5. This item can be obtained in the Corrupted Mountain Manor dungeon, and while its rarity isn't high if one can pass the test. Remember, this is the method through which the Snowfall Empire selects its prodigies. Passing the test will grant entry into the Tianjiao Pavilion, where one will receive a shop in the city, and even a shop in the city starts at no less than 2 million yuan coins, which can be exchanged for real currency worth over 200 million. Moreover, once recognized as a prodigy disciple by the Snowfall Empire, one will receive tasks that ordinary people cannot access, and enjoy a 10 discount on teleportation services, among many other invisible benefits. Wang Shikong thought to himself. With such rich rewards, the difficulty of the assessment must be quite high, with a very high mortality rate. However, the Tianjiao list is also recognized as the list of top powerhouses. In his previous life, he joined the Tianjiao Pavilion only in the 3rd year, when there were only about 200 people in the entire pavilion. Looking at this significant gain, Wang Shikong was extremely satisfied, and withdrew from the dungeon. Captain! Captain! As soon as Wang Shikong appeared, Lao Hu and Yao Yi hurriedly surrounded him with fervent gazes. Captain, you actually killed the Manor Master's family. Jingshan couldn't help but ask. I converted them, Wang Shikong replied, looking at them. I have obtained all the elemental power and equipment from the dungeon. It is my duty to lead you to your first clear. He instructed them, hand me the squad badge. Captain, can we join your squad and follow you in the future? Jingshan immediately asked with reluctance. You are not qualified, he replied calmly, then turned to Lao Hu and Yao Yi. Joining my squad will also come with other what requirements? Captain, am I qualified? Yao Yi asked him nervously. Wang Shikong smiled at her question. Future Thunder Queen Yao Yi is certainly qualified. The founder of the Super Guild Lao Hu is also qualified. First, after joining the Divine Speech, you cannot join or form other squads. Second, unless there are important circumstances, squad tasks will take precedence. Third, as a squad member, you must provide at least 100,000 prestige points per year for the squad. Wang Shikong outlined the 3 conditions and concluded, everything is for the Divine Speech squad. Lao Hu was somewhat surprised these requirements were easier than he had imagined. Everything is centered around the squad, not the captain. As for gaining prestige through squad tasks, that is the duty of squad members. The higher the squad level, the more additional bonuses can be acquired, enhancing the strength of squad members. Currently, their Divine Speech squad's prestige value has reached 80,000, and upon reaching 100,000 they can upgrade to an elite squad. All members of the elite squad will receive a 5 attack bonus. The higher the squad level, the greater the increase. Brother Shikong, am preparing to establish a guild. Are you? I will cover all the investment, and I am ready with billions, which can directly give you 50% shares of the guild. Lao Hu looked at him, extending the invitation. Wang Shikong shook his head, declining the opportunity to become a major shareholder of a super guild that would have tens of millions of members. It's not that he wouldn't join the guild, it's just that someone needed him. Seeing Wang Shikong remain unfazed by billions, Lao Hu couldn't help but be amazed, feeling even more that the captain was extraordinary. Captain, if I establish a guild, can I still join your squad? Lao Hu inquired. Of course. Wang Shikong nodded. It won't affect anything. Then can my daughter and I join? Of course. Wang Shikong would naturally not refuse and asked him, will you still collect equipment? Yes, Captain, I want as much equipment as you have. Lao Hu's eyes brightened, and he immediately said, 14 pieces of black iron equipment, 1 piece of bronze. Wang Shikong produced the items. Additionally, I will gift you 2 special items. Can you handle it? His bronze equipment. I want all of it, Lao Hu exclaimed in shock. In this half-month, no one has reported acquiring bronze equipment. The Shadow Spear of the Manor Master. Wang Shikong took it out and handed it to Yao Yi. It's very suitable for you. You have a tall figure, perfect for a spear. Thunder Spear, unparalleled, Yao Yi. Wow. The clearly strong-willed Yao Yi displayed a delight typical of a young girl upon seeing the spear. This spear is so cool. She looked at Wang Shikong, her bright eyes flickering. Captain, am I suited for a spear in the future? Wang Shikong smiled and nodded, looking at Lao Hu. It's fine at a 95 market price. No problem, Captain. I need to log off for a bit. For safety, Sake, I've stored the yuan coins at home. Lao Hu nodded and his figure slowly disappeared. Wang Shikong looked on, unable to help but marvel at how wealthy Lao Hu truly was, and also how willing he was to invest. His foresight was exceptional. He had already acquired such a large amount of yuan coins early on. The value of these items totaled over 200,000 yuan coins. Soon Lao Hu logged back in, and Wang Shikong bought them from him at the market price of 260,000 yuan coins, gifting him 2 Tianjiao Pavilion test qualifications. Captain, with these weapons our strength has greatly increased. Should I call in a physical cultivator? Do we want to continue the dungeon? After the transaction, Lao Hu excitedly asked him. He needed to recruit a group of skilled players to cultivate his own foundation, and weapons were crucial for him. Currently, the indigenous equipment shops were completely sold out of weapons. I need to log off, let's continue tomorrow. I will take half the profits from the next dungeon run, he stated. Alright then, Captain, see you later. Lao Hu nodded. Yao Yi waved at him, watching as Wang Shikong's figure gradually disappeared. Ahem. Lao Hu patted his daughter's shoulder and coughed lightly. There are many excellent young men in the world, and they are not as unremarkable as you imagine. There's no need to only like women. Many. Yao Yi looked at the shadow spear in her hand, her gaze flickering. So far I have only seen one. However, he was excellent enough to make me look up to him. Dinner is ready. In the Ning family of Magic City, Wang Shikong had just returned to reality when Ning Qingjia's gentle voice reached him. Accompanied by the sound of footsteps, a graceful figure in a red dress entered his room. Wang Shikong replied. Ning Qingjia skillfully guided him downstairs, smiling. After dinner, I will give you some gifts. Gifts? Wang Shikong was taken aback for a moment, then a smile appeared on his face as he thought of something. I guarantee you'll like them, Ning Qingjia said with a smile. The two arrived at the dining table. After half a month of interaction, the Ning family had already grown accustomed to having a son-in-law who was paralyzed from the waist down. However, today Ning Qingru looked at him with displeasure, pouting as if he had taken away her toy. Wang Shikong knew why this girl was unhappy, pretending not to notice as he ate and listened to the conversations of Ning Tianxiong and the others. The Ning family had begun to invest heavily in the Endless Continent and had started acquiring yuan coins a few days ago. They had already contacted people to prepare for the establishment of a guild. The Brocade Guild would also be founded in the coming days. Shikong, come take a look at the gifts I prepared for you. After dinner, everyone gathered in the living room for tea. Ning Qingya approached with gifts in hand. You are in luck. These items are very expensive, something ordinary people can only dream of. Ning Qingru couldn't help but comment to Wang Shikong, less chatter. Ning Qingya shot her a glare and handed the first item to Wang Shikong. This is the first spatial ring. 120,000, Ning Qingru mumbled from the side. This is a communicator. Ning Qingya ignored her and took out the communicator. 50,000, Ning Qingru continued to mumble. A basic essential item in the endless continent. Ning Qingya said to him, especially with the communicator, you should learn to use it. Let's add each other as friends so we can contact each other in the endless continent later. I already have both the communicator and the spatial ring. Wang Shikong shook his head and casually took out his communicator. Ning Qingya was taken aback, her face full of surprise. Even Ning Tianxiong and Ning Qingru beside them were equally astonished. Although the communicator and spatial ring were basic items, over 95% of people currently did not possess them. The reason was simple. One was priced at 1,200 yuan coins and the other at 500 yuan coins. Currently, a lucky person could earn about 20 yuan coins a day, saving up to 300 or 400 yuan coins in half a month. Unless one acquired yuan coins in reality, it was impossible to buy these items. Shikong, how are you so impressive? Did you really make that much yuan? Ning Qingya was both surprised and delighted. She had never inquired about Wang Shikong's affairs in the endless continent, aiming to avoid upsetting him. After all, being paralyzed from the waist down made it impossible for him to fight, and naturally, it was difficult to earn yuan coins. Not bad, Wang Shikong smiled. He already had over 300,000 yuan coins in hand. Converted to real currency, it was 30 million cash. This was cash, not stocks or real estate assets. Despite the Ning family's assets being in the hundreds of billions, the cash they could readily access was only about 10 billion. Currently, selling stocks or other assets was also very difficult. And there's more. Seeing that he was doing well in the endless continent, Ning Qingya breathed a sigh of relief and smiled as she took out a staff, a black iron-grade staff. A staff worth 150,000. Do you have it? Ning Qingru pouted, her tone implying you don't have it, do you? Wang Shikong glanced at her, his hand moved, and the guardian staff appeared in his hand. I have it. Ning Qingru's mouth formed an O shape, staring blankly. You got this too. Shikong is amazing, managing to obtain a black iron staff on his own. Ning's mother also showed surprise. Everyone in the country knew how difficult it was to obtain a black iron staff. Even some wealthy people found it hard to buy one. It was clear that Wang Shikong didn't have the money, so it had to be something he obtained from the endless continent, which was impressive. Shikong, did you complete some high-difficulty task? Ning Qingya was also dumbfounded and took out another item. Then you definitely don't have this robe, right? Wang Shikong nodded and took out the black iron robe he had obtained from his companion Zhang Zihao. Did you rob a store? Ning Qingru couldn't sit still, her eyes wide as she stared at him. She pulled out another item from her sister's bag. You definitely don't have this, right? Accessory, black iron-grade necklace. No, Wang Shikong shook his head. He really didn't have this. A cultivator's equipment is generally fixed, and wearing too much would be useless. A magic cultivator typically has a magic hat, robe, staff, bracelet, necklace, jade, pendant, magic boots, and magic pants, and sometimes a rare book. If I thought you had it all. Seeing that Wang Shikong finally didn't have the necklace, Ning Qingru let out a proud humph and couldn't help but pout, looking at him with admiration. I don't even have this. Wang Shikong found her amusing. His young sister-in-law was as annoying as his father-in-law in the early days. In his previous life, she often targeted him both intentionally and unintentionally. Then perfect, Shikong, take this. Ning Qingya smiled. This is something I obtained after completing a commission. No need, give it to your sister. Wang Shikong shook his head. This statement made Ning Qingru's eyes light up, her expression. One of you are quite perceptive. Of course, a cripple like him had no use for such things. It's fine. Ning Qingya shook her head. I have. Wang Shikong directly interrupted her, taking out the blood-eye jade pendant. It emanated a glowing aura, clearly of a higher grade, with its attributes revealed. Not to mention anything else, just the word bronze was enough to blind Ning Qingru's eyes. Bronze. Bronze. No way. Sure enough, Ning Qingru jumped up, her face incredulous. Bronze weapon. Am I not seeing things? Gulp. Ning Tianxiong swallowed hard, also in shock. Up until now, they had not heard of anyone obtaining bronze equipment. There were no sellers in the town. According to their understanding with the locals, bronze weapons were priced over 100,000 yuan coins. This meant that a bronze weapon would cost over 10 million yuan coins, which was not a small amount even for wealthy people like them. Did you strike it rich with some wealthy lady in the endless continent? Is there a setting in the endless continent that cares for the elderly, weak, and disabled? Bronze equipment. Ning Qingru leaned and staring intently and tilting her head as she looked at Wang Shikong, bombarding him with questions. Is it really hard to obtain a bronze weapon? Wang Shikong asked her with a smile on his face, directly reaching her soul. So, Shikong, what level? Ning Qingya was also shocked and couldn't help but ask. Level 3. Wang Shikong answered honestly. I've reached level 5 and haven't even obtained a basic weapon. How do you have so much equipment? Ning Qing's gaze was fixed on him. Level 3 was indeed absurd for someone paralyzed from the waist down, but she could accept it if he was at level 5. She couldn't comprehend how he could possess so much equipment. He must have some cheat. I just found them, Wang Shikong replied to her. He knew that given her personality, if she didn't get an answer, she would be upset for several days. However, he just wanted to make his sister-in-law feel uneasy. Regarding why the protagonist temporarily does not give the female lead opportunities or information, there will be an explanation later. It will definitely be reasonable, if not come and slap the little author. Ning Qing's personality was the opposite of Ning Qingru. She did not delve deeply into how Wang Shikong acquired so much equipment, including an excess of bronze gear. She simply felt happy for him, praising Shikong for his remarkable skills. Her father-in-law, much like her younger daughter, was somewhat fidgety, but he couldn't bring himself to ask the son-in-law he had always looked down upon. If he were to ask, wouldn't that prove he was inferior to someone paralyzed from the waist down? However, unbeknownst to him, he occasionally glanced at the disabled son-in-law with a hidden sense of awe he was unwilling to confront. Having shown off a bit and slapped the faces of his sister-in-law and father-in-law, Wang Shikong returned to his room in high spirits and immediately entered the Endless Continent. Once again appearing before the corrupted manor instance, even though it was nighttime in the Endless Continent, the area was still bustling with people. The corrupted manor instance was a good place for leveling up, but one could only enter 3 times a day and needed to form a party. Tomorrow he could go with Hu Xianfeng and Yao to attempt 3 nightmare-level instances. Now he prepared to delve deeper ahead. According to his memory, that area was the burial ground of the corrupted land where no monsters appeared during the day, but at night there were skeletons, demon, crows, zombies, and other creatures. All were monsters above level 6, and without the Eye of Darkness no one dared to level up here at night. Before sleeping I should level up a bit, and with tomorrow's 3 instances I should be able to reach level 4, and then look for the Elemental Painter's quest. Wang Shikong thought to himself as he walked. In his past life, he had never become an elemental painter, but with such high elemental affinity and control now, it would be a tremendous loss not to become one. Moreover, Wang Shikong also discovered that in the Divine Scriptures, each skill page contained 2 patterns that were the original drawings for crafting. This meant that the skills from the Divine Scriptures could be crafted into spell scrolls using the original drawings. The crafting diagrams for elemental scrolls were notoriously rare, and for this reason alone, he had to become an elemental painter, as it would provide unimaginable boosts to his strength. Crack, crack, crack. 20 minutes later, Wang Shikong arrived at a chaotic burial ground filled with ghostly flames. The tilted tombstones blew ghostly flames, the cawing of crows, and the desolate wind created an eerie atmosphere. As he approached, a skeleton crawled out of a grave holding a bone knife and approaching him ominously. Skeleton soldier level 6. Health points 10001000. Physique 37. Mental strength 15. Skills 1. Skeleton slash. Wang Shikong observed using a light and dark combination spell. 1000. The skeleton that had just crawled out was instantly annihilated before it could charge at him. Now Wang Shikong's mental strength had reached 73, comparable to an ordinary 12th or 13th level mage equipped with the Blood-Eye Jade pendant along with the damage bonuses from a black iron staff and robe. He easily dispatched the level 6 skeletons. Wang Shikong moved swiftly. 1 skeleton after another fell as he pushed deeper into the area. Soon level 7 skeleton warriors, level 8 zombies, and level 9 fire crows appeared. Fire crows come in groups 5 at a time, and the light and dark powers can't eliminate them all. It's a bit troublesome. Of course, it was merely a hassle. Facing the swarm of fire crows, he used a fusion technique to create a water curtain to shield himself, rendering the fire crows unable to break through. Ding, your level has increased by 1. Mental strength 5. Physique 2. Approaching midnight, after defeating nearly 200 monsters, he reached level 4. This speed was faster than he had anticipated. He also earned 522 gold coins and 2 ordinary weapons. My mental strength is almost depleted. Time to sleep. Returning to reality, Wang Shikong drifted into slumber. The next morning after breakfast, he entered the Endless Continent once again. Seeing a message from Old Hu, he arrived at the corrupted manor instance half an hour later. Captain. Upon Wang Shikong's arrival, Old Hu and the others immediately greeted him. I found a new brother, a physique cultivator focusing on defense. Hello, Captain. Just call me unmovable as a mountain. A solid muscular man standing nearly 6 feet tall looked curiously at Wang Shikong and spoke. Unmovable as a mountain. Wang Shikong looked at him. A thought crossed his mind, the future unmovable Ming Wang, the strongest wall of the Tianhu Guild. After admiring Old Hu's insight, he nodded. Let's go. I'll push you forward, Captain. Dressed in a heroic outfit, Yao, carrying a black iron spear, stepped forward behind Wang Shikong and spoke. No need. He shook his head. However, Yao smiled and ignored him, pushing him forward. They entered the instance, nightmare level Thanks to the experience from the first attempt and the absence of any lagging mage this time, along with the addition of an unmovable as a mountain holding a black iron shield, they quickly reached the backyard. Next, focus and follow my orders. Wang Shikong looked at them and commanded. Yes, Captain. Old Hu and the others nodded gravely. Although they were short one lagging member today, they were also short 2 defense scrolls. However, Yao Yi's gear upgrade had significantly increased their combat power. Divine Inspiration. The Divine Inspiration fell upon them, and everyone charged forward. Soon the newly joined unmovable as a mountain witnessed Wang Shikong's terrifying command of the entire situation. Holy light poured from him onto the floor. The figure in the wheelchair holding the divine scriptures commanded their battle calmly, his eyes glimmering with golden dust. With the defensive skill Blood Robe Guardian from the Blood Eye Jade Pendant, he could withstand the ranged attacks from the Manor's mistress and her daughter. It wasn't until the appearance of the younger son that some trouble arose. After sacrificing Jing Shan and unmovable as a mountain, they cleared the instance. 4 pieces of black iron equipment and a physique skill book. Old Hu looked at the dropped equipment and grinned. Although he didn't lack for money, the feeling of acquiring gear through his own strength was immensely satisfying. Wang Shikong divided the loot equally among the 4 of them, taking half for himself. Let's recover and run through it 2 more times this morning. Wang Shikong smiled. The next 2 instances were easier for everyone. Captain, here are 7,000 gold coins. Old Hu continued to take his equipment, glancing at unmovable as a mountain, and asked, Captain, what do you think of this guy unmovable as a mountain? Can he join the team? He has the strength, but Old Hu, I won't take your people. Wang Shikong shook his head in refusal. If there are tasks in the future and you can't participate, you can let him take your place. This. Okay, Captain. Old Hu felt a bit disappointed, but understood that it was impossible for the Divine Scriptures team to consist entirely of his people. Rejecting Yao Yi and Old Hu's invitation to level up together, Wang Shikong returned to Tianqing Town, following his memory to a small courtyard. The wooden door at the entrance had a plaque that read Academy. The door was ajar, revealing an elderly man in tattered clothes hunched over writing and drawing. Er Yuehong comes seeking knowledge. At the entrance, a dozen curious people were observing, one of whom called out. They had no idea what the old man was doing, but wanted to trigger a quest. The old man inside lifted his head and glanced at him with dead fish eyes, replying, cannot teach. The young Wang Shikong looked at the old man. This was the one. He stepped forward and said, I come seeking knowledge. The old man's dead fish eyes focused on him for a moment. A glint of brilliance flashed in his eyes, and he slowly stood up and said to him, good, come in. Me. The young man was taken aback by this scene and stared wide-eyed at Wang Shikong, jumping up and shouting, why? The paralyzed guy can go in, but I can't. A useless person can enter, but I can't. The crowd around, upon seeing the figure in the wheelchair, were equal. Hearing his words, the old man snorted coldly, sweeping his gaze over them. Useless. If he is useless, you are all mere mayflies. Damn, are we being called mayflies, implying that we are mere tadpoles? I can't believe it. This scene is just like what I often fantasized about. Crossing into a fantasy world, participating in a sect selection, and then astonishing everyone by becoming a peerless genius. But I never expected to end up as an ordinary bystander. As the crowd watched Wang Shikong, who was sitting in a wheelchair, enter the classroom, they could no longer hold back their... The elder glanced at the agitated crowd before looking at Wang Shikong with a warm smile and saying, follow me. Okay, elder. As he followed the elder into a room, he saw a table and chairs with 3 people inside. Upon Wang Shikong's arrival, the 3 turned to him, their faces showing surprise. Take this empty seat, the elder gestured to him. My surname is Tianyun. You can call me Teacher Tianyun from now on. Hello, Teacher Tianyun. Wang Shikong replied respectfully. It was crucial to maintain respect towards the natives of this boundless continent. Although they wouldn't harm the arrivals, if one displayed a bad attitude, the task would be impossible to accomplish. In fact, if one could establish a good relationship with powerful natives, they might generously offer weapons, equipment, and skills. In his past life, there was a young man who befriended a wealthy native and directly reached the pinnacle of life. Not bad, your talent is quite good, but to become a drawing master, you must still take it step by step. Teacher Tianyun was very pleased with his attitude and introduced. This is the Drawing Master's foundational book, along with the spirit pen, inkstone, and ink. The ink is made from spirit coins, which is money. You simply crush the spirit coins and dilute them with water. This is a very simple elemental drawing. You just need to draw according to the elemental force. Once you can quickly draw an identical one, you can move to the next step. However, if you can't master this step within 5 days, then don't force yourself to become a drawing master. Alright, teacher. Wang Shikong nodded upon hearing this. The first task had begun. His gaze fell upon a normal portrait which was uniquely adorned with elements, making it appear lifelike. The spirit pen was an ordinary spirit pen, a basic tool for drawing masters without any special attributes. The paper was ordinary elemental carrying paper. The spirit pen was remarkably similar to the brushes from Daxia. Teacher, why doesn't he practice drawing first and jump directly into the second step? One of the girls sitting nearby couldn't help but ask. He is he and you are you. Teacher Tianyan glanced at the girl and replied indifferently. Wang Shikong was somewhat surprised to hear this. It seemed he had skipped the first phase of the task. Was it due to his strong elemental affinity? Draw seriously, I'll come find me when you can finish this drawing in 5 minutes, Teacher Tianyan said to Wang Shikong before leaving the room. Lucky you, buddy. The teacher had us practice ordinary drawings for 5 days before. Once Teacher Tianyan left, a talkative young man said to him, Feiyu, and this beautiful girl is Fei, while the other brother is Shanhai. Shikong. Wang Shikong nodded at them, and then looked at the Drawing Master Foundation book in front of him. Upon opening it, the first page revealed a poem. The spirit pen transforms elements, past glories radiate brilliance. Divine light forges eternal achievements, reigniting splendor through the ages. Below the poem, there was another line. Divine awareness transcends the vast earth. The pen paints the cosmos. Being a drawing master is a money-burning profession. The daily practice costs 100 spirit coins, which is equivalent to 10,000 in reality. Too expensive. A young man suddenly sighed as he took out spirit coins, grinding the ink while lamenting. Wang Shikong glanced at him and turned to the second page of the book, which outlined the basic processes of grinding ink and drawing. He took out 10 spirit coins and began to crush them to make ink. Once everything was ready, he picked up the spirit pen and started to draw. However, as soon as he touched the paper, he realized something was wrong. He had no foundation in drawing and had never learned it. With a thought, he brought the materials into reality. Inside the villa, Wang Shikong went straight to the study. Lao Ning's study was spacious and elegant, with valuable decorations on the Zeton wood desk and even a complete set of calligraphy and painting equipment. However, he knew that Lao Ning couldn't write or draw. It was purely for show. He took out his phone and searched for drawing tutorials, beginning to study earnestly. The benefit of having strong mental power was the accelerated learning ability, especially in mastering drawing skills. 3 hours later, Wang Shikong officially incorporated elements with spirit coin ink, stabilizing and manifesting the elements without dispersing. However, the precise adornment of the 9 elements required exceptional control. One slip could lead to errors, making it quite challenging. Even Wang Shikong would make a mistake in 1 out of 10 strokes. To prevent mistakes, I could activate foresight, drawing while predicting the outcome. With a focused thought, he activated this ability, and everything sped up. A perfect replication in 20 minutes. Wang Shikong looked at the completed first drawing and smiled. However, to finish it in 5 minutes, I will probably need a few more days. Hey, what are you doing? Suddenly, Ning Tianxiong appeared at the study door, looking at him curiously. Wang Shikong looked up and replied, drawing. Drawing? Ning Tianxiong was taken aback, giving him a strange look. You're wasting time. Dinner is ready. Come down. Okay. Wang Shikong nodded and wheeled himself to the dining table, looking around and asking, Where's Qing? She's busy with the guild matters. Shikong, you eat first, Ning's mother replied. No one is as relaxed as you having the leisure to draw. Ning Tianxiong shot him a glance and muttered. Ning's mother gave him a light slap to tell him to speak less. Wang Shikong ignored his rebellious father-in-law and continued practicing after finishing his meal. The next day, after running dungeons with Lao Hu and the others 3 more times, earning 50,000 spirit coins, he spent all other time practicing. Ding, your level 1 mental power 5, physique 2. On the 3rd day, after completing the nightmare level corrupted manor dungeon, Wang Shikong's level reached 5. Today I should also be able to complete the drawing in 5 minutes, he thought to himself. He entered the classroom, drawing for 4 hours, and smiled when he checked the time for the last drawing. 4 minutes and 38 seconds. Teacher, I have met your requirement, Wang Shikong said as he approached Oh, is it done? Teacher Tianyan looked at him and immediately stood up. Go demonstrate it. Wang Shikong nodded and entered the classroom, completing the task within 4 minutes and 30 seconds this time. Good, not bad. Seeing this, Teacher Tianyan generously praised him and took out a drawing. This is the drawing for the explosive fireball spell. If you can draw it within 10 days, I will give you this drawing. If you fail, I will reclaim it. Additionally, to draw the explosive fireball, you need to change the paper to a first-level elemental carrying paper, which you will need to purchase yourself. All right, teacher, Wang Shikong nodded. Explosive fireball spell. But teacher, why is the drawing you gave me just the ordinary fire spell? Yet teacher, Feiyu and Fei beside them were stunned by Teacher Tianyan's words, unable to hold back their exclamation. Damn, this treatment is clearly different. Do I need to explain myself to you guys when I do my work? Teacher Tianyan shot a glance at the two, with his dead fish eyes speaking forcefully. After speaking, he left directly. This left Feiyu and the others speechless mouths agape. Bro, you're amazing. The explosive fireball spell is several grades above ours. Why is the old man treating you so well? I don't know either. Wang Shikong shook his head with a smile. Teacher is too biased, right? Is it because you learn faster than us that you're rewarded like this? Fei, feeling envious, came over to Wang Shikong's side to look at the explosive fireball drawing. By the way, handsome Shikong, I see you haven't joined a guild yet. Join our heretical guild. We have special skills, and the guild will strongly support you. In the future, the cost for drawing scrolls will be reimbursed by the guild. My. Wang Shikong was taken aback, shaking his head. Sorry, I won't join the guild. Are you really not going to join? We drawing masters also need levels. You are paralyzed from the waist down, and it's impossible for you to level up. But if you join our guild, someone will help you level up. Fei Yu also invited him, saying, with your abilities, the guild won't treat you poorly. Wang Shikong shook his head and declined again. I'm not interested in that. Fei Yu's face showed regret, while Fei frowned. Congratulations, you have mastered the explosive fireball art. You have grasped its profound essence, and your proficiency has reached the pinnacle of consummate mastery. While learning to inscribe the explosive fireball art, I can simultaneously acquire the skill, and each inscription deepens my mastery. This is excellent, no time is wasted. Inscribing scrolls doubles as rigorous skill practice. However, Tier 1 spirit conducting parchment is costly, 400 yuan coins per sheet. Add in the expenditure for spirit ink, and the total exceeds 500 yuan coins. Even then, success is not guaranteed. Failure renders the parchment irretrievably ruined. This far exceeds the material cost of forging or alchemy. Wang Shikong began inscribing his first spell scroll, and failed outright on his first attempt. Witnessing this, he understood why scribes were so rare in his past life. Truly, this art was beyond the reach of ordinary mortals. I must first hone my technique on plain paper before attempting spirit-conducting parchment, Wang Shikong mused. His gaze shifted sideways. He saw Fei Yu and the other two watching his failure with faint, knowing smiles. They too were diligently practicing on plain paper. Wang Shikong stilled his mind and returned fully to reality. He entered his study and began practicing in quiet solitude. After merely 4 or 5 trials on plain paper, he paused, his eyes flickering thoughtfully. In my previous life, I had already attained consummate mastery over the explosive fireball art, and such mastery grants tremendous amplification when inscribing spell scrolls. According to the foundational treatise of scribing, achieving consummate mastery in a skill bestows a 30% boost to scroll inscription success rate. Wang Shikong activated his foresight ability, retrieved a Tier 1 spirit-conducting parchment, and commenced inscription. Ding! Congratulations! You have successfully inscribed an ordinary explosive fireball scroll, officially becoming a scribe apprentice. Explosive fireball scroll ordinary. Upon infusing it with spiritual energy, it detonates, dealing damage equal to 5 times the user's mental fortitude or physical vitality. Success! 5 minutes later, Wang Shikong gazed upon his first completed scroll, elation flooding his features. Scrolls are ranked in 3 tiers: inferior, ordinary, and exquisite. Higher tier scrolls yield greater damage output, or longer duration. For instance, an exquisite tier scroll inflicts damage equal to 6 times the user's mental fortitude or physical vitality. Once infused with spiritual energy, it activates nearly instantaneously, making it devastatingly effective for ambushes. Still, the explosive fireball art remains crude. Were I able to inscribe the divine encouragement art, it would command an exorbitant price. Wang Shikong's gaze gleamed. The divine codex contained its inscription diagram, and he immediately began practicing on plain paper. Yet he soon discovered that light and shadow elemental currents clashed violently during inscription, causing instability and chaotic resonance. The required control was vastly more demanding, its difficulty exceeding that of the explosive fireball scroll by more than tenfold. Rather than attempting it prematurely, he intensified his foundational practice. Ding! Congratulations! You have inscribed an ordinary divine encouragement scroll, earning a substantial surge in scribe experience. And congratulations! You have advanced from scribe apprentice to full scribe. Scribe 30 success rate for inscribing scrolls of spells below first ascension. Divine encouragement scroll ordinary. Upon infusion with spiritual energy, it bathes allies within a 10-meter radius in sacred radiance, boosting their attack, defense, and speed by 40% each for 50 seconds. Effective only against beings below first ascension. And ding! Your divine encouragement skill has advanced to the state of perfection. 4 days later, after wasting 2 sheets of Tier 1 spirit conducting parchment, Wang Shikong finally succeeded in inscribing the divine encouragement scroll. TSK, not only has my divine encouragement skill reached perfection, but I've also ascended directly from apprentice to full scribe. Wang Shikong's face lit up with astonishment. If deployed by a team during monster hunting, such a colossal buff for 50 seconds could decisively shift the tide of battle. A price of 100,000 yuan coins would be entirely justified. 100,000 yuan coins, expensive. Indeed, that sum could purchase a bronze tier weapon. Yet imagine deploying this scroll in coordinated combat. Unthinkable. Consider even a modest 5-ever-suscive skirmish. Once deployed, victory is all but assured, unless the opposing side possesses overwhelming superiority. And victory means claiming their gear and weapons as spoils. Should their equipment be of high quality, one recoups the investment effortlessly. For affluent patrons, however, the true value lies in catharsis, morale, and sheer awe-inspiring dominance. Only divine encouragement holds such market value. An explosive fireball scroll fetches at most 2,000 yuan coins, yet its production cost alone is 500. Should success rates dip further, it becomes a guaranteed loss. Wang Shikong reflected silently. Spell scrolls, especially defensive or area effect varieties, command premium prices. They are luxury artifacts inaccessible to common folk. Cease your practice, everyone. There's welcome news to share. Master Tianyun appeared unannounced in the academy hall. His eyes lingered upon Wang Shikong's scroll, glinting with sharp interest. Fei, and the third student halted immediately, faces brightening. Master, what is this good news? To the right of the chaotic graveyard, a flock of black iron fire crows has emerged. Hunt them, collect the central tail feather from each black iron fire crow, and gather 100 ordinary fire crow feathers. Present my name at the town smithy. They will forge for you a black iron scribing brush, granting a 5% increase in inscription success rate. Master Tianyun tossed them a parchment bearing coordinates. The location lies approximately here. They snatched it eagerly, eyes alight. A top-tier quest, rewarding not only a black iron scribing brush, but also vital intelligence on black iron ear monsters. A 5% success boost. With this brush, I'll have a 50% chance of inscribing the Lihua scroll. Fei exclaimed, radiant with delight. Likewise, Feiyu concurred. Wang Shikong listened, bewildered. So low. And the Lihua scroll. Pure financial loss. Moreover, they arrived here at least 5 days, but all others depart. Wang Shikong remained behind. Master Tianyun added abruptly. Feiyu and Fei exchanged startled glances, tinged with envy, before exiting the hall. Master. Wang Shikong, now alone with his instructor, called out curiously. At this location, a bronze-tier fire crow is gestating. It should emerge tomorrow. Slay it, harvest all its feathers, and deliver them to the smithy for forging. Additionally, the Tianyan fruit grows there. Consuming it increases mental fortitude by 2 points. Master Tianyun handed him another parchment. Wang Shikong's eyes widened. Divine-grade rare herbs. He bowed deeply. Thank you, Master. No need. But heed this, a fissure of the abyss of sin lies nearby. Do not approach it. Master Tianyun waved dismissively. You may go now. Your apprenticeship is complete. Wang Shikong paused. Thank you, Master. Will we meet again? And if you are destined to see me, then you Wang Shikong blinked, then asked earnestly. Master, one final question. Is there any method to reduce the cost of scroll inscription? Reduce costs. Hear this, with sufficient mastery, a single spirit-conducting parchment may be precisely quartered. Master Tianyun smiled faintly. But the difficulty escalates dramatically. Wang Shikong nodded, lowered his head in solemn respect, offered a formal farewell, and departed. Master Tianyun watched Wang Shikong's retreating figure, eyelids lowering slowly. His gaze drifted to the opening verse on the first page of the foundational treatise of scribing, murmuring softly, in when the age of dark chaos dawns, a peerless prodigy shall rise, rekindling the lost glory of the scribes. Is he the chosen one of fate? That opening verse was in truth an ancient prophecy. Descendant Wang Shikong. Occupation elementalist cultivator. Cultivation realm elemental spirit refinement. Level 5, 95,100. Vitality 210,300. Physique 1,720. Spiritual energy 8,383. Elemental affinity metal 578. Wood 589. Water 588. Fire 592. Earth 580. Wind 588. Lightning 580. Light 577. Darkness 572. Space 595. Time max. Possesses the elemental core. Skills. 1. Fundamental elemental manipulation. Gung metal perfected. Li fire perfected. Gui water perfected. Wood perfected. Wu earth perfected. Xian wind perfected. Lightning perfected. Light perfected. Darkness perfected. 2. Skeleton summoning mastered. Equipment. 1. Hourglass of time primordial. 2. Hall of light epic. 3. Blood-eyed jade pendant bronze. 4. Guardian staff black iron. 5. Black iron robe black iron. Secondary profession glyph scribe glyphs for flowing guardian explosive fireball. Emerging from the scribe academy, Wang Shikong reviewed his attribute profile. He was but 1 experience point away from level 6, still lagging behind the current vanguard. Glancing at his purse, he found 51,000 yuan coins and 10,000 yuan worth of tier 1 elemental conduits. Next, I must secure that rare treasure granting 2 spiritual energy, acquire a bronze glyph brush, swiftly ascend to level 10 and undertake the Celestial Prodigy Pavilion's trials. Upon completion, I shall enter the city proper. Tianqing town is far too small. As for the opportunities one recall, these are all. Wang Shikong pondered silently. In his previous life, his paralyzed legs had left him with only fragmented memories of Tianqing town's hidden blessings. Far richer were his recollections of Shanghai City, yet access required reaching level 10 and boarding the city-bound teleportation array. Then he would depart without delay. At last Miley Fire has attained perfection, and Shufeng has reached great completion. Just as Wang Shikong finished cutting a Tier 1 conduit into for Palm's Eye slips, inside his study Ning Qingro's haughty voice drifted in from the adjacent room. He smiled faintly. 20 days had passed since Blue Planet merged with the Infinite Continent, and Ning Qingro's progress, though swift, was unsurprising. Already astute cultivators had begun deciphering elemental compatibilities and antagonisms, sharing their findings online. One slip divided into 4. The Divine Encouragement glyph is exceedingly intricate and perilous. Its success rate will be vanishingly low. The Luminous Healing Art and Divine Radiance technique, however, should yield far higher fidelity. He could not afford to focus solely on Divine Encouragement, a niche skill with negligible market demand. Producing Luminous Healing Art and Divine Radiance technique glyphs would serve dual purposes, honing his craft while generating income and utility, both techniques having already reached great completion. Yet he discovered that having the conduit reduced success probability by half. Previously under his prescience his success rate had been absolute, 100%. Still this method halved his material costs. The day passed swiftly. The following morning Wang Shikong set out toward the coordinates provided by Master Tianyun. No sooner had Wang Shikong departed Tianqing town than he sensed a pair of eyes fixed upon him. Is it Zhang Zihao, or someone else? He mused, inwardly dismissing the thought. Others had already reached levels 8 or 9. Higher, yes, yet still within reach. An hour later he arrived at the desolate graveyard, then veered rightward per his master's instructions. Guided by thermal gradients he sought the celestial flame lands, and when fire crows swarmed ahead, he made no move to engage. Enveloping himself in flame, he bent light through refraction, rendering himself invisible, evading each flock with quiet precision. Soon he stood before a vast magma lake seething with incandescent fury. Hundreds of meters beyond its shore yawned a colossal, bottomless fissure, the Abyss of Sin. Legends claim it is the Abyss of Sin, the exile realm, the lawless underworld beneath the earth. Wang Shikong swept his gaze across the chasm. Such rifts dotted the infinite continent, yet even in his prior life knowledge of them remained scarce. Those who ventured and never returned. Shifting focus, he turned to a crimson sapling, barely 1 meter tall, growing beside the magma's edge. Upon its boughs hung a single fruit pulsing with soft, fiery luminescence. Celestial flame fruit, a rare fruit born only by the celestial flame tree, ripening once every decade. Consumption grants 2 spiritual energy. Ripening time, remaining 15 minutes. A 2 spiritual energy fruit. Undoubtedly a celestial rarity. 15 minutes until ripening, perfect timing. Unsurprisingly, the bronze fire crow will hatch moments before maturity. He glanced toward an egg several hundred meters away. Too distant to strike directly, he waited. 15 minutes elapsed, and true to prediction the fire crow craw. Spreading wings 2 meters wide, the fledgling crow flapped exultantly. Sensing Wang Shikong, its fierce gaze locked onto him, and it lunged ravenous. Fire crow, bronze level 9. Health 2600, 2600. Physique 88. Spiritual energy 39. Skills 1. Flock Call. 2. Flame Feather. 3. Flame Detonation. 4. Flame Talon. Craw. As the fire crow bore down, Wang Shikong watched calmly, a faint smile playing upon his lips. Its attack, if landed, would obliterate him instantly, but it would never land. 5-element fusion art. Shufeng. When the crow closed to within 10 meters, a monstrous fireball erupted, halting its charge midair as terror flooded its eyes. Boom. 2600. No more squawking. Wang Shikong smiled faintly as the crow plummeted lifelessly. He approached its corpse and gathered it. Non-corrupted fire crows were edible. Simple enough, he murmured, utterly unruffled, and strode toward the celestial flame fruit. As he reached it and raised his hand, his motion froze. Ping! A sharp crystalline report echoed, and a prickle of pain grazed his skin. Wang Shikong frowned slightly, turning toward the source. So the old man truly gave you the better assignment, with richer rewards. Humph. Biased as ever, came a familiar voice. Fei Yu and Fei Fei approached, flanked by over 200 others. Damn, they've penetrated deep into our territory. Had this not been our leveling ground, some petty thief would have stolen our treasures. At the group's center stood a middle-aged man gripping a black iron longsword. Around him stood youths bearing sword staves, and even firearms, including a sniper rifle. The bald youth holding the sniper rifle had fired the shot. Wang Shikong surveyed the sudden assembly, his brow furrowing, expression hardening with gravity. The Heretic Guild. He recalled the guild, not because of Fei Yu or Fei Fei, but because in his past life it had been renowned, a top-tier faction rivaling the Brocade Guild with which it had clashed repeatedly in its early days. Rumors claimed its founders were cyber swindlers. Equipped with firearms and capital, they rose with astonishing speed across the infinite continent. Sometimes villains do not reap retribution, but instead flourish. Wang Shikong studied their weapons, calculating odds in silence. 200 armed men, plus firearms, meant zero chance of victory. Adjusting his spectacles, he fixed his gaze upon Fei Yu and Fei Fei. Thank you for teaching me a vital lesson: never underestimate any opponent ever. He had since pursued upon leaving town, but dismissed it. He had grown complacent. His own mistake, acknowledged, remembered. Huh. Fei Yu and Fei Fei blinked, startled by his sudden words. Shikong, we offer you a chance to join our family. Fei Yu stared intently. You've seen our strength. Huh. It's an honor for a crippled wretch like you to be welcomed into the Heretic Guild, laughed the youth. Sending 200 men after a paralyzed cripple. You certainly hold me in high regard, Wang Shikong replied, unmoved as they advanced. Shikong, you overestimate yourself. Were it not for those troublesome fire crow flocks en route, would we have mobilized such force? Fei Fei glared. You still have time. Join the Heretic Guild. Hey, yeah, the old man spoke truly, Wang Shikong said serenely. All heretics deserve annihilation. What the hell are you pretending to be? My rifle's loaded with 7.62 rounds. A Heretic Guild youth raised his firearm, aiming squarely at Wang Shikong's legs. Let's see. Whose useless limbs are harder, yours or my bullets? Huh. Wang Shikong sneered, flicking his wrist. Go A water, Ewoodly fire woo earth. Earth shield. Simultaneously, he drew forth 2 pre-crafted scrolls and activated them. Explosive fireball. Divine radiance technique. Bang. Bang. The gunshots struck the shield, deflected perfectly. The 2 scrolls soared toward their target. It blocked. Scrolls. Brother Bing, watch out. Fei Yu cried out as bullets and scrolls flew in tandem. Boom. They underestimated the scrolls' lethality. Arg. With spiritual energy rivaling a level 15 elementalist, Wang Shikong's 2 scrolls struck the 8-wielding youth and erased him in an instant. Damn. Brother Bing. It must be high-tier scrolls. The old man gave them to him. Fei Yu's face paled at his comrade's death. Worthless. The burly leader snarled, pointing his sword with arrogant confidence. Capture him, Allah. Capture me. Wang Shikong laughed coldly and hurled 3 divine radiant scrolls straight at the leader. Watch out. He still has scrolls. Boss, look out. Fei Yu and Fei Fei shouted, faces twisted with envy and rage. They refused to believe he'd crafted them himself. The burly leader's expression darkened. He yanked a subordinate forward as a human shield. Damn it. That hapless underling died instantly, and the leader himself was purified in the same flash, shrieking his final agony. Damn. The boss is dead. Massive damage. Kill him now. The 200 heretics roared, enraged and murderous. 200 against a paralyzed cripple, and their leader slain before their very eyes. How could the Heretic Guild survive such shame? You wish to kill me, I? Wang Shikong sneered, flicking his wrist. Vines coiled around the celestial flame fruit and vanished into the Hall of Light. His eyes shimmered with temporal sand as he wove another earth shield. Bang, bang, bang. Get him. Tear him limb from limb. Bullets tore through the air as the heretics charged. Wang Shikong drew 2 more scrolls, Divine Radiance Technique and Luminous Healing Art, and launched them at 2 gunmen. Mora. Shit, duck. Their faces blanched, but under Wang Shikong's foresight evasion was impossible. Arg. Fuck. 2 more comrades fell, driving the heretics' fury to madness. Wang Shikong assessed his earth shield. Seconds remained. Xian Wind. Gales lifted him backward, swiftly retreating. He's out of scrolls. A crippled rat killed our boss, and thinks he can flee. The mob howled in wrath. Wang Shikong sat calmly in his wheelchair, gazing at the abyss of sin yawning behind him, and smiled sardonic. You wish to kill me, I. You lack the qualification. When I return, every heretic shall be purified. His wheelchair rolled backward and vanished into the abyss of sin. Splash. A wheelchair, along with the figure seated upon it, plummeted from the cliff's edge into the— Damn it. He's jumping off the cliff. I'll kill him myself. What the hell? What the hell is this? The members of the Heretic Guild rushing forward paled at the sight. Fei Yu and Fei Fei tensed instantly and dashed to the rim of the abyss of sin. Their guild master had ordered them to ambush him. Not for vengeance, but for the scroll diagram of the explosive fireball spell he carried and for the greater reward promised by the elder. Now he had leapt into the chasm. Everything was lost. Even worse, their guild master and comrades had been slain in the attempt. At the thought of the master's wrath, their blood ran cold. A mere nobody, and yet he had cost them so dearly. Boom, boom, boom. Rushing wind roared past Wang Shikong's ears. The dizzying descent made breathing difficult. His gaze dropped downward into a fathomless void. Xianfeng adjusted his falling posture midair. Wang Shikong surveyed the endless subterranean fissure world around him, curiosity alight in his eyes. Legends of the abyss of sin and the exile lands abounded. But this place clearly belonged to an advanced dungeon. Even 5 years hence no such dungeon quest would exist. He continued falling. 10 minutes. 20. 30. It felt eternal. Yet Wang Shikong remained calm. His resurrection point lay in the plaza of Tianqing town. He feared no death. Perhaps he could observe the abyss of sin before perishing, making this death worthwhile. Yet fate denied him even that. An hour later a massive protruding boulder appeared below. Inevitably, he would meet his end upon it. Shinfeng. Shinfeng. Wang Shikong decided to struggle. Repeated invocation of the wind-calling art slowed his descent, slightly, but enough. Thud. Thanks to his precognitive ability, he landed smoothly on the jutting boulder. Wang Shikong glanced left and right, at the bottomless chasms of the abyss of sin at the barren sheer rock walls, then pulled out a Tianyan fruit and took a bite. Congratulations. You have consumed a rare celestial treasure. Spiritual energy too. His spiritual energy rose to 85. Curious, he observed his surroundings once more. The abyss beneath remained an unbroken black void, above only darkness stretched upward. How deep had he fallen? An hour. Humph. Never imagined my first life after rebirth would end here, he murmured, shaking his head. Fortunately, all his possessions rested safely within the Temple of Light. Bound to his soul, none could be lost or dropped. I smell it. I smell it. Suddenly a shrill duck-like voice, brimming with excitement, echoed up from the infinite depths below. Wang Shikong blinked in mild surprise and peered downward. His vision revealed nothing, yet the cry rang out again, I smell it. And unmistakably it drew nearer. Wang Shikong abandoned his plan to commit suicide and resurrect, choosing instead to wait silent and still. Caw, caw, caw. I smell it. Even dragging my decayed soul hunched beneath a broken frame bearing the will of annihilation, I still smell you. Caw, caw, caw. From the abyss below, a raven-black creature shot upward, a being shaped like a crow, its eyes blazing crimson, uttering strange words, its gaze locked unerringly upon Wang Shikong. Splash. In moments it hovered level with him. Wings spread wide, no larger than 7 or 8 inches. It suddenly closed its eyes, tilted its head back, and sniffed deeply. Yes, that scent. Flapping its wings in ecstasy, it stared at Wang Shikong with feverish intensity. That scent. It's the reincarnation of the old pervert. No, not reincarnation. A successor. The old pervert's successor. Wang Shikong stared at the talking, ecstatic black crow, bewildered. Brother Crow. Addressed me as his most great and dreadful Lord Corvus. He'd barely spoken before Corvus cut him off. Wang Shikong. The old pervert's successor. Caw, caw, caw. You wretched old schemer. You've finally found a successor. And now, Corvus threw back his head, shrieking in manic elation, I shall devour his soul. Oi, brat, surrender your soul to his most great and dreadful Lord Corvus. Caw, caw, caw. In the next instant Corvus lunged, blindingly fast, leaving Wang Shikong utterly stunned. Is this thing insane? Why was this cawing crow charging at him with such frenzied intent? To kill him. The old pervert. Did he mean the cackling god? Did this cawing crow bear a grudge against him? Damn it. In that moment, even Wang Shikong nearly cursed aloud. Thud. He instinctively raised his hand to block, but the crow was too swift. Even with foresight, he couldn't react in time. But a thought flashed through his mind. Time stop. Within a radius defined by his spiritual energy, all motion ceased. He seized Corvus, whose beak had already touched his brow, and willed him away. Go inside. He hurled the crow directly into the Temple of Light. In the next second, time resumed. Corvus tumbled into the temple, disoriented, flapping his wings wildly, staring blankly at the luminous sacred space surrounding him. The Temple of Light. A spatial artifact. How did I get here? No, time. I sense the power of time itself. Brat. How dare you wield the power of time? It's impossible. Brat. I, his most great and dreadful Lord Corvus, command you release me at once, or I shall devour your soul. You dare call me heretic? I, his most great and dreadful Lord Corvus. Go to hell. You're just like the old pervert. Wang Shikong watched dumbfounded. This crow possessed astonishing intelligence and an alarming fluency in profanity. If he truly knows the god of light elements, then that is truly astonishing. Wang Shikong mused silently, observing the foul-mouthed Corvus without interruption. Fine, brat. Let's negotiate a truce. Finally, seeing no response, Corvus shifted tactics. Wang Shikong's eyes flickered. Only if you swear a master-servant oath. Otherwise you remain here, forever. What? You dare demand that his most great and dreadful Lord Corvus submit to a master-servant oaths? You damned. Wang Shikong chose to ignore him entirely and return to the mortal realm. He dismissed the crow from his thoughts. Entering his study, he ground yuan coins into ink, then laid out sheets of Tier 1 yuan energy conductive paper, carefully cutting each into 4 equal portions. Lucky I stockpile supplies. I bought 10,000 yuan coins worth of conductive paper. That should yield 400 scrolls of the divine light healing art and the sacred light art. 400 scrolls. Will they be enough to eradicate the heretic guild? Seated in his study, he began drawing with solemn focus. The first level force-bearing paper, when cut into 4 pieces, has a success rate of 50. If one possesses a bronze level drawing pin, it should improve by 10. But unfortunately, after an hour of drawing, Wang Shikong managed to succeed only once every 5 minutes, producing just 12 pieces in that time. It was slow, and there was little else to do in the abyss of sin, so he treated it as skill practice. Until the evening before falling asleep, Wang Shikong glanced at the lethargic crow and drifted into dreams. Good morning, crow. Have you thought it over yet? The next morning, Wang Shikong greeted the crow. Young man, I am left with nothing but a decayed soul, a broken body, and a shattered will. Why must you torment me? Let me go, the crow said, its voice lacking its usual sharpness. If you want to kill me, signing the contract is your punishment. Wang Shikong calmly replied, if you disagree, then stay inside. Give me something to eat, young man, the crow said. Wang Shikong ignored it, spending the entire day drawing scrolls in his study. At night, he glanced at the crow lying on the ground and said good night. Good morning, crow. Have you thought it over yet? The next morning, Wang Shikong continued to inquire. Great Crow Master, I am willing to sign an equal contract with you. Upon hearing his voice, the crow quickly responded. The master-servant contract, you have no choice. Wang Shikong directly refused. Although signing an equal contract would prevent harm to each other, given the crow's nature, it would definitely escape. How could that be possible? Young man, I'm starving to death. At least give me something to eat. The crow shouted. Can an existence like you even feel hunger? Wang Shikong was somewhat surprised. I only have a decayed soul and a broken body. Naturally, I will feel hunger. The crow exclaimed in frustration. Wang Shikong replied, if you sign the contract, there will be food, otherwise you will just starve. Once an old pervert kneeled before me wanting to sign a contract, and I refused. You little brat. Wang Shikong ground the used ink, sipped some tea, and continued drawing scrolls. Good morning, crow. Prepare a sumptuous breakfast for the great crow master, for I am about to sign a contract with you. Wang Shikong was stunned by what it said, thinking he misheard. So soon to back down. Really? Will the great crow master deceive you? The crow said coldly. Wang Shikong's eyes brightened as he sat in his wheelchair and went to the dining room, instructing Aunt Song, please prepare an extra serving of breakfast for me. Okay, dear son-in-law, Aunt Song replied immediately. Half an hour later, Wang Shikong brought the breakfast to the inlet. Looking at the crow in the holy palace of light, he said, once you present your contract, I will give you something to eat. I didn't expect that the great crow master did not fall into the hands of the old pervert, but into those of the little pervert. Fate is unfair. The crow let out a mournful cry, condensing its blood and soul to draw the contract. The crow offers its soul to you, signing a master-servant contract. Wang Shikong immediately accepted the crow's soul, a smile appearing on his face. Congratulations, you have contracted the crow. Crow Gold level 10. Health 100, 001, 0000. Physique 100. Mental power 120. Innate talent soul absorption. Skills 1. Soul tracking 2. Entering darkness 3. Eye of calamity of 4. Dimensional despair 5. Mastery of 9 elements exquisite. Status decayed soul, broken body extinguished, will requires 23 hours of sleep daily. Note the extremely evil crow will restore its state after absorbing souls. When Wang Shikong looked at the crow's information, he was slightly taken aback. A decayed soul, broken body, and extinguished will. Still a golden level in this state. Golden indeed. Innate talent of soul absorption. Soul absorption hunt living beings to absorb souls, enhancing mental and physical strength. As for skills, mastery of the 9 elements to such an exquisite level. The 4th skill, dimensional despair. A spatial elemental skill. This evil crow is truly remarkable. Wang Shikong was immensely impressed and soon smiled. If it weren't for his power over time, he would have had no means to deal with the crow rushing up to him and bringing him into the holy palace of light. Good morning, Harris, your breakfast. Wang Shikong suppressed his joy, summoned the crow, and handed it the breakfast. Caw, caw, caw. The crow looked at him, perhaps due to its strange psychological state, let out a peculiar cry, and immediately began to feast. Caw, caw, caw. Truly a being of the same era. Caw, caw, caw. It has been a long time since the great crow master has tasted such delicious food. The life in the exile land is truly not worth living. Minutes later, the crow suddenly called out again. Wang Shikong said, You are called Crow, right? He looked at the crow and said, From now on, I will call you Kindness, a little nickname for you. While eating, the crow immediately tilted its head and looked at him. Caw. Kindness. You want the great and evil crow master to be called Kindness. Good. Wang Shikong smiled and looked up. You must listen from now on. Caw, caw, caw. The crow's beak moved up and down as if gnashing its teeth. However, once the master-servant contract was signed, it could not resist. Hee hee. Wang Shikong chuckled. After you finish eating, can you take me up? Is that doable? Caw, caw, caw. The crow looked up. Speak human language. Wang Shikong patted its head. It will time. The crow replied helplessly. As long as you can go up, that's enough. Wang Shikong's eyes lit up. Even though the endless continent could yield rare items like life resurrection worth hundreds of thousands of coins, it was best to avoid death. Moreover, later on a life resurrection would cost an outrageous amount. Come on, kindness, take me up. Don't bite my clothes, hold onto the wheelchair. Caw caw caw, the great crow master is now a slave. The crow called out, grabbing the back of the wheelchair and flying Wang Shikong upwards toward the abyss of sin. Within an hour they returned to land. Although not at the exact spot they fell, it wasn't far off, and Wang Shikong headed straight for Tianqing town. As for settling the accounts with the heretical guild, he naturally needed to prepare before reckoning. With his current strength, he still lacked some means. At the beginning, even a top-level 5-person team would find it difficult to deal with 100 people, let alone the heretical guild equipped with firearms. In reality, the power of firearms is comparable to the fire attack released by a level 10 magic cultivator. To deal with the heretical guild, one must prepare enough spell scrolls. All fears stem from insufficient firepower. With enough spell scrolls, one can kill even 10,000. Caw caw caw, why are there so many people in the world? Such weak soul power, it's completely stuck in my teeth. Boy, are those two guys kissing. The great crow master has truly been away from the world for too long and cannot keep up with the changes of the times. Wang Shikong returned to Tianqing town, where the crow had been sleeping on his shoulder all the way. Upon arriving in the town, it opened its eyes and curiously surveyed the people around, chattering incessantly. He went straight to the blacksmith shop and took out the feather of the fire crow. Hello, I am a student of Master Tianyan. I would like to request the master to forge a drawing pen. Wang Shikong said to a waiter. You are a student of Senior Tianyan. Please follow me. The waiter immediately led him to the back. You want a drawing pen, right? Hand me the materials. Upon entering a forging room, a bare-chested blacksmith looked at him and spoke. Sure. Wang Shikong handed him the fire crow's feather. Please wait here for a moment, it will be ready soon. The blacksmith took it and examined it before replying. Such poor quality feathers. The crow glanced at the fire crow feather and commented. Its sudden speech startled the blacksmith, who looked over with a hint of shock. Extraordinary avian species. The blacksmith could not see through it and exclaimed. A crude blacksmith dares to speak of the great crow. Bang! Wang Shikong directly patted its head, interrupting its words, his gaze fixed on it. This made the crow glare at him, but seeing the look in his eyes, it felt a strong sense of unease, stepping back 2 paces and widening its eyes. My dear master, what do you want to do? Wang Shikong asked the blacksmith. Can its feathers be used to make a drawing pen? The quality of its feathers is too high, I cannot forge it, but with a slight modification, it should be able to reach the golden level. The blacksmith replied. Golden level? Wang Shikong's eyes lit up as he looked at the crow. Give me a feather. Boy, you want to pluck my feathers? How can there be such an evil and perverted master in this world? Where is the Animal Protection Association? Please speak up for me. Speak up for me. The crow immediately screeched loudly and hurriedly flew away into the distance. Come back, it's just one feather. Wang Shikong commanded. Under the power of the contract, the crow could only struggle to fly back, helplessly tilting its head up. Wang Shikong looked at its appearance, somewhat speechless. Will you pluck it yourself, or should I do it? The crow weakly moved its wing, providing him with a feather, its face full of resentment. Wang Shikong smiled as he took it and handed it to the blacksmith. Caw caw caw. Caw caw caw. Caw caw caw. The crow continued to cry out beside him, and Wang Shikong patted its head. Although he couldn't understand, he felt it was definitely scolding him. Little brother, you are truly fortunate. I will fuse the feather of the bronze flame into this feather. Take a look. Soon the sturdy man handed him the forged drawing pen. Element drawing pen, golden 20 success rate, and 20 drawing speed for making first-tier spell scrolls, a 15 success rate for making first-tier spell scrolls. Wang Shikong took it, and upon seeing its attributes, his eyes brightened. First-tier spells are skills before the first transition. A 20 success rate is significant, especially with an additional 20 speed boost. After leaving the blacksmith shop, Wang Shikong directly returned to reality. Entering the study, he prepared to draw properly. Master, let me out. The crow thrown into the holy light temple cried out. Wang Shikong summoned it out and instructed, you can come out, but you must not harm anyone or cause trouble. Where are we? The crow looked around in awe, its eyes wide as it glanced left and right. Wang Shikong ignored it and seriously began to draw the divine light technique and the light healing technique. With the golden level drawing pen, he could stabilize the elements, originally taking 5 minutes for one, now it only took 4 minutes. Moreover, his success rate had reached 70. 7 out of 10 attempts were successful, which was absolutely extraordinary. Of course, the main reason was his terrifying elemental affinity and precognitive abilities. Otherwise, it would be impossible to achieve such a heavenly feat. 17 drawings in an hour. Wang Shikong noted the time and nodded slightly. In 2 days, he could consume all the first-tier elemental carrying paper in his hands. As time passed, one spell scroll after another was completed. However, at this point, they could no longer be called scrolls. Palm's eyes, they were better referred to as spell cards. Ding, your divine light skill proficiency has increased to perfection. Ding, your light healing technique skill proficiency has increased to perfection. As the last spell card was completed, Wang Shikong's 2 skills also reached perfection. 501 spell. Originally, it was expected to produce 400. With the enhancement of the golden drawing pen, it reached 501. Apart from a few divine encouragement spell cards, the rest were divine light and light healing technique. That's enough. Wang Shikong smiled slightly and stored them away. Tomorrow, I will go purify the heretics. With a thought, he summoned the kind-hearted one who had flown off to play somewhere and entered into a dream. In the morning, the sun shone on the beautiful Tianqing town. Wang Shikong sent a message to Old Hu asking him to help find the location of the heretic guild and sat in his wheelchair, heading towards the outskirts of the town with the kind-hearted one sleeping on his shoulder. Tiger Vanguard Captain, the heretics are all leveling up in the Lost Valley. The entire Lost Valley has been occupied by them. What do you inquire about the heretic guild? He quickly looked at the message from Old Hu and replied, go purify them. Tiger Vanguard Captain, did the heretic guild provoke you? Their strength is not weak. There are about 300 of them in Tianqing town. If you want to deal with them, I can bring my brothers over. I Old Hu am not talented, but the recently established Tianhu guild already has over 3,000 brothers. Dealing with them is a piece of cake. No need. Wang Shikong replied, recalling the location of the Lost Valley, and headed there. Meanwhile, not far from the Lost Valley at the training ground of Donglu Lake, Old Hu and a group of subordinates were leveling up there. Now over 20 days had passed since the connection from Blue Star to the Endless Continent, and during this time many guilds had been formed. In Tianqing town, the strongest guild is undoubtedly the Tianhu Guild. Its president, Tiger Vanguard, with his generous personality and lavish spending along with a large amount of black iron equipment, has gained a lot of followers. The benefits of the guild also became apparent. When a group is strong, they will naturally occupy better leveling areas. Other people wanting to come in to level up. Don't even think about it. In the world of extraordinary powers, survival of the fittest is the basic principle. Dad, what does Captain Shikong want the information about the heretic guild for? Yao, who held a spear and had a tall and handsome figure, asked. Old Hu frowned slightly. He said he wants to purify the heretics. It should be in conflict with the heretic guild. In conflict with the heretic guild. Yao waved his spear, raising his eyebrows. President, who is the captain you are referring to? A young man beside him holding a staff asked curiously. A very powerful person. Old Hu replied. Very powerful. Is he as strong as you and Sister Yao? The young man asked in astonishment. Extremely powerful. Beside him, Jing Shan couldn't help but speak up. At that time, the president was willing to offer him 50 of the shares to invite him to join the Tianhu Guild, but he rejected it. No way. Our Tianhu Guild is now a major guild throughout Blue Star. The young man was shocked. Does he not know how strong our president is? Yeah, our president and vice president are already level 10. They can rank in the top 3 in all of Tianqing town. Another young subordinate exclaimed in surprise, is it just ahead in the early stages? All right, Jing Shan, send a brother to keep an eye on the heretic guild. If anything happens, notify me immediately. Old Hu interrupted the conversation. As he is the president of the first guild in Tianqing town, he naturally cannot say something that undermines his own prestige, like that he is completely inferior to others. At the same time, during the establishment of the guild, he did not rely on the fame of the Divine Speech Squad. Also, to prevent any gaps with the captain, his subordinates naturally did not know that the captain he mentioned was the captain of the Divine Speech Squad. But no matter what, if the captain needs help, Old Hu will do his utmost. Sigh, now all the good leveling spots are occupied by those guilds. Isn't this just bullying? What can we do? With everyone from the guild leveling here, even if they let us, do you think we can compete? Once we have decent weapons and equipment, can you guarantee they won't kill us and steal our gear and money? Especially that heretical guild. Oh, I've heard they have connections in the underworld. We can't expect to level up in the Ruined Valley anymore. The nearby Donglu Lake is also a leveling paradise, but has been taken over by the Tianhu Guild. However, I've heard that joining the Tianhu Guild comes with great benefits. Ahead at the entrance of the Ruined Valley, some people walked while expressing their helplessness. At that moment, a young man in a wheelchair slowly approached, holding a pristine white book and with a strange black crow perched on his shoulder. This odd combination made it impossible to tell that he was there to level up. Of course, a paralyzed person can't possibly level up alone. They glanced over without paying him any mind and continued on their way. The newcomer was naturally Wang Shikong. He gazed at the entrance of the valley and could see 2 young men with guns smoking as they stood guard. Wang Shikong looked at the guild insignia on their shoulders and smiled faintly. At the entrance of the valley, 2 members of the heretical guild were chatting. One of them froze for a moment when he noticed Wang Shikong's figure. Damn, Dongzi, look at that guy. Isn't he the one? The young man pointed and exclaimed. The other person looked over in confusion, and upon spotting the figure in the wheelchair, his eyes widened. Damn it, that's the guy. Our guild has been searching for him for 2 days. Let's take him out. Whoosh. Before they could raise their guns, a beam of divine light and a massive fireball surged towards them. Is that a spell scroll? Quick dodge. The two men's expressions changed as they saw the two spells flying towards them, and they hurriedly tried to evade. However, evasion was utterly impossible. Boy, are they killing. Even a mosquito is still meat, my soul, my soul. The crow sensed Wang Shikong's killing intent, and immediately opened its eyes, excitedly flying over. With incredible speed, it landed directly on the two corpses, its beak glimmering with a black light as it absorbed their souls, its face full of enjoyment. Wang Shikong approached calmly, examining their equipment and taking their spatial rings. Be kind, the next people we encounter should all be purified, Wang Shikong said to the crow. All purified. Purification, what an elegant term. No wonder that old pervert loved it so much. The crow's face showed excitement. Then next I can be very kind. Wang Shikong smiled slightly, his mind stirred, and two skeletons were summoned to carry him deeper into the rugged valley. In the distance, a young man noticed the situation, and his gaze sharpened as he quickly sent a message. Meanwhile, after the two men died, they immediately informed a brother, in reality quickly relaying the news. Boss, that paralyzed guy has come to kill. Our two brothers at the valley entrance have been killed. What? In the depths of the ruined valley, the leader of the heretical guild, Fa Wazadu, was momentarily stunned upon hearing his subordinates report, his face filled with disbelief. It's that guy in the wheelchair from last time, he's come to kill. His subordinate repeated this, also filled with astonishment. They hadn't gone to find him, yet unexpectedly this guy had come knocking on their door. That useless man. Fa Wazadu's eyes glinted with ferocity. Damn it, since I couldn't find him, he dares to come. Very well, I will go and kill him. President, we need to be cautious. That kid definitely has spell scrolls in hand. Nearby, Feiyu warned alertly. Shut up, last time I was careless, but since he dares to come this time, I will tear him apart. Fa Wazadu's face was filled with killing intent. Gather all the brothers. Kill him. Damn it, a useless person dares to oppose our heretical guild. After killing him, send someone to watch the resurrection, 24 hours a day. As soon as he leaves town, we'll take him out. How dare he provoke us like this? Let him know the consequences of offending our heretical guild, and tell everyone what happens to those who oppose us. Surrounding members of the heretical guild spoke ominously. To let a paralyzed man come to their door, if this got out, their heretical guild wouldn't be able to survive in the endless continent. In an instant, nearly 300 members of the heretical guild rushed towards the entrance, their momentum fierce and murderous. Ga. Oi! Just as they hadn't gone far, excited cries came from above. It spiraled in the air, and quickly, the members of the heretical guild merely glanced and paid it no mind. 300 heretics are coming. The crow landed on Wang Shikong's shoulder, excitedly shouting, purify them. Let their souls return to the embrace of the great Lord Crow. Wang Shikong stopped and looked ahead, calmly waiting. Soon in his line of sight, the 300 members of the heretical guild appeared. Damn, President, it's that kid. He really dares to come. Damn it, two skeletons are carrying him. He's really showing off. Ahead, the members of the heretical guild also noticed Wang Shikong, their gazes icy. That kid now rolled down and kneeled to apologize, and maybe you can still survive in the endless continent. Otherwise, I'll kill you before you can leave town. Fa Wazadu glared at him coldly. Wang Shikong opened the divine book and cast a light element spell to gain a 50 casting speed boost. He spoke calmly, as if declaring the divine says heretics should be purified. Light healing spell. A beam of light instantly shot towards Fa Wazadu. Kill him. Fa Wazadu's gaze turned cold as he saw the direct attack, and shouted loudly. Humph, trying to sneak attack. Beside him, a body cultivator with a shield snorted coldly, immediately raising his shield and gathering earth elements. Bang! 600. The body cultivator with the shield was sent flying, spitting blood, his face filled with shock. Even with a shield to block, he could still lose half his life in one hit. Bang, bang, bang. Charge, kill him. But no one paid attention to him as the members of the heretical guild with guns opened fire. The body cultivators rushed directly at him. The spellcasters began to cast spells. Wang Shikong saw this and summoned a water curtain from the elements of fire, earth, metal, and water to form a defense. With a flick of his palm, a divine light spell card was released. Divine light spell scroll premium infused with primal energy to release. Divine light envelopes the body, forming a defense that absorbs 11 times its own spiritual damage. This guardian-type divine light spell scroll was stronger than the water and earth armor scroll that Old Who had once produced. The difference was one was single target, while the other was area effect. Under the cover of divine light, Wang Shikong appeared pure and radiant like a divine sun walking among mortals. He moved his palm, infusing primal energy into over 10 attack-type divine light cards, the wind howling. Dozens of beams of divine light surged forward. Or let the great Lord Crow also join in the glorious purification. The crow excitedly spread its wings and instantly vanished into darkness. Damn, this bastard actually has so many spell scrolls. Spellcasters quickly used skills to attack and defend. A senior member of the heretical guild saw the dozens of beams of light and changed his expression, instructing urgently. One by one, the mages cast skills like fire separation to meet the attack. The spell collisions could indeed cause considerable wear on the divine light. However, even though they suffered significant weakening, the divine light spell aimed at the spellcasters still caused the instant death of 15 mages. Fools, get rid of him quickly. Fa weighs at his face, changed drastically upon seeing 15 of his side die in an instant. Wang Shikong flicked his palm again, and more than 10 cards flew out like a magician. Da-da-da. Ahead bullets also rained down, but they all struck the water curtain and divine light. Wang Shikong smiled slightly at them. Even if the water curtain and divine light were breached, Wang Shikong could immediately release defenses again as he was fully focused on defense. Can't withstand it. There's still the divine light guardian scroll. Ah, damn it. How does he have so many spell scrolls? Flyfish's team spends a fortune crafting one, yet their damage is pitifully low. His are devastating. As Wang Shikong hurled another dozen spell scrolls, a dozen more cultivators of arcane arts collapsed. Inevitable, yet no less shocking. From the rear lines, one cultivator roared in disbelief. These scrolls cannot be his own work. This is impossible. That biased old man must have given them to him. Feiyu shouted, staring at the carnage before him, refusing to believe his eyes. Scroll crafting is excruciatingly difficult. He possesses only one schematic, the Fireburst Orb, and all these scrolls were acquired, not crafted. Fei added firmly. They knew full well how arduous scroll inscription truly was. These scrolls, they were certain, had been bestowed upon him by that partial old master. Charge. Kill him now. The leader of the Heretics Guild glared with icy fury. He had never imagined that a crippled wretch, paralyzed from the waist down, could slay 30 of his men in mere moments. What kind of sick joke was this? With his gear and cultivation base, taking down 5 opponents alone would strain him to his limits. And yet online rumors claimed someone had slain 7, a feat already staggering to behold. Yet here stood this man, overwhelming 300 of them single-handedly. Were scroll scribes truly this monstrous? No. His guild's 2 scribes paled into insignificance beside him. Pooh. As he pondered, searing pain pierced his brow, his pupils dilated in terror. The Corvus says all heretics must be purified. Caw. A voice rasped into his ear in his final breath, but he never glimpsed the thing that struck him. Our leader is dead. The guild master is gone. The sudden collapse of the Heretics Guild leader sent a ripple of shock through the ranks. How had he fallen? Boom, boom, boom. Wang Shikong granted them no time to think. Spell cards erupted from his hands like rain, lavish, relentless, as if costless. Their staggering damage cleaved through any unshielded body cultivator in a single strike, purification swift and absolute. Meanwhile, the Corvus moved as death incarnate in shadow, striking once, killing once. What chilled even Wang Shikong was the Corvus's utter dissolution into darkness. Wherever shadows pooled, it vanished, terrifying beyond measure. A born reaper of life. How does he possess so many spell scrolls? This isn't skill, it's cheating. Within 2 minutes, 70 or 80 lay dead. A cultivator paled, trembling. Body cultivators flank him from both wings. Hurry! A high-ranking officer of the Heretics Guild barked orders. Arcane cultivators, unleash your spells. Even if he shields himself with scrolls, our numbers will overwhelm him. Die, you bastard. Several body cultivators hurled grenades toward Wang Shikong. Shinfeng. Wang Shikong paused, then smiled. Before the grenades detonated, they reversed course midair and flew back. Boom, boom, boom. 5 of their own exploded instantly. Damn it, stop throwing grenades. Cursed, he commands Shinfeng art with terrifying mastery. Panic surged through the Heretics Guild. Something's wrong. Something is hunting us in the dark. One cried out, horrified, as a comrade beside him crumpled, blood blooming from a precise wound in his forehead. When a dozen more spell scrolls descended, waves of agony echoed anew. Comrades fell, slain by unseen hands, others collapsed beneath barrages of arcane fire, dozens at a time. Chaos deepened, spreading like ink in water. Some already entertained thoughts of retreat. What the hell? Is he exploiting a glitch? He's got infinite scrolls. Someone shrieked, dazed, disoriented. Seeing their assault falter, Wang Shikong advanced his skeletal constructs toward them and replied coolly, almost out. What the hell? Almost out, and still you dare close in? The body cultivator's eyes widened, furious, but he choked back the curse. For there sat the figure in the wheelchair, serene, smiling, gently bathed in radiant light, luminous as a celestial scion. Run! He spun and fled. Damn it, run. Rumors online confirmed it. Died 10 times and death became absolute, irrevocable. Each had but 10 lives. Each sacred, irreplaceable. Now he fled. Not just now, but forever. He'd quit the Heretics Guild outright. It was a fool's union. Who dares provoke this kind of monster? In the next instant his vision blurred. Stiffly he raised a hand to his brow. Blood gushed freely. Run. When half the Heretics Guild, 150 souls, had fallen, someone finally broke, screaming into the chaos. Yes, 300 against 1, choosing flight. honor, reputation, shattered, scattered, by that serene wheelchair-bound terror. Humph. Think you can flee? Wang Shikong commanded Shangliang. You hunt down the swiftest body. Caw. Heretics, I have wings. You cannot outrun me. The Corvus cackled exultant. Death continued. Slaughter raged on. Utter one-sided annihilation. Whoa. Guildmaster, is your squad's captain really this fearsome? He went alone to the Heretics Guild. They hold 300 in the Lost Valley. Surely this is suicide. Is your captain a body cultivator? A body cultivator skilled in shadow essence may vanish into gloom, striking one by one Never mind that. I've loathed the Heretics Guild for ages. Today we erase them, and let every cultivator in Tianqing Town witness the might of the Tianhu Guild. At that very moment outside the Lost Valley, Lao, who led 500 elite guild members forward, faces alight with awe and fervor. Lao, whose expression remained stern, brows furrowed. He knew, intimately, that the wheelchair-bound captain could neither kite nor assassinate from shadows. 2 corpses ahead. Yao Yi's gaze locked onto the bodies near the valley entrance. Her brow tightened. She broke into a sprint, commanding the group, faster, move. Faster. They surged forward, only to meet moments after entering a breathless man and woman sprinting straight toward them. Yao Yi spotted their guild insignias. Her spear snapped up. Halt. Tianhu Guild. It was Fei Yu and Fei Fei, fleeing desperate. Seeing the Tianhu Guild, their faces paled. Fei Yu bowed slightly. Esteemed seniors of the Tianhu Guild, how may we assist? Why are you running? Lao Hu fixed them with a cold stare. We. Fei Fei's voice trembled with fear. There's a monster inside, slaughtering our guild. We're fleeing. Someone is killing your guild. The Tianhu Guild recoiled in shock. Lao Hu's eyes narrowed. Astonishment flared within them. Bind them. Advance. Yes, Guildmaster. For underlings rushed forward. We've done nothing to provoke you. Why bind us? Fei Yu's face drained of color. Lao Hu ignored him, marching onward. 10 seconds later he froze, abrupt, absolute. So too did the 500 Tianhu elites, still transfixed. In the Lost Valley, before the eyes of the members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild, numerous corpses lay scattered across several hundred meters. Many of the bodies appeared to have been corroded, presenting a horrifying sight. Hundreds of corpses came into view. For the people of the Great Xia who had lived in peaceful times, this was an incredibly terrifying visual shock. Even though they had arrived at the endless continent, witnessing and participating in numerous battles, the sight of such a large number of corpses still sent chills down their spines, causing them to gasp in horror. In the center of their line of sight sat a young man in a wheelchair, being carried by 2 skeletons. Skeletons. The young man in the wheelchair. A black crow perched on his shoulder. The surrounding corpses made everything feel eerie. As the 2 skeletons turned, everyone also caught sight of the young man's face. His handsome face wore a warm smile enveloped in a pure white light, and he held a pristine white book. Moi. Wang Shikong smiled slightly upon seeing Lao Hu and the others, commanding the skeletons to bring him over. Captain Shikong, this. Yao Yi approached directly, his face filled with shock as he looked at him. Settle some grudges. Wang Shikong spoke. You came at just the right time. Lao Hu, will you take these gear? Yes, Captain, I'll take them all. Lao Hu took a deep breath, recovering from the shock, as he immediately responded. Wang Shikong nodded and looked towards Fei Yu and Fei Fei beside him. Big brother Shikong, we should not have harbored any thoughts towards you. We apologize, please spare us. Fei Fei's eyes brimmed with tears as she quickly pleaded with him. Wang Shikong nodded, gently moving his hand to reveal 2 spell cards in his palm. Each of you pick one. Don't tease us, big brother. We truly know our mistakes. Whatever we pick, please let us go. Fei Yu spoke with a face full of pleading. 2 types of death, one is painful, the other is easier. Wang Shikong looked at him and replied, this is what I want you to choose. Fei Yu was dumbfounded, his expression shifting as he loudly exclaimed, damn. You damn. You need purification? With a wave of his hand, Wang Shikong cast a healing spell on him. A painful scream escaped his lips, and soon another corpse lay on the ground. Another card shone with divine light, enveloping Fei Fei and instantly killing her. Gulp. The members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild watched this scene, unable to suppress their gulping, their faces filled with shock. What kind of technique is this? Captain, what kind of attack is this? Yao Yi asked in just a spell scroll. Wang Shikong did not hide it, responding. Lao Hu, having owned spell scrolls, understood it. However, as he glanced at the 300 corpses around, he couldn't help but feel a chill. How many spell scrolls could achieve this? He founded the Heavenly Tiger Guild because he believed that there is strength in numbers. Yet now this scene. One person annihilating an entire guild. Now he even began to doubt his decision to establish the guild. Could an individual's power truly contend against thousands? Sweeping invincibly. Captain, I was preparing to bring my brothers to help you, but now. Lao Hu said bitterly, but it's just as well, I can help you clean up the battlefield. Go and bring all the gear and weapon space rings over. Don't touch any of the items inside. Yes, President. The elite members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild immediately responded, heading towards the corpses, occasionally glancing at that figure. This is troublesome. Wang Shikong expressed his gratitude. Having to clean it up himself would take a while. Now with Lao Hu directly taking the equipment, it saved him a lot of trouble. Moreover, he had used a total of 244 spell scrolls. Calculating the cost, it had consumed nearly 50,000 currency. He still needed to rely on the equipment and weapons from these corpses to make up for it. Is this the captain of the president and vice president's team? One person killing 300, isn't this too incredible? It seems he used spell scrolls to achieve this. How does he possess so many spell scrolls? Who knows? This captain actually still has 2 legs. It's too shocking. The members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild whispered as they picked up equipment and space rings. President, we gathered all the gear and weapons. There are 25 black iron pieces, the rest are ordinary gear. We did not check the items inside the space rings. Soon the members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild arrived and spoke. Take everything out of the space items. Wang Shikong ordered. The elite members of the Heavenly Tiger Guild obediently responded yes. Currency, skill, books, materials, durex. Stockings. There were many miscellaneous items, but when a book fell, Wang Shikong paused for a moment, his gaze sharpening. With a movement of his hand, the emu transformed into branches and wrapped around it. Wow, emu can be used like this. This is too elegant. An elite mage of the Heavenly Tiger Guild exclaimed. Wang Shikong's gaze fell upon the book, his heart shaken. The years I spent as a sword immortal. He opened it. The entire book had dozens of pages, and the content resembled a novel. As he turned to the first page, on the day of my birth, the heavenly gates opened, and dazzling rainbow, sword light, shot down from the heavens, piercing through the clouds, illuminating the sky. Wherever the sword light reached, the winds and clouds calmed, water and fire coexisted, and within 1,000 miles the spirit swords resonated. The heavenly Tao congratulated me, a proper beginning for a thrilling story. Yet Wang Shikong knew this book contained powerful information about a sword immortal's legacy. In his previous life, the aberrant guild, notorious for its misdeeds, managed to secure its position as a top-tier guild mainly because it had a powerful sword immortal backing it. This individual with the identity of a mage acquired the sword cultivator's legacy, controlling 12 celestial swords, immensely powerful. He was revered as the one who broke all laws, the sword immortal Qinsheng. Wang Shikong had battled him at his peak and could only suppress him, but could not break through the defenses formed by the 12 celestial swords. I never expected this, truly unexpected. Wang Shikong was filled with joy as he stored the book away. The appearance of this book also prompted him to carefully examine other items. After finding no other special valuable items, he collected over 20,000 currency. The rest, at a 95% discount, he sold entirely to Lao Hu. He sold it for a total of 300,000 currency. War spoils are indeed the most profitable. Wang Shikong had only spent 50,000 currency, yet now his income was 320,000, netting over 270,000. This raised the amount of currency in his hand to over 800,000. Moreover, there was good news. The entire Lost Valley became his personal leveling ground. It contained monsters at levels 712, perfectly allowing him to quickly level up. What a trash. 300 people can't defeat a single person. All 300 were killed. Boss. That guy is cheating. His scrolls are practically infinite, and we have no way to deal with him. In the resurrection square of Tianqing town, members of the heretical guild stood in place. The president, the outlaw, stood there with a face full of shock and anger. Twice now he had died, twice, and both times it was by the hands of a single individual, causing him to drop to. What terrified him even more was that this time the opponent had annihilated their entire heretical guild alone. If this got out, no one would believe it. One person killed 300 of them. Yet it was indeed the truth. That damn guy, how could he have so many spell scrolls? Aren't such scrolls supposed to be extremely rare? The outlaw couldn't help but whisper furiously. No one could respond to him, not even the drawing apprentices Fei Yu and Fei Fei. In their eyes, all of this was given to him by that biased old man. Damn it, I need to strengthen myself first, then seek revenge. He took a deep breath, his face filled with distress. Boss, I don't even have a weapon now. Oh, I need to go find one first. A subordinate said bitterly. Let's each level. The outlaw glanced at his subordinates who had lost all their equipment, his expression darkening. They had suffered a massive loss this time. He had spent millions to gather so many subordinates, and now it was all gone in an instant. Gaga. Here, little cat, come here. Meanwhile, in the abandoned valley, the crow flew swiftly from the front, pursued by 5 or 6 level 10 demonized cloud leopards, their eyes glowing red as they chased after it. 5 elements fusion technique. Mystical wind. Wang Shikong occupied a favorable position ahead, watching the crow lure monsters, a smile spreading across his face as he immediately released his skills. One spell combo after another. The demonized cloud leopards fell rapidly. Some leopards tried to attack him, prompting the crow to strike back and instantly kill them. This was already the third batch of wild monsters. After politely declining Yao and his team's invitation to level up together, Wang Shikong focused on improving himself. Ding, your level 1, a mental strength 5, O physique 2. After slaying this group of demonized cloud leopards, his level rose to 6. Leveling up quickly, but mental strength is depleting fast. Picking up some dropped coins and equipment, Wang Shikong glanced at his meager mental strength. Each 5 elements fusion technique consumed about 0.6 of his mental strength. With 90 mental strength now, he could only cast it over 100 times. With the crow assisting and luring monsters, his mental strength was quickly exhausted. This works too. Oh, I can spend the other time drawing spell scrolls. Wang Shikong thought to himself, his figure fading as he returned to Blue Star. Having avenged his great enmity, he felt exceptionally content arriving at the courtyard pavilion, boiling some water, brewing some of his father-in-law's famous tea, and leisurely reading the book, The Years I Spent as a Sword Immortal. In his previous life, the Sword Immortal Chen Sheng had only revealed that his inheritance was obtained from a book, but Wang Shikong did not know the specifics of how it was acquired. Thus he could only read the book bit by bit, searching for clues. The crow, with its decayed soul and broken body, often stood on his shoulders, squinting its eyes and dozing off. This harmonious scene lasted for over an hour until a figure appeared holding a cigar. The Years I Spent as a Sword Immortal. Seeing the book's title in Wang Shikong's hands, Ning Tianxiang's face darkened, and he noticed the seemingly ordinary crow perched on his shoulder. A pet bird. Drawing, reading novels, playing with birds. This is completely useless. Was he really planning to live as a waste in their Ning family? He had thought that after seeing him acquire so much equipment, he might have some ability. Now, while they were laboring over guild matters, this guy was living leisurely every day. At that moment, he was filled with anger. However, he said nothing. He knew his eldest daughter's temperament all too well as her father. It seems I need to pay more attention to treating this kid's legs. As long as his legs heal, my daughter will no longer feel. He calculated in his heart that once his legs were healed, he as a father could let his daughter leave him. Now, out of sight, out of mind, he turned and entered the house. Wang Shikong noticed that his father-in-law did not greet him, as currently this father-in-law was extremely dissatisfied with him. Shikong, it's time to eat. Not long after, Ning Qingyao approached, smiling at Wang Shikong in the pavilion. Dad said you're reading a novel. Upon hearing this, Wang Shikong looked up and waved the book at her. Reading and drawing are both quite good. Ning Qingyao nodded. Drawing. Wang Shikong raised an eyebrow. It seemed that what he was doing, Ning Tianxiong, that old green tea, had told his daughter, clearly implying that he was useless, trying to make his daughter dislike him. This old green tea. It's time to eat. I'll take you to the restaurant. Shikong, what level are you now? Ning Qingyao pushed him toward the restaurant, smiling as she said, once you reach level 10, head straight to Shanghai City. We can meet there, and I can help you level up. Just reach level 6, he'll let you know when I get to Shanghai City. Wang Shikong nodded. Level 6 already. Shikong, you're leveling up so fast, impressive. Ning Qingyao was slightly surprised by his level. Although she was already at level 9, Wang Shikong being paralyzed reaching level 6 was already quite impressive in her eyes. Wang Shikong smiled. You don't need to worry about me, you focus on improving yourself. I'm still thinking about living off you later. Hehe, you can count on that soft life. Oh, I'm quite capable now. Ning Qingyao, upon hearing this, raised her head confidently. Ha, good. After nearly a month of interaction, the two had become good friends with a marriage certificate, and their relationship had grown much closer. Have you seen the trending daughter on the internet? In the restaurant, Ning Tianxiong caught a glimpse of the two chatting and laughing as they entered, interrupting their conversation. Dad, what trending topic? Ning Qingyao asked curiously. There's news online that a single designer destroyed a guild. Their power is terrifying. Ning Tianxiong said. Wang Shikong, who was nearby, was slightly taken aback. Was this exposed by someone from the Tianhu Guild? One person destroyed a guild. How many people were in the guild? How could that be possible? Ning Qingyao was filled with suspicion. 300 people, one person against 300, and wiped them all out. Ning Tianxiang's face was also astonished. But I think this could be a rumor. It's impossible for one person to defeat 300. This is too absurd, likely to promote the profession of designer. Designer. I know of this profession, but it's tough to become one. It consumes a lot, and takes a lot of time, much harder than an alchemist or blacksmith. Ning Qingyao slightly nodded. If one truly had hundreds or thousands of spell scrolls, it would indeed be possible to take out hundreds of people. The Endless Continent is filled with hidden talents. Not to mention the authenticity of this designer, that first clear team from the corrupted mountain villa must also be very strong. Ning Tianxiong exclaimed, I just led a team to barely clear the nightmare level dungeon of the corrupted mountain villa this morning. The strength of this divine team's early clear is unimaginable. I truly wonder who they are. Now there are already thousands of guilds established nationwide. Once we reach Shanghai City, the pressure will be much greater. Ning Qingyao listened, nodding solemnly. The real challenge was just beginning. Wang Shikong raised an eyebrow at his words, a hint of amusement appearing on his face. Why discuss me? He chuckled calmly, listening from the side, without speaking. Although he knew many strategies about the Endless Continent, he did not share them with Ning Qingya. He was worried about altering the trajectory of the future. Ning Qingya would have a significant opportunity upon reaching Songhai City, which would lay the foundation for her future title of the Snow Queen. The initial development of the Brocade Guild was relatively smooth. Thus he did not interfere in any way, fearing that a slight push might cause Ning Qingya to miss her opportunity. Ding. Your level has increased by 1, a mental strength by 5, and constitution by 2. Over the next 2 days, Wang Shikong trained in the Lost Valley, and by noon of the second day, his level had reached 7. The speed of leveling up was absolutely beyond the imagination of ordinary people. Captain Shikong, should we participate in the Tianjiao Pavilion's mission together? Yao Yi's message suddenly arrived, and Wang Shikong raised his eyebrows slightly. Were Yao Yi and the others preparing to undertake the Tianjiao Pavilion's mission? After pondering for a moment, he replied, "You go ahead, I still need to wait. It seems this mission cannot be completed in a team." Wang Shikong didn't know much about the early missions of Tianjiao Pavilion, only that it involved being teleported to a battlefield to hunt down evil spirits. Alright. At this moment, Yao Yi, seeing Wang Shikong's refusal again, couldn't help but doubt her own charm. She looked at her long, beautiful legs and her curvaceous figure. Wasn't that attractive? She couldn't help but pout, thinking, could it be that Captain Shikong's paralysis is not limited to just his legs? I need to complete the Tianjiao Pavilion's mission quickly. The rewards are too generous. Wang Shikong was unaware of Yao Yi's doubts as he contemplated in his heart. Currently, high-level cultivators had already reached level 10A, and the Tianjiao Pavilion's mission required a level of 10. Many people were likely already undertaking this mission. To avoid potentially losing some opportunities, he planned to level up one more time before heading to do this mission. Wang Shikong gazed at his nearly exhausted mental strength. This time, instead of waiting for it to slowly recover, he closed his eyes to meditate. Ding. Your level has increased by 1, a mental strength by 5, and constitution by 2. 2 days later in the morning, the sound of the heavenly Dao notification rang out, and a smile appeared on Wang Shikong's face. Ding. Your mental strength has reached 100. The time sandglass skill has been unlocked. Prediction. Prediction under the power of time, predicting the direction and changes of a certain event. Currently, it can predict the future for 6 days, with a cooldown of 60 days. Suddenly, another notification came, leaving him completely stunned. He quickly looked at the properties of the source equipment, the time sandglass. Indeed, an additional prediction was added after the foresight. This ability to predict. Wang Shikong studied it carefully, feeling somewhat shocked. Could it really predict the direction of an event? Moreover, it was a full 6 days of variables. What difference would it make in the upcoming guild battles? If one were to engage in battle with a guild, simply predicting in advance would allow them to know the opponent's layout and trump cards, making them invincible. The time sandglass is truly my ultimate trump card. He took a deep breath, his eyes shining brightly. First, I will undertake the Tianjiao Pavilion's mission. Calming his mind, he happily headed towards Tianqing town. I smell something. Suddenly, the raven on his shoulder spoke up. Wang Shikong, the scent of the heretical guild's leader is about 10 kilometers to our right. The raven, the scent of the heretical guild's leader. Wang Shikong raised an eyebrow and instructed, go purify him. Caw, no problem. How about it, my dear master? Isn't the great raven impressive? The raven proudly replied. Impressive. Wang Shikong praised him. Hurry there and back. We still have a mission to do. Caw. The raven let out a cry and flew off at a terrifying speed towards the right. This skill of tracking kind souls is truly a great skill for revenge. It can smell a scent even 10 kilometers away. This guy is so eager, he must want to absorb souls. Wang Shikong watched the disappearing raven and continued towards Tianqing town. I smell something. A few minutes later, at a leveling point, the outlaw was leading several armed subordinates in rapidly killing monsters to level up. Due to dying twice, he was somewhat behind in level. Suddenly, a sharp and piercing sound came. The outlaw was momentarily stunned upon hearing the sound, feeling it was very familiar. Soon after, he saw a raven appear before them. Caw. Weak heretics, how dare you provoke the great raven's perverse master? Accept my purification. Even the smallest mosquito is still meat. Caw. Under the shocked gaze of the outlaw, the raven instantly vanished. The next moment, he felt a sharp pain in his forehead. A look of fear spread across his face. This raven was the pet of that cartographer. How could this pet be so terrifying? Instantly killed. How is this supposed to work? Damn it. After dying 3 times, the outlaw thought about calling the police. From now on, if you encounter that cartographer named Shikong, who sits in a wheelchair, avoid him as far as possible. A few minutes later, all members of the heretical guild received a message from their leader, the outlaw. He was completely terrified. Caw, done. Here are the equipment and spatial ring. The raven landed on Wang Shikong's shoulder, proudly speaking and bringing the spoils with him. Very good. Wang Shikong smiled. With the Raven's strength, killing the current cultivators was not too difficult. The Raven made a round trip for him, earning 1,000 currency. Tell me what you want to eat in the future. Wang Shikong said to it, arriving at the headquarters of the Tianjiao Pavilion's assessment in Tianqing Town based on the information from the qualification test. Cultivator from another world, do you wish to participate in the Tianjiao assessment now? A soldier from Tianqing Town looked at him and asked. Confirmed. Wang Shikong nodded. Please follow me. The soldier led him to a teleportation array and gestured for him to step on. Wang Shikong stepped onto it, and the teleportation array glowed. Everything in front of him transformed, and he appeared at a magnificent outer gate. The surrounding yellowish walls emanated an incredibly heavy aura. But the strange darkness and blood light in the sky ahead gave everything around a strong sense of oppression. Wang Shikong gazed into the distance at a deep green forest where the trees stood over 100 meters tall, with no end in sight. Cultivator from another world, welcome to the front line of the Snake Disaster Battlefield Guard, Post No. 3. A soldier walked over to him and said, Follow me, I will take you to join a small team. This is your merit badge. Achieve a merit of 100 to complete your assessment task. Wang Shikong reached out to take it and nodded. Okay, thank you. No need to thank us. We are very grateful to you cultivators from another world for fighting alongside us. The young soldier said with a smile, quickly leading him into a courtyard. Welcome this cultivator to join the Qing Shi Army Team 05. As they entered, a burly young man approached Wang Shikong and extended his hand, saying, I am Li Shanu, the captain of Team 05, with strength equivalent to your level 15. Welcome aboard. Hello, Captain. Just call me Shikong. Wang Shikong shook hands with him. Li Shan sized him up and nodded slightly. Your arrival is just in time. Our team's numbers are now complete. I will introduce you to your teammates. Wang Shikong nodded and followed him inside. Everyone come over and welcome our new member, Li Shan shouted as he entered. Soon 8 people walked out from inside. Out of the 8, 4 were clearly natives while the other 4 were their own people. What bad luck. First we get a mute, and now we have a cripple. A young man frowned slightly upon seeing Wang Shikong, his expression discontented. Li Shan glanced at the youth. Qingyun cultivator, a large part of your merit will be awarded based on individual performance. However, we are a team, and I hope you can work together to slay as many evil creatures as possible. In half an hour we will enter the Jaimu forest to hunt evil spirits. Understood, Captain. The youth named Qingyun responded in a deep voice, casting a dissatisfied glance at Wang Shikong.